Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for waiting. Can we give a round of applause? We got our debaters. Thank you. All right, so the style debate, we're going to talk for about 50 minutes, okay? So I'm going to give you guys each about 1 to 2 minutes to open. I like to just jump right into the conversation. So the prompt, again, for you guys who didn't hear it, is there was no Russia hoax. So I know that this is your claim, so we're going to start with you. Give an opener what you kind of mean by that. You can respond, and then we'll just move to an open session. If you guys know, I'm the moderator today. I'm going to be pretty hands-off. There's a couple of things that I will step in on. Number one, if we get too far from the topic, I'm going to rerail us, okay? If we start just talking about, like, I don't know, sugars and fats, we're coming back to the Russia hoax. The second thing I'm going to step in on is if anyone is going into TOS. So if you start slurring, if you start breaching anything, this is live streamed to YouTube right now. I'm going to cut your mic and throw water at you, all right? Don't do it. Third of all, we like some spice, okay? So if you guys are interrupting and fighting and getting feisty, that's fine. But if it's to the point where nobody can hear you, I'm going to step in, tell you guys to stop. I'm going to give the mic to whoever I think didn't quite finish their last thought that I could hear. That's how I'm going to run it, okay? Make sense? Rules are simple. Andrew, start us off.
Yeah, I think my claim is pretty simple here. I think the exact phrasing I used was that there is no Russia hoax. Conservatives like to bring up the Russia hoax, Russia. And when they say that, what they're trying to invoke is that the investigations into Russia collusion or links between the Trump campaign and the Russian government during the 2016 election, during and after, were predicated on nothing. Like, there was nothing there. It was all a witch hunt to try to get at Trump, try to hurt Trump, which could not be farther from the truth. There were plenty of connections between the Russian government and the Trump campaign. It was a justified investigation. The FBI should have opened the investigation. It should have happened. It did happen. There were convictions, quite a few of them. Unfortunately, Trump pardoned every single person that was convicted, I think. Pretty much all of them, yeah. So none of it stuck. But yeah, I mean, it's that simple. There is no Russia hoax because there was criminal conduct to investigate. It was investigated. Convictions were acquired, and that's the end of it.
All right. Well, I think this is pretty simple. Yes, Russia interfered in the election, but I think the Mueller report pretty conclusively proved that Trump did not collude. Or, I mean, we even have to define what collusion is, but we could get into that in a second. But pretty conclusively proved that Trump did not collude or criminally conspire with Russia. And honestly, here's the thing. I think this prompt is hilarious, that it's 2026, and we're still talking about this. Democrats love to call Republicans election deniers. This is a form of election denial. So, yeah.
There's a lot to respond to there. I just on the meta real quick. I will say the only reason we're still talking about this is because conservatives have now, especially during the second Trump term, tried to rewrite the entire narrative around the Russia investigation, around the Mueller report, around the whole situation. Had they just let sleeping dogs lie, we wouldn't be doing this.
What was the conclusion of the Mueller report? Just explain that for us for a second.
There was a lot of conclusions of the Mueller report. Are you speaking on Trump specifically?
No, here's the thing. Did they find criminal conspiracy?
With who?
I mean,
there was plenty of people charged with
No.
conspiracy against the United States.
Between Trump and Russia. Your claim was Trump colluding with Russia.
I
don't
think I ever said that. I wouldn't say that because that would be a dumb claim.
It seems like you're walking back your claim now, but restate it.
It seems like I'm walking back my claim.
Restate your claim.
The prompt was, there is no Russia hoax.
Okay, and then you
Trump's name's not in there.
But then you reworded it when you started talking about it. You said, you mentioned Trump, but if you want to remove Trump
campaign.
I mean, absolutely, Russia interfered in the election. That's established. But as far as there being collusion or criminal conspiracy, there's no factual basis to even make that claim unless you want to ignore the Mueller report. Do you accept the findings of the Mueller report?
Again, I'm going to ask for the clarification one more time.
Do you accept the findings of the Mueller report?
You're speaking about Trump, right? Specifically, you want to know whether
yes,
or
Trump,
not
you
want to know if I think Trump colluded with Russia, and you want to know what I think about the Mueller report's claims on that topic.
No, not claims. The findings. The findings that caused. There were hundreds of subpoenas. There was millions of dollars. There were 19 different people. There were.
Yeah, I'm curious. What do you think that Mueller's finding was?
There was no criminal conspiracy.
In regards to Trump specifically.
There was no criminal conspiracy.
You think that in the Mueller report,
that's literally what they said. That's literally what
Mueller
it said.
specificely said, I am not making a judgment. He specifically said, I am not saying that he's innocent. I'm not saying he's guilty.
No. There was no evidence of criminal conspiracy. And you mentioned other people
That's a
being
little bit-
arrested. Like, nobody was actually arrested for colluding with Russia. They were arrested for tangential crimes like tax crimes, like lying, perjury. Nobody was actually convicted of it. If you can cite a single person that was actually convicted of criminal conspiracy with Russia, I think it'd be great.
Wait, I'm curious. What do you think the point? You're right. A lot of the convictions were lying to
okay.
the FBI. What do you think the point of lying? Why do you
Well,
think
oh,
they
no,
were
no, no.
lying to
So
the
there we
FBI?
go. There we go. You just literally just proved my point. Thank you. Again, thanks.
What is the point of lying to the FBI? Why do you think they were doing that?
I mean, it's none of my business what they
It's
lied
none of your
about.
business. The answer is to hide the crimes they were being investigated for.
Okay, well, why? So
If
here's
you
the
didn't
thing.
do anything,
so
would you
here's
lie
the
to
thing.
the
Here's
FBI?
the thing.
They're investigating you for
Here's the
something?
thing. Listen, if they were lying about things that would lead to proving that Trump had engaged in criminal conspiracy with Russia, then wouldn't Trump be charged for that?
No, they weren't able to find any sufficient
So there we
evidence to
go.
charge him.
There we go. It's over.
Why do you
Why
think
are we
they
even
weren't
debating
able to
this?
find sufficient
Why are we even
evidence to
debating this?
charge him?
It's 2026. Why are we debating
One,
this?
again, my claim was never that Trump did anything specifically.
Okay,
I
well-
wouldn't make that claim. Mueller specifically said in the Mueller report, he's refused to make a determination.
So why
whether or
did you
not
want
he
to
thought Trump
debate
did
this?
anything.
Why did you want to debate this?
Do you think when we say like Russiagate, do you think we're only talking about Trump and the Russian government? Trump, Putin. That's it.
All right,
That's
what
the
do you
only
want to
connection
talk
we're
about?
making?
You want to talk about the
We're talking about his campaign. We're talking about his campaign surrogates. We're talking about Paul Manafort. There's all the people around him that
Okay,
were
well,
colluding
even
with
with
Russia.
the Paul Manafort stuff, yeah, I mean that stuff is super dubious. It absolutely
dubious
looks
about
bad on paper. It looks bad. I mean, I'm not gonna
okay,
I'm not
I
gonna
got you.
say that it doesn't. It absolutely looks ridiculous. The meeting in Trump Tower, all of it. But here's the thing: none of it proved criminal conspiracy. That's your claim. It had. I mean,
That wasn't my claim.
when I was like,
I'm
he
curious,
actually wants to
what is-
debate this.
what is my
Mueller
claim?
report? I could just sit here and say Mueller report for an hour, and I'd be right
Why would
the
you
whole
be right?
time.
Mueller specifically made no finding as to whether or
No,
not Trump did anything wrong.
Again, he found no criminal conspiracy. That's the standard that had the report. I mean,
Why did
it
he
had to
say
be,
Mueller? This is the thing. Let's just test. Let's see if you have read the Mueller report. He specifically did say I can't make a finding whether or not he did anything wrong.
well, now you just took it back. You just took back what you said.
I never said Trump did anything wrong. Okay, here we go. I'm going to say it one more time. I never said Trump did anything wrong. There was never enough evidence to charge him with a crime. I think he should have been charged with obstruction of justice. But Mueller decided not to because he didn't think he could get a conviction. Maybe he didn't think he could meet all the elements of obstruction. That's fine. What did Mueller say in the Mueller report was the primary reason that he couldn't gather enough evidence to make a charging decision on Trump?
Again, that's not what your claim is.
You don't know what my fucking claim is. You have no idea. You've demonstrated that 15 times. You don't have a clue what my claim is.
Brother, your claim is there was no Russia hoax, right? I said that Russia interfered in the election. I brought up the Mueller report. You just conceded two different things. That number one, nobody was actually charged for criminal conspiracy. And number two, that Mueller report reported no findings of criminal conspiracy. And now you're trying to rewrite history in real time, acting as though none of this actually happened for the last.
To be
I guess,
clear,
what,
one
10
of
minutes?
his goober campaign surrogates was actually charged with
Criminal
conspiracy against
conspiracy?
the United States. Yes,
criminal conspiracy in relation to
Conspiracy
colluding with
against
Russia.
the United States is a criminal
Colluding
charge.
with Russia. Colluding with Russia.
I actually don't remember why he was charged.
Okay.
Why is it? I'm gonna keep asking. Maybe I'll just ask this question for 45 minutes. Why is it that all of them? Why were they all charged with lying to the FBI? Why did they all keep lying to the FBI over and over and over? Why do that if you didn't do anything? You wouldn't. Surely if the FBI started investigating you, thought you had committed some crime, the first thing you're going to do when you walk in the interview room is just start fucking making shit up? Really?
Again, that has nothing to do with your claim.
That has everything to do with my claim.
Okay, so
Literally
prove
has
it.
everything to
prove,
do with the
prove
claim.
how it has to do with what
My
what
claim
you're trying to
is
get
that
at.
there-
what that has to do with the claim, because again, the Mueller report
I'm gonna ask
ultimately
one more time.
upends your thing.
I'm going to ask until you give me the correct answer. What is my claim? What do you think it is, Dennis?
There
What's my
was
claim?
no Russia hoax.
What do you think that means? What does that mean to you when I say it?
You're saying that there was no Russia hoax, that Trump colluded with Russia?
No. I don't,
So explain
I
yourself.
don't think there's any evidence that Trump directly colluded with Russia.
So explain yourself. What is your claim then?
There was
Because
the investigation,
Yeah.
Crossfire Hurricane, the special counsel's investigation run by Mueller.
Steele
These
dossier.
these investigations should have occurred. There was
Oh, yeah.
there was good reason
No,
to
I
do
agree.
them.
It should have 100% occurred.
Yeah.
Perhaps not to the extent that they did occur, because again, there was another report that showed that not only did they throw out exculpatory evidence, but that they ignored, they actually held Trump to a different standard than they held Clinton and other people that they were investigating. They had no evidence. They were basing it off of the Steele dossier, right, which proved to be largely false.
What report
right?
is this that you're? What report do you think you're citing right now?
I forgot the name.
You said there was another
the dumber,
report.
whatever. It starts with a D. I forgot what the name is. You know what I'm talking about.
I do know what you're talking about. You know the claim, at no point was the claim there was no evidence that
You
they
were
were just
saying,
doing it because it was Trump. That's what you said,
here's
right?
the thing. Now
You
you're
said there
bringing
was no
you're
evidence.
bringing it back to the
At
claim.
no point did that ever
hold on.
was that ever said by Durham.
Now you're moving back to something else. This is what we were.
Well,
just,
no, you
no,
lied, and I'm
hold on.
correcting
Let
you.
me.
That's what
I'm not
happened.
lying. I literally cited a report. I didn't lie about the report. In fact, you couldn't even fact check
citation
me.
requires a name, but,
Listen,
so you
brother.
didn't cite a report.
Okay,
but
I'll look up the name because I
You-
just forgot. It's
you
fine
cited
to forget
vibes.
stuff. Here, I'll just.
You
read the
also
name.
didn't correctly cite one single claim that was made in that report, right?
Okay, well, you cite them. If you can disprove it, then
At
cite
no
them.
point did
the
Durham
Durham
say-
report. The Durham
There you go.
report.
At no point
That's
did Durham say that there was no evidence and the investigation was open for no reason. And he especially, in fact, I was going to say he didn't say that the investigation was open because of the Steele dossier. He explicitly said that that was not the case. Also, the Department of Justice Inspector General's report made the exact same came to the exact same finding. They specifically said, no, the Crossfire Hurricane was not started because of the Steele dossier.
So here's the thing. We can litigate this all day. The Mueller report still upends your entire argument.
Why? Because Trump himself, there was not enough evidence to convict Trump himself. I'll say it
this
for the
is like-
15th
this
time.
is like
I don't think that
exhausting. This
I
is
don't
like
think that
talking
Trump
to
should
a
have been,
wall.
I don't think that Trump should have been charged with colluding with Russia. I don't think there was evidence to demonstrate
So
that.
why did you even suggest this?
What is my claim again, Dennis? Let's do it again.
There was no
Is
Russia
the word
hoax.
Trump in my claim?
So why? I mean, what do you want to claim then? Clarify.
I would
it.
like to claim that you guys think that you just
You
did
guys.
it. You literally
You
just
guys.
well,
Who's
you
you
just
guys?
did it, so I'm lumping
Who's you
in.
guys?
I don't think I would conservatives. I don't think I would.
Conservatives.
Maybe I would not have lumped you into this group before, but you just did the thing that I
What,
don't
what's
like.
the thing? Tell me the thing.
The Crossfire Hurricane and the Mueller investigation, it was predicated on the Steele dossier. They wouldn't have done this to Clinton. This all blah 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 blah. It's only because he was Trump. It was all political prosecution.
That's literally part of the Durham report.
And when did Durham say that?
was part of his
What
report.
did Durham say?
You want me to cite it
You're-
exactly word
no,
for word?
because you're like
I'll
on
pull
the
up
right track. But here's
I'll
the
pull up
thing
the
that
words.
you're doing. Here's the thing
Again,
you're doing.
You're
that all
bringing
conservatives love
it
to
back.
do.
You're bringing
You're
it-
making a super duper strong claim that is not founded in reality, and then when I push you on it, you're backing
a
up to
super
the easier
duper.
to defend.
What claim am I making?
You're just Martin Bailey,
I'm
Martin Bailey,
citing,
Martin Bailey, over and over.
I'm citing the report, and you're like completely trying to reframe
What
it
did
in real
Durham?
time.
What was? You don't have to cite me Durham's exact words. What,
Well, you literally
when
just asked
no,
for it a second ago.
I need you to just
Brother,
accurately
you have
summarize.
to start showing some level of
Accurately
consistency.
summarize.
You
Accurately
have to-
summarize.
you have to
Accurately
actually-
summarize.
you have to
Accurately
show some level
summarize
of
what
consistency.
Durham's conclusion was. Go ahead. I'll give you the floor.
Here, I'll read it exactly because I have it on my phone. Here, I'll just read exactly what I have.
I
So
just need you
Durham
to summarize.
concluded the FBI used a different standard for Trump than for Clinton. Crossfire Hurricane was opened without verified intelligence of a Trump-Russia conspiracy. Investigators ignored exculpatory information.
What did you just read?
I read bullet points.
Did what you just read?
I
match your
literally
initial
read
claim?
bullet points.
Did
I
what
mean,
you just wait? Was
this
that
is
ChatGPT?
this is. I'm sorry.
Was it?
My guy? I don't.
Wait, did
I
what you
literally
just
read
read
something like clear as day. You're like, what did you just read?
Did what you just read match the original claim that you made? Do you think it did?
What are you talking about? You keep shifting everything. This is like you gotta. My guy, just like try to
I'm
put
curious.
together an
Wait,
argument.
I'm curious. Do you think if the Steele dossier was never handed over to the FBI, do you think if it was, let's say Steele was never involved, he never wrote it, do you think that the Crossfire Hurricane investigation would have been opened anyway? Or do you think it never would have happened?
I think it
do you
should
think
have
the
been.
Steele dossier
Here's
was a
the thing.
but-for cause?
I think it should have been investigated.
No, not should have been, would have been.
Whatever. However you want to phrase it.
So that's a yes?
Brother, there should have been an investigation. There would be an investigation. There was. Thank God there was. It was a huge waste of money because they kept chasing their tail for a good
Wait,
part
why was
of
it a waste of money? The special counsel's office made a profit.
You want a government office making a profit? What are you
Did you
talking
not
about,
just?
brother?
It was a huge waste
What
of
are
money,
you
and I told
talking
you
about?
it wasn't a waste of money, and now you want to complain
Wait
about
a minute.
that?
Hey,
Interesting.
hey. No, hold on, dude.
You see the slime?
Wait a minute.
guys
You
see the
want
slime
a
right there?
government office to make a profit? I can't believe that. I can't believe you just said
Holy
that, bro.
Slime, that was wild.
You said it. I didn't say it.
You complained that it was a
Holy
waste of
slime.
money. You complained that it was a waste of money, and then I tell you that actually there wasn't a
They
waste of
made a
money. It was
profit.
profitable, and now that's bad.
Bro, it's your fucking tax dollars. Why do you want
It's
to
actually
make it?
not my tax dollars. It was criminals' money that was taken by the Department of Justice.
All right, okay,
It was
well.
profitable. And yes, I do want the government to make a profit.
Hey, you know what?
gotta
I
fudge
don't
stuff.
want the government to make a profit. If the government is making money, I want it to give it back to everybody who's in this room, either in terms of checks or in services. Okay, that's what I want. I don't want the money,
Do you-
the
do you want the
government
government to
stuffing its
operate
own
at a loss, then?
pockets.
Do you want
What?
the government to operate at a loss then?
It should, 100%.
Okay, interesting. All right.
Not at like a deficit where they're constantly just losing money because they're mismanaging it. But I'm saying like, hey, guess what? This isn't a business. They're in service of us. right? Brilliant idea. Have the government serve us, right? It's not that crazy.
Okay, I'm gonna reel you back in. We're gonna come all the way back to the beginning here. Okay, I think we can agree on a couple starting points, and then we'll go from there. We obviously disagree on a lot of shit, but we can agree on a couple things. You've said.
Do you want to change your claim so we can argue this?
You think that the investigation should have happened?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. You think it should have happened? You think it was worthwhile? Maybe that's where we'll start. Maybe you just don't think it was worth doing.
I mean, it should have happened. Should it have gone as long as it did? Should it have cost as much money as it did? Was
Made a
like
profit.
$40-something million. Made a profit. Great. Yeah. Good. I think it could have been like solved in maybe half the time.
Why do you think that? Do you have like any sort of investigative?
No, I'm just saying
saying
like if a government has discretion over how it's spending taxpayer money, or even if it's criminal money, however, wherever they're getting the money from, I want to see the money in the pockets of people here, not in the pockets of government officials wasting money to justify however you want to call it. My party calls it a witch hunt. You guys call it justified. I don't care. I want to take care of people at home, not public officials grandstanding.
Okay, I'm trying to pick out things that you don't like. So you don't like how long it took, correct?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Well, yeah, sure. Or yes, I don't like how long it took. It should have been less time.
Hey, how about we run the government efficiently? If you can do it in a year, do it in a
seems
year.
like
If you can
Elon-
do it in a day, do it in a day.
It seems like Trump and Elon tried that. It didn't really work out so well, right?
Yeah, I mean, Doge.
So
Yeah, that was
okay,
a-
all right.
that was a
I guess
trip.
I'll just push forward on that. You don't like how long it took. You know, like Mueller specifically addressed, like specifically addressed the fact that he was ready to end. He was ready to close the books and be done with it, like a year before the investigation actually finished up. Do you know why it drug on for another year?
Why did it drag on?
Because the last thing on the checklist, the last thing they wanted to do was just do a sit-down interview with Trump to ask him the questions they had for the entire investigation, and he just wouldn't do it.
Well, that sucks. He should have done it. Honestly, he should have done it earlier. Should have done it way earlier.
Sure. I'm just okay, but do you not understand what you just? If one of your issues that this took too long,
I mean,
and then
yeah,
your
that
guy
sucks.
is the whole
Hey,
ass
listen,
reason it took too long.
Listen, yeah,
maybe you should like.
he should have done it earlier to close it earlier. If he really, and I'm taking you at your word, if he really spent a whole year waiting around, just playing checkers, whatever he was doing, he should have just done it.
I don't understand you. It seems like you want to fight on stuff or you want to disagree with me on stuff, and then at the end of it, the conclusion is that we just have an agreement.
No, I'm a reasonable.
I also
See, here's the
agree he
thing.
should have just
Here's why you're thrown off. You're expecting a partisan hack. I'm a reasonable person. Okay,
Well,
I actually care about people.
It seems like there's something about this investigation. There's something about this whole saga that you don't like, that you would complain about. But then I push you all this.
No,
actually, I agree with you.
Here's the thing. I like I said, there should have been an investigation.
I agree.
Thank God there was one.
Uh-huh.
Here's the thing. It could have been done more efficiently. You can agree that something existed, and you can also have criticisms of it. It's perfectly fair.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that claim. I would agree that it could have been done more efficiently. I would just say that the inefficiency was Trump and his campaign. They caused the delays over and over and over.
Well, I'll take it at your word. Yeah, that sucks. He should have run it. He should have run it more efficiently.
Every single time they brought in a Trump campaign,
maybe he should have had Doge. Maybe he should have had Doge back in the first one.
Elon helping him out.
Elon.
Maybe Mueller should have hired Elon.
Design a new algorithm.
It'll go a lot faster. Every single time they brought in one of the people that they had some sort of evidence against, or they were trying to investigate. Do you not understand that if one of your complaints is that it took too long and it was too inefficient, then the very fact that every single time they brought one of these people in for an interview, they decided to lie, and then now we have to open a sub-investigation to investigate the lying to the FBI charge over and over. This is what drugged the whole thing on forever and ever and
so
ever.
Your issue then is that people lied.
Well, it is, in fact, a crime to lie to the FBI.
Yeah, no, I'm just asking because I'm trying to understand.
I generally speaking, I'm like, it's not.
I
don't
think
you
we
should
can
commit
both
crimes.
agree on it.
Yeah, I don't think you should
sucks.
commit
Like
crimes.
people shouldn't
Not good.
lie.
All right, let's maybe clarify what the Russia hoax is to see why you guys disagree.
Yeah, I'm
'Cause I
curious,
think we haven't actually ironed out what is the Russia hoax, and if you think the Russia hoax did happen, why?
Yeah.
And if you think it didn't happen, why? Let's start there.
Okay, you want to go?
No, well, because we need to start with it. Like when you say the Russia hoax, like what does that mean to you? Define it?
Well,
is
it's
hoax?
the Trump-Russia collusion hoax. That Trump colluded with Russia to interfere in the 2016 election. That's a hoax.
Okay, I'm going to say two sentences. You tell me if you see a difference between them, because you might not. Donald Trump colluded with Russia to help win the 2016 election. That's one sentence. The Trump campaign colluded with Russia to help them in the 2016 election. Do you see a difference between those two?
I mean, One is placing it on the individual. The other one, I mean, you could bring up, on the second example, Paul Manafort, the Trump Tower meeting. We already went over that stuff. Yeah, it shouldn't have happened. But again, according to the Mueller report, didn't prove criminal conspiracy.
Okay.
So
you do see a difference in the two sentences. So when I say you just...
Yeah, I mean, Trump didn't directly collude with Russia. He didn't engage in criminal conspiracy with Russia to interfere in the election. Did Russia interfere in the election, in the 2016 election? It did. But did Trump participate? Did he cooperate? Did he collaborate? However you want to phrase it, did he collude?
Yeah.
There's no evidence of that.
Not enough to charge. I agree. So
Mueller agrees with you too.
So when I keep Mueller, basically every single person that's investigated this, yeah, they just never found the goods. When I say that you,
you think if there was more investigating, they would have found more goods?
No, I think if he wouldn't have obstructed the investigation over and over, they would.
Oh, so now you're blaming Trump for it?
Well, didn't we agree that lying was bad? Didn't we agree obstruction of justice was bad?
Yeah, that's fine. But now
that.
you're saying first of all, you were saying that the FBI made money. The investigation made money. Yeah.
All the assets seized, yeah.
Yeah, they made money off of the investigation, and then you're like, oh, they didn't go far enough. I mean, are you undermining these all these FBI agents that you said are so brilliant that they made money off of the investigation?
You lied. Correct the record. I don't think that I wouldn't say that I don't think they went far enough. I don't blame Mueller. I don't blame.
Okay, so what else could they have done?
Nothing. I don't think they could have done anymore.
The reality now you're walking back and blame again.
I'm not. The reality is Trump and his campaign surrogates wanted to obstruct that investigation. They did not want to let that investigation occur at all. They obstructed it every single opportunity they were given. So when I say I don't think they could have gone any further, I'm talking about Mueller and his team. I don't think there's anything else they could have done because when you're dealing with a bad faith actor
you just
that
said
does not
something
want to
different
participate
a
in the
moment ago.
investigation, you're kind of limited.
You just said something totally different a moment ago.
I absolutely did not.
All right.
I said the reason, like we can just say, was there enough evidence to charge Trump? Was there enough evidence to get a conviction on Trump for any sort of crime? I mean, maybe obstruction, but reality, no, probably not. No, there probably wasn't. Then could we also say he obstructed the investigation over and over and over, and that might be why there wasn't enough evidence to charge?
I'm just out of curiosity, like 10 years later, why would you want to be debating this? What's the goal? It would have been so much easier if you're like trying to debate corruption, whether Trump is more corrupt than Biden or the Republican Party's more corrupt than Biden.
I do want to answer.
You could have actually made arguments about that.
I do want to answer. The reality is the reason I'm cool with debating this topic. The reason I want to debate this topic is because we disagree and I am correct. That's the reason I want to debate the topic.
Okay, what makes you correct?
There was no Russia hoax. That's what makes me correct. There simply was not. Now, I finally am going to get this point out. The reason I keep saying that all you want to do is Martin Bailey. The reason I asked you before is stop it. The reason I asked you before,
I literally did nothing. I just looked over to the side.
The reason I asked you, do you see a difference between these two sentences? Is because there is a big difference between the two sentences.
Yeah, of course, there's a big difference. I acknowledged.
Every single time I say there was no Trump, there was no Russia hoax. Every time I say that, your immediate response is, oh, well, did they get Trump on anything? No, they didn't. I never said
So here's the thing. It sounds like
you make the really strong claim, and then I push you,
and you retreat
to the easier to defend claim.
It really sounds like you have a hard time accepting the truth or factual reports. You're really happy when the FBI makes money, but you're really unhappy when they publish things that don't support your narrative. So here's the thing.
Department of Justice made that money, by the way.
You made that distinction. Department of Justice, whatever you want to call it. You made a distinction. You said Trump and his campaign, and I said...
I didn't say Trump and his campaign. I said the Trump campaign.
So you provided two examples.
Trump campaign is a completely different entity. With my two sentences? Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to allude to. I was summarizing for the sake of time, but I can rephrase everything you said in the manner in which you did if you want.
Wait, so why do you keep like going back to Trump himself then? You acknowledge I've never once said that Trump himself should have been charged with anything.
Brother,
I
was literally trying to respond to you about something you said earlier, and now you're like changing it again.
I just want to know why you keep going to that claim. Because it's easier to defend one? Is that the real reason?
No. I could,
so why?
Like I said, I could just sit here and say,
go ahead.
Mueller report. Mueller report. Mueller report.
What does the Mueller report prove?
Mueller report.
What does the Mueller report prove?
Mueller report.
What does it prove?
Mueller report.
It proves what?
Mueller report. There was no criminal conspiracy. Do I have to keep telling you this again?
How does the Mueller report prove that there was no criminal conspiracy?
This is Groundhog Day.
Wait, expound on that. How does the Mueller report prove there was no criminal conspiracy? How does it prove that?
You tell me, buddy.
Well, my claim would be it doesn't prove that. You think it does.
It doesn't prove there was no criminal conspiracy?
No.
How?
What do you mean how? How can
You're disagreeing with Mueller.
I'm not disagreeing with Mueller. Mueller didn't say the Mueller report proved that there was no collusion. He specifically said it did not show that.
Criminal conspiracy. Let's call it the right
What's
term.
the difference between the two in your eyes?
Collusion is an illegal
What
term.
elements are you looking for?
Collusion is an illegal term. Criminal conspiracy is. That's the difference.
So, are you going to try to tell me that Russiagate was a hoax or there was a Russian hoax, no matter what, unless they convict someone of criminal conspiracy? That's the only way it's not a hoax?
So here's the thing. Do you keep like circling back and forth? This is like
I still don't know what your claim is. I don't even know how far we are
my
into this,
claim,
and I don't
and
know what you
I'll
believe
repeat
on
it.
this topic.
I'll repeat.
You're a fucking shapeshifter. I don't know what you believe here.
Oh, okay. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm like an X-Men up here, just changing bodies. Okay. So I'll say it again. Okay. The Mueller report found there was no criminal conspiracy between Trump and Russia to interfere in the 2016 election.
Didn't find that.
And as far as his campaign goes, the Trump Tower meeting, Paul Manafort giving the poll numbers, right? Kleminski, I think's the guy name. I forget his name. Yeah, I mean, that's shady stuff. Shouldn't have happened. I'm glad it got investigated. It's bad.
Wait, was it bad that Trump pardoned all of those people? Everyone
Yeah,
everyone that pled guilty and everyone got
Throw
was
them all in
convicted?
prison. I don't want corruption. I hate corruption.
To be fair, I wouldn't even say throw them all in prison. A lot of their, almost all of their prison
Nah,
sentences
throw them
would
in
be up by
prison
now.
and throw away the key.
Okay.
Yeah, that's really what you got to do.
Prison for life for lying to the FBI. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Look, these guys, look, here's the thing, and I'll tell you just how extreme I am with this, okay? This Epstein class of people, and they're all Epstein class people. We know this. They're not us, okay? I'm sick and tired of this crap. They do whatever the hell they want, okay? Everybody, and I've said this before, everybody who's convicted, who's if there were any due process in that sense, who's on the Epstein list and gets convicted, they should get the death sentence. Public executions, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if Trump is convicted, hell yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're-
I don't care about party affiliation. I care about my country.
Okay. Why? I have to ask again. I don't. Okay. Maybe I'll write it down this time. On the prompt, the topic of our debate, what is your claim? What do you think the hoax is?
I can't believe it.
You change your answers all the time. You're not giving anything clear.
I'm like Bill Murray here.
Other than to say that you don't think that Trump himself did any colluding with Russia, other than to say that, which I mean, I agree. There wasn't enough evidence to show that. So I agree with that. But other than that, like, what do I believe that you don't? Let's say that.
Guys,
Go ahead.
I've repeated my claim enough times, so somebody
Well,
want
your
to
claim
repeat it for him?
your claim over and over is Trump didn't do anything. And I'm like,
Does
yeah,
somebody
I agree.
want to repeat my claim to him? I'll let you, one
Yeah,
of
he's
you
gonna
guys
say-
say it.
Everybody
Because
said
I've said it enough
Trump
times.
didn't collude.
Here, I'll walk up. Anybody?
I'm gonna ask
Do you know
guys
what
questions.
do you know what his
All right,
claim
Okay.
is?
I'm gonna ask you questions. Do you think Trump was in any way involved with the Russia hoax scandal, inclusion, any of that? Was Trump involved in any way?
The Mueller report proved there was no criminal conspiracy.
How?
Okay,
That's
just
what
wait.
I alleged.
Do you think Trump was involved in any way with the Russia hoax? The
In
Russia
any way, yeah, I
situation?
think it's almost impossible that he didn't know about a lot of what his campaign surrogates were doing.
Yeah, but that's all speculative. You're like speculating about stuff that the
Sure,
report
and the
didn't even show.
the entire reason we don't know is because he wouldn't sit down to answer questions. Every single person involved with his campaign obstructed over and over. They lied to the
Again,
FBI.
he
A
should have
bunch of them
answered
were convicted for it.
questions. He should have gotten
Sure.
an answer
So
question.
you can't say the Mueller report proved, because, by the way, I do want an answer to that. How did the Mueller report prove that, however it was you phrased it, that Trump had anything to do with the Russia stuff? Anything to do with it?
So
How did the Mueller report
Tell
prove
us,
that?
educate us.
You're making the affirmative claim. You say it. You're
You're
telling.
putting
you're
the
trying,
burden. You're not trying to pass the burden
yes,
to me.
when you
made
make a
it-
claim, the
just-
burden is on you to demonstrate the claim. Yes.
So
indeed.
just educate
Indeed.
us. You want me to? I've already said what it proved. If you want to make,
Trump was not
Yeah, but
involved,
you've
correct?
there was no proof of criminal conspiracy. If you want to make a specific
whoa,
claim,
Whoa. That's a very. There was no proof. They couldn't find enough evidence
no,
to
no.
charge. You said it. The Mueller report demonstrated that he did not do
there was
anything
no
wrong.
criminal conspiracy.
Those are
That's
not
what
the
it
same
said.
thing.
Okay. Well, maybe I misspoke. We've been talking for like what, half an hour?
Not guilty and innocent are not the same thing. You know.
Okay.
Was
Following
seems like
the-
you think
yeah.
he was not involved at all. Trump. Seems like you suspect he was involved.
I
I
just
feel like we can
I
now
think-
supply
yeah, I just think
evidence
there's
why
no
you
way
think he
didn't
was
know.
involved, and you can counter that evidence. That feels like a really easy
All
point
right,
of
we'll
disagreement,
provide
right?
you evidence.
Sure. I can't demonstrate that he was for sure involved. The claim I made was I think there's no way he didn't know. And I do, in fact, believe that there's no way he didn't know. Let me ask you something. If he really had nothing to do with it whatsoever, I mean, homie, he was blindsided by the whole thing. He had no idea about this Russia stuff. Well, what's that? why would he just not sit down and answer some questions with Mueller?
It's bad. It's bad. He should have done it.
But
I wish we had an honest president who did it.
Robert Mueller, by the way, a conservative hero. Like what? Y'all, I'm not gonna say you guys because I don't know how you think. Okay, but for decades, conservatives fucking loved this guy. He was their champion.
Yeah.
And Trump just wouldn't sit down and answer a couple questions with the guy. Why? If he had nothing, he knew nothing.
Let me see if I can tap into his head. I got nothing.
Is that rational behavior? You're getting investigated. Trump was complaining about the investigation all the time. Complaint. You know, they're coming after me. He clearly wanted it over. He could have gotten it over a whole ass year earlier if he just sat down and answered some questions.
Listen, in a perfect world, he would have done it. I can't control the man, okay? I wish he had done it. He didn't do it.
Uh-huh. Do you see how that answers like a unbearable cop-out?
You're like trying to get me to read his mind, dude. I can't
I'm trying
read
to
his
get you to read
mind.
his
I
mind.
don't like. He could do it for multiple reasons, right? Let's just logically follow. Why would somebody not want to testify? Because they don't want to incriminate themselves. Because they don't want to
testify.
Whatever it is, or whatever you want to call it. They don't want to incriminate themselves. They don't want to be put in a position where something else could happen. There's a multitude of reasons.
He could have walked in there with Mueller.
Is it dishonest? Is it corrupt? Yes.
Yep.
Should he have done it? Yes.
So it's dishonest and corrupt. But that's just the end of it? Like, it's dishonest and corrupt, but also you can say without a shadow of a doubt, it seemed like, you seemed like you were very confident. She asked, do you think he had anything to do with it? You said, no.
No criminal conspiracy was proved.
His behavior was corrupt, his behavior was dishonest, and you're like, nah, he didn't know.
No.
How can you say that?
I literally said the Mueller report showed no criminal conspiracy.
It didn't provide, like, proof beyond a reasonable doubt that there was one.
Okay, well, there you go.
I'm going to ask, oh, God, okay, here we go again. Mueller said in his report why he didn't turn up as much evidence as he had hoped to get, why he didn't get as far into the investigation as he hoped to get. What was that reason he gave?
You tell me.
Obstruction. Over and over and over. Trump obstructed. Do you know
Should not have obstructed.
Wait, do you know why Mueller, like what Mueller said his biggest reason for not charging, like he said there was possibly enough evidence to secure an obstruction conviction against Trump himself. Do you know like what the biggest reason he gave as to why he didn't go through with the charges?
What was that reason?
There was like multiple reasons, but he said that with beyond doubt the biggest one was just because Trump was president and you can't prosecute a sitting president.
All right, well that sucks.
I agree, it does suck.
So, yeah, should have testified, should have done whatever, everything. He should have done everything. He should have cooperated.
Sure,
okay?
I agree. Why do you think he didn't?
Again.
I'm not asking you to read his mind. I'm not asking you to put yourself in Trump's shoes. I'm asking you to put yourself in the shoes of a reasonable, normal person. I know that might be hard. I know that might be a struggle. It might take the max creativity output from your brain, but normal.
You don't have to insult me. Come on.
Person.
I thought we were talking here like friends.
I've asked you to do this.
Now you're just like insulting me.
Jeez, just give an answer.
Man.
Just give an answer.
Give an answer.
What would a reasonable person do in that exact same scenario, do you think?
I mean, they would have been honest, but this is the thing. Our electoral, everything's so corrupt. Our political system, all of it is corrupt. It's part of the reason why nobody in this country has faith in our institutions anymore. Okay? If we were, look, listen, if we had pie in the sky, greatest government in the world, this guy would have turned himself in. He didn't do it. I hate that. I wish he did it.
Wait, turned himself in for what? I thought you said he had nothing to do with it.
The Mueller report showed there was no criminal conspiracy.
No,
now,
it didn't.
If he did, in fact, collude with Russia, he should have turned himself in or cooperated.
I'm not even listening to what you're saying right now. Go back.
The Mueller report. You're trying to get me on a gotcha. That's not even a gotcha.
It's not a gotcha. It's a deliberate tactic. It is. You're just Martin Bailey over and over. You're going to make a really strong claim. Okay, I'll stop using that phrase. You don't know what it is. It's fine.
No, I get logical fallacies.
Listen,
I understand what they are.
You're making the super strong claim.
You want to just sit here? You want to sit here and just
saying the Mueller report
every logical fallacy.
The Mueller report proved that Trump had nothing to do with this. That's the claim, the strong claim. And then I push you on it, and you're like, well, they found no evidence. That's not the same thing, and you know it isn't. So make the right claim.
I'm citing the report, brother.
I mean,
it's not that hard.
Definitionally, you're not. At no point did Mueller say. At no point.
You're
he went out of his
You're
way.
a Mueller denialist.
I'm not a Mueller denialist. But Mueller might be like one of my favorite people in the political realm. Of
Okay,
all
well
time.
there you go. So accept the report.
Well, I do accept the report. You don't.
Okay.
You're just misquoting him over and over. At no point did he say.
I literally said I accept the report. I feel like I'm in Crazy Town.
At no point did he say.
It's like Crazy Town.
At no point. Wait, do you recognize?
I didn't even say.
Wait, do you recognize that? Do you recognize that at no point did Mueller say there was no conspiracy?
So what did he say?
He said I didn't have enough evidence to charge anyone with Trump specifically with this.
And why is that again? Repeat it for us, because we haven't been through this like 30 times already.
Obstruction.
Obstruction.
We can stop. We can move off this topic. I just want you
Again,
to make the correct claim. That's it.
What's the correct
Make the
claim?
correct
What do you want me to say?
Mueller was unable to find enough evidence to meet all of the elements of a criminal conspiracy, so he didn't press charges.
Okay. Well, yeah. Good job.
At any point in there did I say he found evidence that Trump didn't do it?
Again, criminal conspiracy. You just said it. Now I said,
What is that
if in
response? What does
fact,
that mean?
brother, you keep just circling around.
Wait, are you trying to tell me? Are you trying to tell me that the constant dishonesty is an accident? I think my assumption was that you're doing it on
I didn't say
purpose.
it's an accident. It
Oh,
could,
so it's on purpose. You're being dishonest on purpose.
Who, me?
Yes.
About what? I literally just said that if the guy actually did it, if it's proven, that he should be arrested, that he should have cooperated. He didn't.
Well, you know.
So what else do you
prove
want?
it
No,
after the
no,
arrest, not
seriously.
before.
What's your standard? What do you want me to say that's going to satisfy you right now?
I just want you. I've told you like 15 times.
Just say it.
I
Just say
want you to
it word
The
for
Mueller
word.
report didn't find enough evidence to press charges against
the
Trump.
Mueller report didn't find enough evidence to press charges
thank you.
of criminal conspiracy. That's basically what I said. You
No,
just
you
wanted
didn't.
me to say in the version that you wanted me to say. That's fine. We're citing the report over and over again.
Well, we're not. You haven't cited it once because you keep saying that he proved. That
I mean,
Trump
this is
didn't
all
do it.
being live streamed. We'll be able to. I'll be able to just later make a video counting
Oh, yeah,
how
that's
many
gonna look
times I
real
said Mueller report, Mueller report, Mueller report, Mueller report.
You certainly said it quite a few times. All right,
Probably been
I think
100 times.
I got you to.
This is like bingo.
You said what I wanted. All right, we can go past it. What's the next thing that I believe about this situation that you think I'm wrong about or you think is not true?
Oh, I don't. You want me to read your mind now?
I mean,
Let
what
me
have
see.
I said?
What's
that
the
you
next
disagree
thing he believes? Whew.
with? Do you
I
think
got nothing.
Do you think the Crossfire Hurricane, the entire investigation had had a permissible beginning?
Permissible beginning? We went
Was it
over
open
that
for
with
logical
the Durham
reasons?
report. We talked about the Durham report already.
Well, you misquoted the Durham report. That
Okay, I
did
misquoted.
happen, yeah.
How did I misquote the Durham report?
Well, you said that Durham said that the investigation was started because of the Steele dossier, when in fact he said the investigation was not
we could have
started
argued.
because of the
So
Steele
we
dossier.
could have talked about. We could have talked about January 6th. We could have talked about. We're talking about something that's like.
Do you remember the
can't believe
part? Do you remember the part when I said these are all the topics I'll debate, and you're like, that one's fine. You don't get to bitch
Hey.
now. You don't get to bitch now. You accept it, okay? That's not how this works.
You want me to read the text messages?
That's not how this works.
Are we doing that?
Go for it. She was the one.
No,
talking between us.
don't throw it under the bus. You made the decision, brother.
I threw out all the topics. The response I got was
All
that
right,
this one
now
was
we're
okay.
getting away from the actual topic.
Yeah, we're getting super far away.
Yes.
Wait, ask another
All
question.
topics submitted by him
I'll
were
tell you the
sent to him,
topics I
okay?
suggested. Here, look. What did I suggest again? Let me see. I think it's in
Why are you
another one.
why are you even so upset about debating this one?
I'm not upset about
It
debating
seems like-
anything.
it seems like
I'm
we
having a great time.
Wait, we
are you guys
dis-
having a great time?
Wait,
Yeah, there we
Dennis.
go.
Dennis, it's
Hell
very
yeah.
clear that you and I disagree on this topic. We do not think the same way on this. We have a disagreement. I think I'm right.
What do we disagree on?
I think I'm correct. Surely you think you are.
What do we
so
disagree
why
on?
would you be upset that we're debating it? Just
Well, I'm not upset.
prove your point.
I wouldn't be upset. I love this. This is so much fun. Are you kidding me?
So much.
This is great.
Kyla,
I
you
get
want
to
to ask
just
another question?
Talk. And they have to listen. I'm sorry.
You know, I'm not really sure where to go. It feels like what's happening is we're kind of like dog and tailing each other a little bit because we're not getting really clear, right? And so I think we have to get really clear answers. So what are answers you each feel the other hasn't been directly answering?
Can I
Okay.
go first?
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
just want you to answer.
Ladies first.
When you say, I've asked this question, but please give me a real answer. When you say the Russia hoax, what was the hoax? What was fake? What was fake? What was improper? Please just answer that.
Here, I'll just write it down.
Because again, the claim is not that Donald Trump himself, in his personal capacity, was colluding with the Russian government to win his election. That isn't the claim. So you can't say the hoax is that, because that's not the claim.
Here, I just wrote it down.
Oh, boy.
Trump is gay. There we go. Micah, that one's for you.
That's the hoax.
All right.
back.
All right, let's get a serious answer to it.
Okay, what is it?
Just when you say the Russia hoax, like describe to me what that means in your mind. What are you trying to invoke when you use that phrase?
That the Russia hoax didn't happen? Okay, let me explain
Well,
it to you.
that's what I believe.
Okay?
What do you believe?
There was Russian interference in the 26. I'm going to explain it like you're 5.
We'll go point by
Okay,
point.
baby. Here you go. Okay? Here's a toy. Look at the toy. Okay, here we go. So Russia interfered in the 2016 election.
Agreed.
There's this big report that they spent millions of dollars on. And
Who?
that report, who?
Yeah.
like you said, there was criminal money that was like gathered, right? Whatever the hell it was, I don't know. Anyway, it did not prove criminal conspiracy.
Okay. Did it need to? For the
Did it need to? Wasn't that the point?
No, not necessarily.
Okay, so what was the point?
It wasn't. What the claim was never like we know for a fact that these people are colluding one to like.
How are you going to
actually
charge somebody if you're not going to try to prove the very thing you're trying to charge them with?
Wait, how do you know what they were trying to charge them with?
What is the premise around collusion? Colluding with a foreign government to interfere in an election.
Okay, I think
what
this-
is the
this-
premise?
this-
What
this
other
surely-
crime
no,
could they have
wait,
charged
this is
them
where,
with?
This is where the confusion.
No, what
You
other
keep-
crime?
wait.
No, tell us now. What other crime could they have charged them with? Outside of
Lying to the
obstruction.
FBI?
Outside of obstruction, perjury. Sure, perjury. They didn't charge him with that. So what other crime? If it's not criminal conspiracy, what other crime?
What crime could have any of these people been charged with for their behavior? Is that what
No,
you're
no,
trying
no,
to
no.
ask?
Trump.
Well, obstruction. But you said
Okay,
other than
yeah, that's
obstruction.
fine. Other than perjury, obstruction, but in terms of colluding, collaborating with a foreign government
What other
to
crime could they have
interfere in
done?
our
I got it.
elections,
Yeah.
what other crime?
you.
Criminal conspiracy,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
Criminal.
No, I
conspiracy.
understand the question you're asking. The only proper answer to this question, Dennis. Yeah, I guess we're gonna loop again. The only
Oh, he
proper
called me
answer.
Dennis. He's mad.
Well, that's your name, is it not?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And I've called you Dennis the
Well,
entire
a
time.
lot of people just call me Def, but it's okay.
Oh, okay. Dennis. The only correct answer to your question is.
I like you. We're
Oh,
gonna be friends after this.
Okay. The only correct answer to your question, what else could they have charged him with, is I don't know. That's the answer you get at the end of an investigation that doesn't get obstructed. That's the answer.
Okay, so
You look into the conduct. You see what a person did. You see what crimes in the criminal code match up with that conduct, and you charge and you go to court and you prove it.
okay. Oh, sounds good. Should have done that.
I agree. I do agree with you. I think Mueller should have charged Trump with obstruction of justice. I agree. Unfortunately, he was president, and the OLC has decided that you can't charge a sitting president.
Well, there you go.
And even if someone were to, I don't know, say fuck it and do it anyway, the Supreme Court would say no, you definitely can't do that
Why do you think they should have charged Trump?
because Trump absolutely obstructed the investigation.
So with obstruction specifically?
Yeah, he should have been charged with obstruction. Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Do you agree?
Yeah.
I think you already said earlier, you do,
based
right?
on what he said, that he didn't sit down to testify, however you want to qualify it, that he didn't cooperate.
It's actually so much worse than that. It's not just that he was like, nah, I'm not going to sit down and do an interview. Is that he continued to worm his way out of interviews that he would schedule. He would go through Giuliani. He would go
Shouldn't
through
have done that.
Schedule a
Again,
sit down interview, and then the day of the interview would show up, and Mueller and his team would pull up to do this interview, and then they would get a text like, oh yeah, sorry, Trump's not coming. Like over and over and over for a year and a half.
Man,
the investigation out. You want to talk about it was a waste of money? Holy shit! How much money did Trump waste dragging it for another
We
year?
could sit here and cry about spilled milk all day. This happened 10 years ago. Should he have cooperated? Yes. I wish he did. He didn't. Sucks.
It is this. Okay, but
It
here's
really
the problem.
sucks.
Should
Should Bill Clinton,
everything
should
you're
Bill
saying in that
Clinton
regard.
not have done what he did? Should he have not said the? Depends on what the meaning of the word is. You know, maybe. Yeah, of course.
Probably not. Lying's bad.
Sucks.
Sure. The point is, I don't know how you can like mix these two things in your mind. You continue to say like, yes, it's bad. Yes, it should have been investigated. Yes, they got some people. That right there is the Russia investigation. That is Russiagate. The crimes that they thought they could prove.
Brother, I don't know if you're hearing any of what I said. I'm quite literally agreeing with you on the majority of this. The thing that you won't
just
accept.
think Trump, yes.
The thing you
But I
won't
agree-
accept.
no, but I
is
agree
that
with you on that.
The
I've
thing
already
you
said
won't
that.
accept is that besides everything you just said, the report didn't conclusively show there was criminal conspiracy. Thus, it couldn't follow through.
Dennis, I just want you to know. I want everyone in the audience to know I'm really proud of you.
Okay, what
It's
is
the first
that?
time this entire debate you've made that claim in an honest way. I'm so proud.
Okay, well, clap.
Yeah, clap. Give him a hand.
All right.
Yes, you're correct.
Thanks.
The Mueller report did not, in fact, demonstrate
Okay.
enough evidence to charge Donald Trump. You're right. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it, brother.
All right.
See, I told you we're going to be friends after this.
I feel like this is a pretty. Is there any other last questions you guys have for each other that you think haven't been answered by your opponent?
No, we just agree. We just agree. You just
What do we agree to? Say it aloud from your full chest.
Okay, here we go.
Both of you.
There were crimes committed surrounding there were crimes committed between the Russian government, however you want to define that, I mean, the biggest things was the DCC acts, you know, the IRA. Okay, I don't know how deep you want to go back into this rabbit hole. There was some level of collusion between people on the Trump campaign, not Trump himself, but people that worked for his campaign and Russian state actors. That did exist. It was investigated. Some people got caught. Some people didn't get caught with those particular crimes because their entire strategy was lie to the FBI over and over so they wouldn't get caught. Then they just get charged with lying to the FBI, which, I mean, that's logical. That is a far lesser charge than what it would have been otherwise, right? So we agreed on that so far. And we both agree that there was never enough evidence presented to charge Trump with that conduct particularly. That never happened. Couldn't find that evidence.
But you guys disagree because you suspect that Trump did know and should have been charged and probably was knowing that Russia was trying to interfere with his election, probably to do something nefarious with the results.
I think,
and you are agnostic. You don't know what you think about that. Does that sound correct? I'm genuinely not trying to mischaracterize
No,
you.
I'm just following through. I just abide by the Mueller report, what it showed. That's it.
Well, the Mueller report was inconclusive as to whether or not Trump had anything to do with the collusion.
Okay. Did it prove criminal conspiracy? Show it all?
No, it was inconclusive. So
did he get charged with it? Did he get charged with it?
No, it was.
Okay,
But it was
well, there we go.
inconclusive.
That's it. That's the point.
That's different.
My opinion.
That's different
I've
than
already
saying,
said
no, he
my
didn't do it.
opinion. My opinion is he should have worked with the government. If he truly obstructed justice, he should have been charged with it. Should have been convicted if he truly did it. I want due process. I don't want anybody above the law.
Sure.
Period.
Sure. He
I don't
should
care
have been.
if
He
it's
should have
the
been. He should have been.
president. I don't care if he's with my party. I don't care if whatever it is. Just I want equal justice. That's
Sure.
it.
Okay. You say.
Last statements,
question.
because
Okay.
we're just
You say that you have read the Mueller
Last
report. Okay,
minute.
I'm just curious. Please do not answer with if he did it, he should have been charged. If you read the Mueller report, there's a lot of he does a lot of talking about Trump's behavior during the course of the investigation. Okay, based on what Mueller concluded or what he said Trump did during the investigation, do you think that he knew about what his campaign members were doing? That's what I want to know. And in Dennis's personal opinion, do you think Trump knew?
We went through this 20 minutes ago. I'm not in his head.
You're not going to say?
I'm not in his head. I don't know. Here's the thing.
All right, we got to wrap. Last thoughts.
If he knew, then yeah. What the hell are you doing, dude? I've said it so many. Did you come in late?
All right. Thank you.
I
Brian,
said it
come on
like
up.
30 different times. I don't know. I've said it like backwards, forwards, sideways.
Thank you guys so much. I'm going to turn this over to
Sideways.
Brian. Thank you, Andrew and Def, for being here.
Thank you, everybody.
Good job. Give them a
Appreciate
round
it,
of
guys.
applause, everybody.
Thank you, Andrew.
I have some good news. Destiny and George Santos are in the building, okay? Yes, the main event is coming up very, very soon. Good job, guys. No fight or anything like that? Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. All right, so a couple quick announcements to make. Again, a reminder that you've probably seen these at the front. You know, we're selling tickets to this raffle and giving away 2-person passes to Monster Quest, 1 2-person pass, Once Upon Escape, 20 tickets to the Beverly Theater, and a $75 gift certificate. So please help us out. That's how we are able to put these things together. And it's really, really important. And before we get to that second debate, I just want to remind everybody about all this stuff because this is how we put these things together, guys, okay? So I want to introduce to you my next debaters. Woodrow, come on up here. Micah, come on up here. I know both of these guys, and Woodrow has done my show plenty of times. He is on the right. Micah, how you doing? Good to see you. Micah also happens to be Adam Mockler's personal debate coach. So I'm going to let Kyla take it away. Both of these two have agreed to do a 30-minute debate, but if they want to go longer, obviously they're more than welcome to. All right, Kyla, take it away, and I'll let you give out the prompt.
All right. Hi, guys. Welcome. Thank you. Thanks for being here. I'm excited to have you guys. So the prompt that we have right now is Trump's economic policies are harming working Americans. Woodrow, you disagree with that? And Micah, you agree with that prompt. So Micah, it was your prompt that you wrote, so I'll let you start, kind of outline what you're thinking. You get to respond for about a minute, and then it's just going to be open. As I said before, with moderation, I'm going to hop in if I think you guys are interrupting each other too much. If you, get too far away from the topic. And if you guys say any naughty words, and if you're watching online, make sure you are supporting the stream. This is all kind of grassroots donations, so there's super chat opportunities, and we really appreciate that. Go ahead, Micah.
Well, thank you so much, Kyla. I'm happy to be here with Woodrow. I know we had a switch up of which Republicans were going to debate with me on this because Republicans just generally don't want to defend their president's economic record, the reason why he was made president of the United States. I think that almost nobody can dispute whether Trump's economic policies have been anything short of a disaster, because if we look at every single economic variable, they're worse than when he took office. Inflation is up. Unemployment is up. Business bankruptcies are up. What's down? GDP growth. What's down? Manufacturing employment. Every macroeconomic variable is worse under this president, and every single signature economic policy has been a catastrophe. He said he was going to lower taxes. He imposed the largest unilateral tax hike on American consumers we've seen in our entire history, and the Supreme Court just ruled that they were completely illegal the entire time. That's the tariffs. He said that he was going to balance the budget. That he's added $4.8 trillion to the deficit in his first year, which is a record for pretty much any president in their first year, so that's very impressive. I can list many things. I really look forward to hearing what Woodrow has to say about his president's economic record.
Okay, first off, thanks for having me here. So just setting expectations here. My opponent's an economics major, and he's a debate coach, and I barely graduated high school. And I was the third choice, so lucky me. So I'm not going to come out here. Yeah, I'm making excuses, right? I'm not going to come out here and say the economy is amazing and perfect and the greatest thing ever. What I'm going to say is that there's more work to be done, and I think things are moving in the right direction. I think that if we just look at numbers and like GDP and things like that, I mean, look, it's kind of funny because when I did, 2 hours before I was told I was doing this debate, I did some quick Googling, and I was looking at your Substack, and I was reading a lot of kind of the economic policies you support, and I was like, this guy kind of sounds like a kind of a moderate Republican almost. And
how dare you?
Right. And I was like just thinking, what exactly, and just to say, like, what would you propose to do differently? Because when I look at, some of the writings you've done, and some of them are very interesting, like you support like a flat tax. It was like, that sounds kind of Republican. You support, you said, capital gains is like a double tax. And I was just like, okay,
this
so.
This guy really did his research. Wow. Shout out to you, Woodrow.
Yeah, right. And so my thought is like, man, I feel like if you're going to criticize President Trump, it's almost like you didn't go far right enough on the changes, right?
Well, I don't think that's true, but let's talk about specific stuff.
But as far as like for the working class people, look, I think there's been some positive things. Look, we have with the big beautiful bill, the average tax cut's about $4,000 for the average American, and I think that's it's hard to.
Okay, let's talk about
Sure,
the one
go
big
ahead.
beautiful bill. The one big beautiful bill added trillions of dollars to our deficit. Do you think the national debt is a problem?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Which president added more to the national debt than any other president in U.S. history?
I get you want me to give you the answer on this, and I'm assuming it's probably
It's Trump. And
right,
do you know
right.
what percentage it is?
I don't.
Okay, 27%.
Okay.
The second place is Biden, 18%.
Okay.
Trump borrowed more than Biden in his first term than
Okay.
Biden did in his first term,
Sure.
even if we exclude COVID.
Right.
I think the national debt is a disaster.
Okay.
So we have a $1.8 trillion deficit. That's bigger than Social Security,
Mm-hmm.
bigger than Medicare, bigger than anything that we spend. And that's not sustainable. And Republicans have talked about that for a very long time. Your president comes into office. He says, I'm going to balance the budget. He adds $3.8 trillion to the deficit. How can you justify that? Our country's going to go bankrupt because of the policies of this president. Every single Democrat for the past 25 years has lowered the deficit. From the time they took office, the deficit was higher at the very beginning. At the end,
Starting
it reduced.
the last 25 years, every single president.
Every single Democratic president has started with a higher deficit than they left with. They lowered
Joe
the
Biden
deficit,
as well, or?
including Joe Biden.
Okay.
I guarantee you. Every single Republican president has done the opposite. They started with a lower deficit.
Mm-hmm.
They increased the deficit. If you care about the national debt, I hope you would agree with me that Democrats are much better on this issue and that Trump has completely betrayed his campaign promise to balance the budget. Can we agree on that?
No, I don't think we can, because I think, when I think about, usually the most famous example of someone who's lowered spending as a Democrat would probably be Bill Clinton, right? And he had a Republican Congress. So you have to put that.
Do you support adding $3.8 trillion to the deficit? You think that's a good policy?
I think that if you put that in a vacuum, do you want $3 trillion in debt or not $3 trillion in debt in a vacuum, and you don't have any other variables? Sure.
I don't think we. Let's take it out of the vacuum.
It's like,
Why
do you want
support
bad thing or good thing? Yeah, I don't want bad thing to happen.
I'm going to lower the deficit, increases the deficit. That's betraying your campaign promise. That's exactly what Trump did. And what did he borrow? What did he borrow for? For this war in Iran, he's cost us $100 billion already. Was that a good investment? For tax cuts for the rich? The corporate, you talked about the One Big Beautiful Bill. The One Big Beautiful Bill lowered the tax rate on the highest income Americans from 39.6% to 37%. That's a permanent tax break. Corporate tax breaks as well. It was from like 35%, it lowered it down to the 20s. Those are permanent tax breaks. You mentioned some tax breaks for working class people. No tax on tips, right? You guys like to talk about those. Do you know when those expire, those tax cuts on normal people?
My understanding is there's a 10-year sunset. Is that right?
No, 2028.
Okay.
So all the tax cuts on the rich, funded by the deficit, by the way, we borrowed money to do this, they're permanent. All the tax cuts for normal people out in the crowd, they're temporary. How do you not see that as the scam it is? This isn't pro-working class people. The rich people get to run away with borrowed money. We're borrowing money to give them a tax break. And then what do normal Americans get? A temporary tax break that expires as soon as Trump leaves office? I think that's a scam.
I mean, my understanding is the reason why they were temporary was because of some sort of legislative.
It's convenient how that always works.
I mean, that's
not for the rich people though. Those have to be permanent because of rules.
I'm sure I'd love them to be permanent, but what if it's funny, and again, you said I did a little bit of research. I was like, man. If we do some of the things that you proposed on your Substack, and you get, with things that kind of Republicans support, you were part of the platform committee for the Democratic Party. I got to imagine you were sitting in that room, and I understand that these are not your positions, but the Democratic Party, a lot of them don't seem to agree with you on some of the positions you hold.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I mean, I have some technical economic positions that I'd be happy to talk about. That might be a little bit boring. But I think, for instance, it's okay for us to have a tax of, let's say, 8% on all of our income, flat on everybody, to pay for universal health insurance. That's a progressive policy, though, because people like Jeff Bezos pay way more. 8% of their income is a lot more than mine. So you might say, well, that's a flat tax, so it's not a progressive policy, but it is a very progressive policy. Right now, we pay the same amount for health insurance as Jeff Bezos does, around the same, right? He pays $10,000 a month, or he pays $10,000 a year, we pay $5,000 a year. I want it to be based on a percentage of income. So I think that's something that conservatives would never support. Your party actually just cut Medicaid by $1 trillion. So
by adding work requirements, I mean.
Well, work requirements which apply to what? I mean, who are the people on Medicaid? Disabled people,
right.
Mothers. I mean, do you think that students in college shouldn't be able to get Medicaid?
Do I think students in college should be able to get? Is that your question?
Shouldn't be able? Yeah, because they added work requirements, right, to Medicaid. Oh, you have to work in order to get Medicaid. But who does that exclude? Disabled people, mothers.
My understanding
do you
is
support
that no. My understanding is that that's not an accurate characterization. 18
million people are going to lose their health insurance because of this president. 18 million because of these Medicaid cuts, because of his cuts to the Affordable Care Act. You think all those people are just bums? All these people that are, they don't deserve health care. You're too lazy to have health care. I think that's a pretty odious position, Woodrow. Aren't you a compassionate guy? Shouldn't people have health care in this country?
I do think people should have health care in this country. I just think we don't agree on the most effective way to do that.
Okay, I have a question.
Sure.
What is Trump's health care plan then? You don't agree with the plan of giving health insurance to poor people.
Right.
You do support Trump's plan of taking it away. Okay, what's his solution for this 18 million people who now, if they go, get into a car wreck, they're screwed financially? What's your solution for them?
Would I be cheating if I said I had concepts of a plan?
Yeah, you have concepts, just like your president. It's coming in 2 weeks. It's been a long time.
Well, generally speaking, I take a free market assumption most of the time. I think you and we do not have the solutions to every single problem. And I just generally think that a free market would be a better and you've even indicated that you generally support the free market in most cases.
I support markets.
yeah.
I think markets should serve human people, right?
Right.
And I think that whenever we have a health insurance market, a healthcare market, where some people do not get the healthcare they need, we need to intervene to make sure that they're protected. Every single developed country in the world does this for their people. Why can't we take some precaution, even a market-based precaution, to make sure that the most needy amongst us don't die on the street? I mean, we have diabetics in this country which are dying without their insulin, and the Republican policy is, actually, we're too generous to you. Oh, all you people in America, they look at our healthcare system and they're like, you know what the problem is? It's too easy on poor people. This Medicaid program, this AC, oh, we're giving them too much, let's cut it. I think that's inhumane. You want to talk about a market-based healthcare system, I'm all ears, but you need to have a system that actually protects the most vulnerable in our society. And it doesn't seem like your party has any ideas for how to do that.
I'm just of the belief that if we continued Medicaid, Medicare the way it's going, it's not going to exist for everybody. You have to make cuts somewhere.
Because of the national debt, because of the deficit?
Yeah.
Okay, so we can afford the $3.8 trillion of borrowing in tax cuts for billionaires, but we can't afford to keep the Medicaid funding we already have because the deficit. This is the interesting logic of Republicans, Woodrow. I don't blame you for this, but I do blame your party. We always have money for wars in the Middle East. We always have money for tax cuts for billionaires. We always have money for corporate welfare, like this new farm bill. They want to give $20 billion to big farms and meat companies like Tyson. But we never have money to give Americans health care, to give American children food. How does that work?
Is the goal of taxation, is it a punitive, or is it to raise revenue for the government to perform its function, right?
The goal of taxation is to raise revenue, yes.
Right.
And we should tax billionaires more so we can get some more revenue.
But you would agree, as a guy who studied economics, that there is at a certain point, if you tax at a certain level, you actually lower your revenue, right?
Yeah, like if you tax them at 85%. But look, our tax rates
in
1940, our tax rate was like 85%.
There was an economic study done by the Obama administration that says that past 33%, you actually lower revenue.
Well, that's so interesting. Because, this is the trickle-down economics thing, right? It's magic. It's money magic, okay? We're going to cut taxes for it's always for billionaires for some reason. We're going to cut taxes for the rich, and we're going to get just as much revenue. It's not going to cost anything. It's going to pay for itself. And then Republicans, you guys have been saying this for 25 years. You've done it how many times now? Under Bush, under Trump the first time, under Trump the second time. And it's never paid for itself. It's never paid for itself. Name one tax cut that paid for itself. It didn't. You cut taxes for rich people, they pay less taxes, we have less money, so what do you say? We have to cut your Medicaid. Sorry, we can't afford your Medicaid anymore. We can't afford your food stamps anymore. Soon it's going to be Social Security. It's a fraud, Woodrow. Come on. So go ahead.
What would you do differently?
Regarding taxes?
If you were advising President Trump right now on the economy, what would you do differently?
Well, I would say resign because you've been protecting pedophiles.
Well, look, what did
you just made $3 billion while in office? You've been insider trading and selling pardons. 88 fraudsters pardoned under your administration. He's forgiven $1.2 billion of stolen money. Literally, people stole money, $1.2 billion, his billionaire friends. And what do you say? You don't have to give the money back to the people you stole from. That's Trump. That's Trump. So I would tell him to resign.
I thought we were having a debate about the economy.
No, I'm sorry. Well, I think fraud has something to do with the economy, but ask Nick Shirley. So no, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'd like you to really answer the prompt because, or my prompt at least, because I think that would you say that the economic policies of the Biden-Harris administration was a success?
I would say they're infinitely better than this. Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely.
So what did they do differently than what we're doing now? What would you do differently than what we're doing now?
Well, so they enforced taxes on rich people. They funded the IRS to go after billionaire tax frauds. I mean, why do we have billionaires in this country that pay a 2% income tax? I don't pay a 2%. No, none of y'all pay a 2% income tax, but billionaires can do that? Well, Democrats said, hey, we should actually enforce the tax code. And what do Republicans say? They said, well, we actually like crime whenever it's rich people. So they defunded the IRS. They fired half the staff. That's one thing that I would say the Democrats did better. Let's talk about another thing. The Democrats were going after big banks that were defrauding consumers. Wells Fargo was charging fake fees on people's checking accounts that were not listed in the contract. They were just charging fake fees. Well, what did the Biden administration did? They went after Wells Fargo and they fined them. They said, hey, you have to go pay your consumers back all the money you stole. What did the Trump administration do on day one? They fired everybody from the agency that did that move, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the biggest consumer financial protection agency in the United States. They fired every single individual they could. That's one thing I'd say they should have done differently. We can go down the list. You have anything to say about those two?
You know, I remember you brought that up in the last debate when I Googled you real quick. And I was thinking, man, I should have a good answer for that if he brings it up. Oh, man, he probably won't bring it up again. He did.
I absolutely did.
So I don't know. I have no idea. I don't have all the information in front of me. I think generally speaking, I think lower taxes are generally good. I think putting more money in American people's pocket is good.
Do you think fraud is bad?
I do think fraud is bad.
Do you think fraudsters should be held accountable?
I do think fraud should be held
accountable. Do you think you should pardon fraudsters? In exchange for money? I know you work for the Republicans, Woodrow, and that's your career, and you got to pay your bills. But let's be honest right now. These people you work for are bad people. Trump has pardoned 88 fraudsters. Can you defend that? Can you look us in the eyes and say, yes, this party that I work for, this president that I work for, I support him pardoning fraudsters? Can you stand on that? Can you stand on business?
I mean, are you saying that Democrats, presidents?
No, now it's about Democrats.
Yeah,
do you support pardoning fraudsters, Woodrow? Is it a good idea?
I mean, like, if we're,
No?
No, yes. I mean, like, in a vacuum, sure, but I don't have all, look.
The 88?
Yeah.
I mean, the guy who gave, we have the guy that was an owner of Binance. They did $1 billion deal with the Trump administration, then he gets a pardon. We have Mitchell, the guy who gave $1 million to Trump, then he gets a pardon. Don't you see the quid pro quo there? I mean, I'm telling you these stories. Do you not believe me? Have you not heard about them? Do you really look at all 88 of these fraudsters and you say, you know what, every single one of them, they were just targeted. These poor billionaires, they were targeted by Biden. Do you really believe that? You're a smart guy, Woodrow.
I'm actually not familiar with those, to be honest.
None of them?
Yeah.
Well,
I really
you shouldn't.
Yeah.
You're not reading the
but
real
I also,
news. You're reading fake news.
The pardon power has existed since our country's founding. You're studying constitutional law, and I think it's been abused probably by both parties,
including Trump. Can you say Trump has abused his pardon power? Can you say that to us right now? You can. No. You can't, right? You can't say it. Right. I get it. No, I understand it's your job.
I just
you
think
can't say it because you'll lose your job. But it's the truth, Woodrow. It's the truth. This president is abusing his power. But you can't say it.
Pandora's box has been open. If your side's going to do it, we'd be stupid not to do it. So
name one fraudster that Biden pardoned. Name one fraudster. Let's talk about numbers. Right. Do you know how much restitution, that stolen money, was forgiven by Biden?
I don't know the answer to that question.
700,000. 700,000 restitution was forgiven by Biden for a pardon that widely was agreed, left and right. They said, actually, this was not a real good prosecution, right?
So you're admitting that he had a bad one too?
No, I'm saying left and right people agreed, actually, this prosecution wasn't a good one. It's like actually appropriate application of pardon power. It wasn't a partisan pardon, right? Yeah. Some pardons are fine. Trump is forgiven. This is 700,000 for Biden. For Trump, what is it? 1.2 billion. You can't do the whole, both sides are the same. One's 700,000, one's 1.2 billion. There's a couple zeros difference between those two, right, Woodrow?
Sure.
It's not the same. And I think this is the issue with Republicans. They can't defend Trump, so they want to say, well, look, the Democrats are just as bad as us, but there's literally not a single thing you can point to, I invite you to right now, where Democrats are as outrageous as Republicans. Can you point to one thing? One example of corruption, just please.
I'm sorry, so can you restate your question?
One example of corruption that is as extreme, as crazy, as indefensible as Trump's corruption on a daily basis.
Okay.
Just
First
one.
of all, like on a daily basis? Like you think
okay.
Trump's doing corrupt stuff on a daily basis?
Oh my God.
Yeah,
well, I mean, actually, it's a multi-hour
like
basis.
he gets goes to the, he gets a glass of water and it's corrupt. Like,
Yeah, I mean, do you know
gets
how
two
many
ice cream cones?
trades, the insider trading's on a daily basis, Woodrow. I mean, he's doing insider trading 24/7. He has the best performing stock market portfolio of all time for some reason. For some
I think
reason, he
Nancy
becomes
Pelosi's
a
doing
master
pretty
stock
good.
trader the moment he becomes president.
Yeah.
For some reason, he starts selling stocks right before he announces the tariffs. That's really interesting. That's really interesting. It's for some reason his children invested tens of millions of dollars in defense contractors the day before the Iran war was declared. That's an interesting coincidence, Woodrow. Isn't that interesting? Did Hunter Biden do that? What did Hunter Biden do in comparison to that?
You're saying Hunter Biden didn't do anything wrong? Is that the,
Oh,
is
he
that
sold
the claim you're
paintings that
making?
were too expensive. He sold his paintings for $200. They were overpriced. That's the corruption scandal that Fox News talked about for like half my life at this point. Right. This is what they talked about. Meanwhile, we can point to his kids, Trump's kids. They built their entire fortune on daddy's name and daddy's access. We have Trump's son is literally selling access to the presidential club, where you can convert money into political influence. You pay him money, and in exchange, you can hang out with the Trump administration's cabinet. Isn't that corrupt? Do you think Americans should be able to buy political access in this country, Woodrow?
I mean, I would say that our government should be accountable to our people.
Yeah, you should be able to buy political access.
But like, you're acting like this is a Republican problem.
Name a Democrat who's done it. Every Democrat?
Yeah, I mean, it's just how
Hunter Biden's club? He had a presidential club? Did that happen? It didn't happen. But you think it's wrong, right?
I mean, what do I think is wrong?
Do you think it's bad that Trump's son is selling access to the president, to the high-up cabinet officials? People can exchange their money for political influence. Can you look us in the eye and just tell us the most common sense thing, the thing that we all know, that is wrong? You cannot, right? I suspect you can.
Well,
you can't concede.
I would
you've
have
done
to just
anything
accept that everything you're telling me is true. Right?
Well, you'd have to be paying attention to the news every single day. You don't think it's real? Does the presidential club not exist?
I'm just not familiar with it.
You're not familiar.
Yeah.
What news do you read, Woodrow?
I guess I'm just under a rock. Apparently, I haven't
You're
heard about
reading
all
my
this stuff.
Substacks from 5 years ago, but not reading the news about your president. My theory is that because you are a Republican operative, you work in the space, I understand how this works, you will not concede that anything Trump has done is wrong. You literally cannot, because it's your job. Okay, well, unfortunately for you, you agreed to this debate and you have to defend this president, and you have to prove that I'm wrong. So can you condemn a single thing Trump has done? Can you acknowledge one element of corruption that we all are aware of? Even Trump supporters are aware of. Can you list one thing and say, you know what, Mr. President? You got that one wrong. Can you do that?
I would say that I wish the tax cuts went further. I mean,
That's the corruption that you're condemning. Mr. Trump, you should have done a bigger tax cut for billionaires. Can you condemn one?
No, I mean, you said you support a flat tax. Let's get a flat tax.
Now we're talking about flat taxes.
Yeah.
Can you condemn a single corrupt act by
this
this
was
president?
supposed to be a debate about the economic policies
Okay,
of
let's
President
talk about
Trump.
more economic
And
policy.
you turn
don't wanna do
into
it.
like, hey, he's corrupt, and you want me to defend these cases that I'm not familiar
I want you to
with.
answer a very straightforward question so we know that you're a genuine actor. We just want to know that you're a genuine actor.
I don't have cable.
I want to know that you're...
Okay, too much from the crowd. I appreciate it, though.
I want to know that you're a genuine actor who speaks his mind instead of the Trump administration's mind. I want to know that you're going to stand on business and say what you genuinely believe, what you know. Because I believe you, like many of these Republican operatives, like these people in this administration, they know this is wrong. They know Trump's doing wrong things. They know that he's being corrupt and he's being self-dealing. Everybody knows it. But because they're paid to say something different, they don't say the truth. And I'm asking you to be courageous enough to say the truth.
I think this is, I came here not really prepared to make a debate, but as much as I could to talk about the economic policies of the Trump administration. You're asking me to defend him on cases that I'm not familiar with.
Do you know
You're going to
any-
law school.
any
You
corruption?
can't. What?
Do you know any corruption instances of the Trump administration? You haven't heard about them in any of them?
Not
a. What are you doing? You're not paying attention to the accusations?
I mean, like if it's funny because this this just feels like a gotcha thing because I'm not prepared to talk about those things because that's not what I was told this debate was. I was told about this debate 2 hours ago.
Okay, let's
So
talk. Let's talk about
no,
tariffs.
I mean, like you're going to law school, and you couldn't if you went before a judge to make arguments before a judge, you can't just expect
But
the
you
lawyer
support Trump.
I do.
You support him.
Yeah.
You work for Republicans.
Yeah, I don't work for him.
And you can't defend his character. You can't. Like, Trump has been being accused of being corrupt for 10 years. You've said, I don't care about any of these allegations of corruption.
That's not
I
what I
like
said.
him. People should
That's not what
vote
I
for
said.
him. You didn't say that.
No, I did not
So
say
you
that.
do care about the allegations, but you don't know anything about him, and you actually support Trump anyway. Is that your position?
Well, I haven't heard of a lot of things you're saying.
So you
And
just
maybe
haven't heard about
maybe,
it.
and it's funny because I think everyone's in a little bit of a bubble, and maybe I'm in one. But
Are you concerned about it? Do you hear this and you're like, oh, maybe I'm wrong to
Well,
support this guy?
Look,
88 fraudsters. Oh, God, I
know,
didn't even hear about that.
It's the Trump phenomenon's interesting because there's been so much stuff thrown against him, and a lot of it's turned out to be bullshit.
Oh, a lot
and,
of it. So
and
much.
it's like a bed of nails thing where
Fam-
when you're constantly attacking for all these little things.
So true. Little things.
yeah.
Pardoning fraudsters.
Well, look,
self-dealing,
no, I mean, like, there may
accepting
even-
a
there may
guitar
even-
jet that's worth over $1 billion and giving it to your own presidential library. It's just a small guitar jet, okay? It's just a small jet. I mean, so what you're going to come in here and say, because this is what you're implying, all these allegations against Trump are bullshit. Is that your view? If that's your view, just say it.
What I was saying is that I would have to do some research because some of these things you're telling me are the first time I've ever heard them.
So you're concerned, though? You're concerned?
I mean,
You
like,
find it concerning, right? You're not confident that I'm wrong, and you never heard about it before, so you might say, wow, this is a big problem. If this is true, if what I'm saying is true, will you stop supporting Trump? Serious, this is an easy one. You should say, yes, it is. I mean, if Trump really is a corrupt piece of shit, right, I'm not going to support him, right?
I mean,
Would you agree with that?
I could turn that question around on you. Could you say, oh, hey, would you support, whoever your favorite Democrat is if they did all these things?
But I can defend them because I have a position and I know those allegations are false.
Okay. And
So-
I don't know if they're true or false or
So-
not.
so you're
I'm
ambivalent.
hearing them for the first time.
Okay,
Yeah.
Woodrow. We'll switch to a different topic. Okay, you're more comfortable with. Let's talk about whether the war in Iran was a good economic decision or not, because this is an economic decision. We spent $100 billion. Some estimates say the cost in the long run is going to be $1 trillion. Okay, for that amount of money, we could send every American $4 or $5 grand just as an individual check. Okay, Americans have died. Over 50,000 Iranians have died. It's between 50 and 80,000 as a result of this war. Their enriched uranium is where? Do you know where their enriched uranium is? You don't know?
I don't.
It's still in Iran. Where was it before the war started? In the exact same location, still in Iran. So this war has achieved what? Nothing. It's achieved nothing other than wasting our money and raising our gas prices. Do you think this war in Iran was a good economic decision?
I mean, I think that Iran was like the #1 sponsor of
So you have heard
terrorism.
about this one.
Yeah,
He's heard
yeah,
about
a little
the war in
bit.
Iran.
You
Well, this
know,
is great.
Yeah, I heard.
I'm happy to hear about that
There
one.
is something going on over there, right? And I think that I know some folks in the national security apparatus, and Iran was sponsoring terrorists and
Oh,
killing
yeah.
Americans all across the globe.
And
I mean,
weapons of mass
and they-
destruction as well, right? They had a weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah, and look,
They've been doing the same talking points for 25 years, Woodrow. Weapons of mass destruction, sponsors of terrorism. You would think that by now we'd realize, oh my God, it's the Iraq playbook over and over again. I mean, how many wars in the Middle East that last forever over terrorism and weapons of mass destruction with countries that start with IRA do we have to go through before we realize that this playbook is bullshit? I thought your president ran on being the pro-peace president. Didn't he run on that?
He did run on that.
You heard about that.
And we haven't put any boots on the ground.
Well, actually,
And-
we did
no.
put boots on the ground.
No.
We did put boots on the ground to recover the American aircraft and the soldiers which were shot down in Iran. We did put boots on the ground.
Okay.
And the president has constantly entertained putting boots on the ground in Kharg Island. So what's that about? Why is he moving troops to the Middle East if we're not interested in putting boots on the ground?
So, what's your question? I'm just.
Well, so your claim is,
Yeah.
well, we haven't put boots on the ground. So
Well,
it's
yeah.
not as bad as George
Well, we
Bush,
haven't
my
invaded
other
the country
Republican
like
president.
we invaded Iraq. right? I mean,
We haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
No. We've already spent $100 billion. I mean, we're racking up the bill faster than probably Iraq. I mean, my God, that cost us $1 trillion over what, 4 or 5 years?
Right.
This one's cost us 1/10 of that amount in like what, a month, 2 months? But okay, we haven't put boots on the ground. Would you oppose it if we did put boots on the ground?
I personally don't support putting boots on the ground.
You
I
don't
think
support
I think ultimately the
Nice.
people of Iran have to decide if they want to continue to be run by an Ayatollah.
Okay.
Mullahs.
Okay. So what is the big success of this war that makes you support it so much?
I think that like I said, I think that Iran is usually the behind a lot
They're
of
so bad, right? They're bad guys.
they're bad. They're yeah.
Okay. And what did we win? That's my question. Oh, Iran is so bad. They're so terrible. Okay. What did we do to them? Did we defeat them? Did we get some big success for America?
I mean, we've decimated their military to a large
man,
extent, right? They have like no air force now, right?
They didn't have an air force before. Do you know where Iran got its airplanes, its aircraft?
From us?
From the United States.
Yeah.
And when was that?
What was
The
that, like-
1970s.
Right.
Do you seriously think the Iranian Air Force running on planes from the 1970s was ever a threat to the United States? I thought military interventions were about protecting us, but somehow they have to cite, this war in Iran has been so disastrous, they have to cite a bunch of fake bullshit. They cite, oh, we destroyed their Air Force that we gave them 50 years ago that was never a threat to us. Oh, we destroyed their Navy, which was 50 years old and we gave to them and they had like 5 ships anyway. Can you name a single thing that we've actually won for Americans? A single benefit we've had from all the costs that we've incurred, because we've paid the higher gas prices for this war. Our relatives, our friends, they're the ones who've gone over to fight in this war. Our tax dollars have gone to fight in this war. We've paid the costs. What have we received in benefits?
I think one of the largest state sponsors of terrorists have severely damaged because of it. And I mean,
In what way?
What?
In what way? The Air Force? That doesn't count. Come on, it doesn't count, Woodrow.
Okay.
The Air Force never could even reach. They couldn't even reach us. Okay, the Navy doesn't count. So what?
Okay, so nothing counts. Right?
No, things could count.
Right.
You could have a successful war.
Okay.
Successful wars happen, but
Well, it's still ongoing, right? I mean, we just said it.
So what are we gonna get?
Yeah, we just went back in. So
What are we gonna win? What's the goal? What's in it for me? I'm paying higher prices. What's in this war for me? That's what Americans are wondering. That's why this war pulls so poorly. And your president ran a campaign on this very idea. He said, what was this Iraq war about? What was the war in Afghanistan about, right? He said, we didn't get anything from it. That's why people voted for him. They said, oh, this guy makes a lot of sense. And then he gets into power, and what do we find out? Uh-oh, he's just like every Republican. Every time Republicans get office, they do a few things. They cut taxes for the rich. They cut benefits for the poor. They blow up the deficit. They start a war in the Middle East, and then they cause a recession. We've done the first 4. The 5th one's coming. Is there anything wrong with this analysis, Woodrow, or would you agree?
No, I wouldn't necessarily agree with that.
Oh, no.
You're saying every recession has been caused by a Republican president?
When was the last recession that was caused under a Democrat? He doesn't know. He doesn't. Jimmy Carter.
Okay.
You know how long ago that was?
How long? Yeah,
7 out of
right.
the 8 last recessions were under Republicans.
Right. Okay. I mean, I don't know.
2020, Trump.
Yeah.
You know? The last one, 2007, 2008, George Bush. Your party has a bad record on this. I think my analysis is right. What's been wrong about this analysis?
Okay, so let's just go through all those. So you're
Yeah.
saying those are the only, there's never been a recession under Biden, and there's never been.
No, it was not a recession under Biden.
No?
In fact, no.
Okay. I mean, learn something new every day.
There wasn't a recession under Biden. No, I mean, it's like your party, and this is the thing about MAGA. This is what annoys me, and I think it annoys many Americans that voted for this president. They were promised something different. They were promised a Republican Party that actually puts Americans first and that isn't interventionist and that actually fights against the corrupt political system. And what did they get? They got neocon 2.0. Trump is every bad thing that Bush was, plus more corruption, plus more authoritarianism, plus more self-dealing. He is literally the same, but a little bit dumber, and George Bush was pretty dumb. What changed? What changed? Where is this big populism that we were supposed to get? What was the populism? The tariffs that we all paid that were illegal in the first place? How is your Republican Party, how has Trump lived up to his anti-establishment narrative?
So your question now is, how has President Trump lived up to his anti-establishment narrative?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, one, I mean, like I said, obviously you don't agree. I think the tax cuts were good, and I think
That's
they were
anti-establishment?
Yeah, well, I think
He
that,
really stuck it to McConnell with that one. I mean,
Yeah,
come
okay.
on. Come on, Woodrow.
and look, we've secured our border. I mean, that was a large mandate we had.
Republicans famously have always, not supported border security? This has been their position for 25 years.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely been some Republicans who are not great on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we're going to move towards our last thoughts. Do you guys have any final wrapping thoughts? Any questions, Woodrow or Micah, that you think your opponent hasn't answered that you're satisfied with?
I mean, I have to say the corruption one. I mean, Woodrow, my theory is that you cannot condemn a single corrupt act of this administration or a serious policy of Trump. Now, any free-thinking person disagrees with even their own party sometimes. Can you name a serious thing that you disagree with Trump on? And not, he didn't cut taxes enough. Come on, give me a more serious one than that. Okay. Give me a serious condemnation of Trump on something.
Serious condemnation of Trump. I'm a big gun rights person. Sometimes I wish he was a little bit stronger on that, personally. But, I remember he banned bump stocks in his first term, I believe.
He didn't own the libs hard enough. I mean,
Yeah,
this is the
I mean,
kind of
really,
category of criticism he's getting
I'm
from
a little
Trump.
bit personally more conservative than he is, but, that's my criticism.
Do you have any questions you feel Micah hasn't answered for you as we wrap up?
No, I mean, look, you're educating me on a few things I honestly haven't heard of, and I know you want to just say, oh, I'm just some hack that doesn't, that just can't be an honest broker with you. But I'm gonna Google that stuff and see what it is, what it's about. But I have to say, like, generally I'm skeptical because I've just heard so much stuff about Trump that is just like nonsense.
Well, can we shake on this? If what I said is true, if these corruption allegations, which are absolutely true, if you're wondering, ask Google, or if you're really young, ask ChatGPT. If they're true, will you agree with me that this president deserves to be impeached? If they're true.
Well, like, what's the metric for true, right? I mean, like, no, I'm serious. Like, was he convicted in a court of law?
This guy's Jordan Peterson now. What does true mean?
No, I mean, like, what's
what do you mean by true?
I mean, like, is it true because you said so? Is it true because
No, like true, like as in factually true.
Right.
Like it's actually the case.
I mean, like, how would we?
Come on, Woodrow. Come on. If Trump really pardoned 88 fraudsters, if he did it in exchange for money, if his son is selling access to the administration, if he's insider trading, if he's doing these things and the many, many more things that I've accused him of doing and he has done, does he deserve to be impeached? Yes. You can't say yes because you can't say yes, right?
Well, look.
He can't say it. He can't say it.
No,
None of them could say it.
Sure.
Because your paycheck, and I'm sorry to say this, Woodrow, relies on you not saying the truth. I know you're a smart enough person and a good enough person on your inside. The answer is yes. The answer is yes. Maybe. Can we get a maybe? Can we get a maybe, Woodrow? Can't get
All right.
Okay.
Give it up for Micah and for Woodrow. Thank you, guys. Micah, Woodrow, I appreciate it. And I got to say, Woodrow, one of the things I actually really appreciate that happened in that conversation is you acknowledge that sometimes we live in bubbles, and there was I'm hoping, like a genuine interest to go outside of that. And I think that's amazing. And you're right, you did get called in last minute. We really appreciate you replacing. Thank you so much for being here today. Micah, as well, thank you.
Are you guys ready for the main event? All right. Okay. So I just want to announce this real quickly. We got this QR code behind me. The reason why we're able to do these kind of events is from help from people like you. We'd love for you guys to donate. And also, there's a raffle. You can buy tickets at the entrance, and the winners will be announced. And here's some really good news as well. There's going to be a Q&A. So after this debate, you guys are going to be able to ask questions to either George or Destiny. So I want you guys to think right now what type of questions you're going to ask. And you're going to be able to have the opportunity to do that. I don't know. Maybe it'll be a viral moment. Maybe it won't. All right, so let me give you a little bit of the rules here, what we're going to be doing in this debate, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the topics. It's going to be a one-on-one debate. It's going to be 90 minutes. And as I said, then we're going to open the floor to a Q&A where you guys can get involved as well. So Destiny is going to be arguing that the modern Republican Party has abandoned the rule of law in exchange for loyalty to Donald Trump. George is going to be making the argument that the Democratic Party is ignoring election results and opt for that instead. So he's going to be, they're going to be going at it in that category. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty exciting, pretty entertaining. I was just talking to George back there. He's a very funny guy, and I'm looking forward to this. So again, let me just repeat what I just said. Think about questions that you're going to want to ask these guys now, so that when we open the Q&A, because we only have a certain amount of allotted time to do so, you guys are going to be able to get right up to the microphone and ask the questions to both of them. All right, so are you guys ready? Are you guys ready? You guys been waiting here, you've been patient. Without further ado, let's introduce these two men. The first person I would like to introduce up here on stage, he's one of the biggest live streamers on the planet. In my personal opinion, on the left, he's one of the best debaters in the world. Happy to call him a friend. The one, the only, Destiny. Come up on stage, Destiny. The other guy that I'm inviting on stage right now, you might have heard of him. He's been in the news the last couple years. He is a former congressman. He's also told me that he is Jewish. That's what he just told me backstage. Apparently, he used to be a very good volleyball player at Baruch University, and he also has a wonderful sense of humor. I think this is going to be, I know it's going to be a very entertaining debate. The one, the only, former congressman, Mr. George Santos. So Kyla, I believe, is going to be coming up here, and she's going to be the one, the only moderator for this debate. Kyla, take it away. Enjoy, everybody. I know I'm going to enjoy this.
All righty, so we have about an hour and a half. We'll see how we go with this conversation. While they're debating, couple things to note. Did you guys get raffle tickets? Some of you, there's like actually like high value raffle prizes, like escape rooms, dinners. If you want to like take somebody on a nice date, we've got $75 dinner tickets, okay? We've got escape rooms. You guys, it's like a date night. You just pay $3, you might get a complete date night. So the raffle tickets also come with free movie tickets. So highly recommend you guys get that. And we're gonna do the raffle right at the end of this debate. So we have great prizes. Please do check it out. You can buy raffle tickets just outside the door there. Obviously, we have 2 prompts for today for people who are listening online. Where's my camera? There you are. If you're listening online, hi, Mom. If you're listening online right now, we are gonna hopefully have super chats that appear behind us. Super chats that are over $100 will also be asked into the mic for you if you're interested at the very end. The Q&A will be about 30 to 40 minutes at the end of the debate. So in the next like hour to hour and a half, okay? So make sure as you guys are listening, if you have questions for either of them, load them up, have them prepped. We're gonna hand down a mic to the center area. So my audio guys, make sure you've got a 4th mic ready to go for down in that center area. And we'll have a great debate here tonight. George and Destiny, thank you guys for being here today. I'm excited. So we have kind of 2 prompts. It's a long, loaded debate. So each of you could basically have 2 affirmative statements to talk about today. So on Destiny's side, you approved of the statement, the modern Republican Party has abandoned the rule of law in exchange for loyalty to Donald Trump. That is the position that you will be defending, Destiny. George, you submitted that the Democratic Party is ignoring election results and opt for coronations instead. That is the position you will also be defending. So what we'll do is opening statements. We'll open with you. I would like you to address both points, ideally. And then we'll go to you, open with both points. And then it's going to be a free-for-all. The moderation is going to be the same as we've done all night. So by and large, I'm going to try to be as neutral as possible, stay just in between you two. Please, no slurs. We're on YouTube, so be TOS friendly. Don't go crazy, okay? Otherwise, I'm going to slap the mic out of your hand. Other things to be aware of, if you interrupt to a point where I can't even hear who's saying what, I'm going to pause you guys, but you can be spicy, okay? Go ahead, have fun. Interruptions make debates and conversations, I think, flow better, if I'm being honest. Most importantly, Evol as well, if I feel like we're getting super off topic, if we start like screaming about like, I don't know. This is a pretty broad topic, so I feel like we have a lot of ground that we can cover. But if I feel like we're off topic, I will re-rail us. And of course, if you feel that your opponent is like running away from a question that is essential for the debate to be answered seriously, you can appeal to me as the moderator. I will ensure that your opponent answers the questions. Ready to go?
Ready to go?
Woo!
Yeah,
All right.
let's go.
Take it away.
I think that the current administration.
Hi, Destiny.
Hello, George. How's it
Okay,
going?
now we can start. All
Now we
right.
can start.
Jesus, rude.
That last debate was a warm-up for what's going to happen here, okay? So, no, I'm just kidding.
I think the current administration has a novel interpretation of how the U.S. government works, and by U.S. government I mean exclusively the White House. Whether you're talking foreign affairs and you're talking murdering Venezuelans that are off the coast of South America, and having absolutely no regard for international law or norms, whether you're talking about continuing on in this Iran war, which is now an illegal war, which Congress and the Republicans have completely abdicated their duty on restraining the president on, whether we're talking about the slew of hilariously vapid and stupid indictments that are coming out from the White House that are trying to make it so apparently every right-wing movement that wasn't real in the United States actually was really real, but they were only really real because the SPLC was secretly funding all of them. There's just absolutely no like honest engagement with the structure of the government, with how it's supposed to work in any part of this administration, in a way that is so far and away from anything we've ever seen in this country before, except for maybe in Trump 1, where he was still restrained by people that knew how government functioned. I honestly have no idea what a defensive rule of law is going to look like. I anticipate bringing up something like Obama weaponizing the IRS, which never happened, which is why there were no criminal charges for it, and why there was no serious investigation that said as much. We could try to bring up Obama assassinating a U.S. citizen, an opinion that he went to his Office of Legal Counsel for. They said it was probably okay. This guy was a terrorist overseas. Nobody sought to hold Obama accountable for this. We try to make some comparisons, but nothing reaches the level of just blatant disregard for structure of government as what we have right now with the Trump administration. I don't think I've ever seen federal authorities murder U.S. citizens and then be whisked away to freedom by the same federal government that says that they're doing it for our own good to enforce immigration law. As for the second prompt, what was his? He's defending what?
Oh boy, you got me. Democratic Party is ignoring election results and opt for coronations instead.
I mean, this is the same party where, I don't know if this is like mass programming that they do behind the scenes, where they all have to get the, Joe Biden was certified the winner of the 2020 presidential election, and they can't even answer honestly for who won that election. I can't think of anything more to do with coronations than the Republican Party when it comes to Donald Trump. I feel like these people think that Trump has won the past 4 elections and think that he's going to win the next one even if he doesn't run. So I don't know. I mean, we can talk about the Kamala Biden thing. That was far from a coronation.
What about Plattner?
What about Plattner? He's gone, isn't he?
Who's replacing him?
Well, we don't know yet, but it's a pretty awkward position. But those are my openers. We can go back further. You can give your openers. Go for it.
You know what? Thank you. Sorry
You're
for
welcome.
interjecting there.
Go ahead.
It was very hard to say shut. But from the rule of law and Department of Justice, I'm going to start there, obviously, because I have a bone or two to pick of how I feel on that. But as far as rule of law, the way that you characterize it, it's overly broad, the way that Destiny put it forward. I think it's a little bit more specific, and there's a lot more nuance in the sense of the SPLC was, in fact, funding radical organizations. It's delineated in the indictment because last I checked, Democrats love looking at indictments when it's somebody like me being indicted. And a lot of people, probably in this room, went line by line, made memes. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It just made my cameos more expensive.
Wait, just to check the audio, did you say indicted or convicted?
Well, I'm talking about indictments
Okay,
right now.
all right, okay.
Right? Well, convictions, that comes later, right? So When it comes to people like me and you look through an indictment, you guys go line by line. And as I said, thank you for that. My cameos were amazing. But in all seriousness, when you start looking at it for what it is, you guys will not have a single opposition to anything that's in an indictment against somebody like a George Santos or a Donald Trump. But the moment you put the shoe on the other hand, oh, this is all fake. On the other foot, whatever. Like I can sit here and do it all backwards. Like I famously said, I can chew and walk gum. I don't give a fuck. Oh, sorry. Oh, I can? Oh,
Yeah,
I
just
can
don't
swear?
drop
Oh, okay.
slurs. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, just like that,
oh,
like-
sorry.
yeah.
All right.
It's
So, so the point that I'm trying to make is, yes, it is bad what the SPLCs did. Is it hard for you to admit that funding the KKK is bad, Destiny?
Are you done with your openers? Or we
No,
go back
I'm
and
not
forth?
done with it. That was a question in the middle of my opener.
I think that having people that serve as informants, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
You think that's the limitation of what the funds were for?
That's my understanding, is to gather
all right.
information, yeah.
That's fair. That's a fair.
Well, that's what's in the indictment, right?
That's a fair answer.
That's
No,
what's in the
I
indictment.
agree. But funding anything like the KKK, I don't care if it's an informant. I don't think we need to fund
Oh,
informants. to
really?
know that
So
the-
any dollar that for any intelligence, for any military, anything that serves as an operative or
no,
an
what I'm
informant
saying
in any...
is we don't need an informant to know that the KKK is bad at this point. It's 2026.
Well, it's not to let us know the KKK
that's
is
a
bad, it's to
position.
keep informed on like things they
I-
might do in
I
the future,
understand.
right?
I understand
Also, it's
where
the
you're coming
SPLC, which is not the government. So, you know,
I understand. All right. So,
Okay.
and then on my position, and I'm just gonna go with this, and then we'll just get into it because I don't want to be too long-winded. Democrats ignore primary voters, and I'm not saying this to be cute. Joe Biden was nominated to be president, even though the people had issues with him and knew that his performance wasn't going to be the same. I'm not going to sit here and make attacks at the former president. Okay, it's just not my MO. You know that because we've interacted before. Attacking is not my thing. I rather make fun of it, but not attack it. It's not cool. So there were obvious problems with Joe Biden and the capacity for him to perform, especially running circles around somebody like Donald Trump, who's going to literally make a meme out of the entire race. And we knew that was going to happen, right? So then they go and do the whole switcheroo with Kamala, completely ignored the Democrat base, and now they're doing the same thing in Maine. Remember that Graham Plattner had a lot of these allegations already out there, and still 145,000 Mainers went out there and said, we don't care, we want him as our candidate. And then all of a sudden, the DC establishment is like, no, we can't afford this. It's going to look bad because all of a sudden, polling in the general started to look bad. And once again, the Democrats are ignoring the democratic process that took place, and they're going to find somebody to put a crown on their head and say, this is our candidate. That's wrong. I think we're all better than that, and I think we should do better, and Democrats want to criticize us, but this is the way that they're behaving with their elections, and I think it's reprehensible, and I'll leave it at that.
Go ahead. It's open.
It
on,
is.
Destiny.
Can we agree that every single person right now, every judge, anybody that made it to any position of the government that couldn't honestly answer who won the 2020 election should be removed when the next president comes into play?
No, I disagree. People are entitled to their opinion. Remember one
Any
thing.
opinion?
Stupid opinions are something that people are entitled to have.
Okay.
I don't
Just
care.
curious. Is your doctor entitled to believe in the four humors?
Okay. Let me.
Is your auto mechanic
Hold on,
entitled to believe? Like, I'm just curious where because the only reason I'm asking this. Wait. The only reason I'm asking this.
It doesn't matter to
that
me
was
if it's
obviously
stupid.
a stupid statement.
Of course.
Wait. You obviously just said something very stupid, right?
That
That anyone is entitled to their opinion? We're not
Anyone
talking
isn't-
about who we're sitting next to at bingo, right? Where these are people that are holding official. I don't want anybody to have a random opinion if they're nominated to be a federal judge. I want to feel like they know and understand the law and can answer basic questions sometimes of law and fact.
Justice
and if they don't even
Jackson-
know who won the 2020 election, why would I trust them to adjudicate any other case?
Justice Jackson couldn't define what a woman was.
Is that a question before the court right now? What do you mean?
No, it's not. But you're saying about stupid questions. When you're being nominated to be the Supreme Court Justice of the United States and you're asked, what's a woman? I'm not a biologist. I can't define that. You see what I'm saying?
I
It's
submit
so
to
easy
you,
to say these
do you
things.
think that it's easier to give a concrete, simple definition of what is a woman versus who won the 2020 election?
Yes.
Really?
It's as simple
Is
as
the
who won.
2020 election that difficult, or?
No, I think it's simple. It's simple to answer who won the 2020 election. I think it's
I can do
simple
that
to
in one
answer what
word.
is a
How many
woman.
words does it take for you to define a woman? Look, who won 2020 election? Biden. See how easy that was? It was one word, single word, super
Biden
easy.
won the 2020 election. I think you got the wrong guy up here.
No,
I'm
no,
a Trumper,
I'm not asking about
but
you.
I did
You're not
say
in a-
Joe
you-
Biden won the election.
You're not a federal judge and you're not in cabinet positions where these things are coming up. I'm saying that all of the people appointed who can't honestly answer who won the 2020 election, they're doing it because they're afraid of what?
That's not true. Look, that's my opinion. Now, if you want me to go observe and see what other people are saying, I'll give an example. I was on the ballot in 2020, by the way, in New York for Congress. It was my first run. 2 days after the election, I was up by something, I don't know, I think it was like 4,000 votes, 4,500 votes, something like that. It was enough ahead that I got invited to go down to orientation in DC, right? So I'm there, whatever, doing my thing. And then absentee ballots come in. It was 17,000 absentee ballots. Majority of them were military. Military ballots were breaking, I think it was like 60-40 for Republicans. Everybody's like, oh my God, you might have just pulled off the biggest upset in the country right now. I'm like, not gonna celebrate before every single miserable ballot is counted. 7 days after the election passes, that's the cutoff for absentee ballots to come in. Andrew Cuomo goes on TV and says, it has been brought to my attention that there's a lot of ballots in the USPS, wherever, I don't know where, and I am going to now extend for 3 more days for ballots to be delivered. Now, first of all, that's changing election law after Election Day. You should have prepared for this before Election Day. I think that's a fair thing to say. He changed election law after Election Day, right? And allowed for ballots to come in a little longer. Post-dated by Election Day, I'm not saying that the post-date was different, but afterwards, that's kind of fishy. And then all of a sudden, 70,000 ballots came in my race. I lost the race, whatever, I conceded. I didn't agree with the way that it took place, but that's why people have questions, dude. That's really things like that did happen. I didn't mount some legal insane crusade and go out there and go crazy, but that did happen. And that's a localized issue.
Did somebody sue him over this?
I didn't. I was the only one entitled to sue, and I chose not to.
Did anybody sue him over this?
No, I chose not to.
So if it was such such a flagrant abuse of the law, why did nobody sue him over it?
The reason I chose not to sue, it would take countless dollars to go and do it. Time.
And we all know Republicans don't like to waste money on lawsuits. And not even just you personally, but nobody else in the Republican establishment.
It was my decision to make, and my decision was no.
Why not? You don't think you could have asked any other Republican? You don't think they would have cared? No Koch brothers, no Trump funding, no fundraising, nobody else?
It wasn't about fundraising because we did have a
okay, so I understand what you're saying. So you've given me your personal opinion that you felt like Cuomo shouldn't have done what he felt was in his job as a governor to make sure all the ballots were counted. I understand Republicans don't like it when all the votes are counted.
I understand
and
ballots need to be counted.
And your issue with that is that somehow that was against an election process, that he was trying to get all the ballots counted, but you didn't challenge it.
No.
And somehow this is supposed to make me feel some type of way about people not acknowledging who won the 2020 election?
I'm going to say this again. I'm not saying that this is some minor, this is literally changing procedural election law after Election Day, period. It's wrong.
You can't hype it up this much and then tell me, but nobody decided to sue over it.
I chose not to sue
Why?
over it.
Then
it wasn't worth the squeeze. I was seeing.
It wasn't worth a seat in Congress?
Let me put it this way. I saw what was unfolding across the country, right? As everything started unfolding, all the lawsuits, everybody, and I saw where it was going, and there was a narrative. The courts were already rendering opinions, dismissing cases. I just didn't want to go through that.
Because so many of the cases were bad cases.
Probably. Probably.
So if there were a ton of bad cases...
You're asking me to argue something that I'm not going to argue.
Well, because when I gave an opinion...
I don't even think they're all bad cases.
When I gave an opinion, you seemed to disagree.
I think they were poorly presented.
And then what does that say about the case?
Well, I think some of the lawyers are bad. I mean, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to get a lot of flack, but like when you give Sidney Powell a case, you're fucking certifiable.
Well, what does it say if the only lawyers willing to take these cases on are shitty lawyers?
Well, then don't take the case or find a better lawyer. There were good lawyers who did take cases.
Really?
But because of lawyers like Sidney Powell, they got completely destroyed because she set such dangerous, poor precedent to even argue the preface of any kind of irregularity.
I submit to you that if the only lawyers that are willing to take on the cockamamie ideas that a person is putting forward, it's probably because those ideas are cockamamie ideas. They're bad ideas. They're bad cases. They were from the start. That's why nobody with any air of legitimacy wanted to touch any of them. That's why Barr quit weeks before the actual electoral count. Like every single part of how Trump has conducted himself has left it so that only the most I don't even know what you call these people. The Lindsay Halligans, the insurance lawyers of the world will even take jobs, around this guy anymore. Like, I don't think that is an accident. I don't think that Trump can have bad cases that only bad lawyers are willing to take on and then blame the bad lawyers like he did with Bondi when things don't pan out exactly the way he wants it to. I think we can probably say at some point, they're probably bad cases. And I think that past that, we should say, yeah, he lost 2020. It's pretty simple. I think that if you're going to be adjudicating a case in federal court, I don't want a judge in front of me to not know who would have won the 2020 election. I don't want them making any decision about anything about law or fact anywhere near me if they can't even answer that question.
Okay. All right, sure. We don't want a judge that can't define the 2020 election in simple terms, right? And
It's a win or loss, one word.
I understand. I
Okay.
understand. I understand what you're saying, but I'm going to go back to the statement I made earlier about Ketanji Jackson, or whatever her name is, Justice Jackson, or Brown, whatever.
I don't think trying to
Relax,
trap somebody
okay?
on a gender definition for the trans
She's
obsession
going to
stuff,
have to hear cases on women's health.
then she can write her opinion on those cases on women's health, and you can see
What
if
is
you
a
agree or
woman?
disagree with what.
What is a woman? That's important.
Yeah, but I don't know if she's going to commit to some answer here that's going to be
It's
used
a
against her in the
simple answer.
future. It's in the climate today. I don't know if that's a simple answer. Even Jordan Peterson didn't give a simple answer in the "What Is a Woman" documentary with Matt Walsh. Like to try to say that you can simply define some gender, whatever. Like if we're talking for health stuff, then sure, adult human female has ovaries, whatever. You want to say that's fine. But to pretend like that clearly, massively ideologically motivated question, and I think it's interesting you bring this up as an example because I think it cuts to the core of the issue. Is that when you look at a Republican and you ask them like, what is 1 + 1? They'll look back at you and they'll say like, well, do you think a fetus is a human? And they act like this is the same type of question. You're laughing, but it's true. You bring the most ideologically loaded questions, and if you don't have a clear-cut answer for that, then it's like, I don't know, is the sky blue? Is the dirt brown? I don't know, I can't answer it. If we can't set some kind of standard of like even acknowledging who won an election, we're doomed. And having any other greater conversation topic is like what's next? Is the president going to convince people that a camouflage guy was taking a machete and hacking apart the reflection pool without any footage? Like, is that going to be the next, like, which she's doing right now? That's an open lie that Trump is selling, right? Or is it going to be Trump on Truth Social saying, I need a lawyer who's brave enough to go and prosecute these 3 individuals, and I don't even care if it's an insurance lawyer like Lindsay Halligan and who's going to be appointed and do it, and she doesn't even know how to fucking run an indictment? This person's never been in a criminal court in her life? This is where we're at.
I just knew I was going to come in here and I was going to have to talk about the goddamn reflection pool. I just knew it. I knew it. You weren't going to let it slide.
Republicans need to do some reflecting, okay?
Oh, my God. Can you shut up about it already? Jesus Christ. Okay, anyway, the reflecting pool is just... Oh, wow. Anyway.
I mean, it really is a microcosm for the whole kind of...
It's just such a weird place to hang up this entire...
The Republicans chose it. They chose it, though.
I get it. I get it. Like, okay, so President Trump wanted to make it prettier. It didn't work out. Are we really going to spend the next year talking about the reflection pool?
Why? He wants to talk... You want to talk about the woman trans issues
Somebody's
for 27
determined.
years? I think it's funny.
She said yes. Oh, my God. Who was it?
It's funny because it's a clear-cut example.
Who said it? Oh, she just brown-nosed on you. You need better friends. She's just literally, oh my God. Well, look.
I feel like we're at the part where the animal looks away from the crocodile that's approaching because they're scared. Like, you can talk to her more after the show if you want, okay?
No, it's okay.
The reflection pool is a perfect microcosm of this administration, and we can map from that on to literally, his son getting $700 million no-bid contracts for the DOD, to Witkoff running around with Liberty Financial cutting deals all over the world, to the disaster that is the Iran war. I mean, we can talk about literally any of these topics. All of them are turning out the exact same way. And it's not like a mistake from one to the other, where these things are just randomly happening over and over again.
Were you this upset when Hunter Biden got the Burisma contract? I'm just asking. I'm not debating you on any of that.
Tim Pool made more in 1 year than Hunter Biden made in all of his tenure of Burisma, of which the Republicans had like 7 different committees investigate. The DOJ investigated.
But
Can
were
you
you
remind
upset?
Me? Wait, real quick.
I don't care about all that. I'm asking,
Okay.
about, were you upset about that?
I'm trying to remember. What was he ever charged with?
A gun charge that I disagreed with.
Nothing.
I disagreed with.
He didn't do anything wrong with Burisma.
Well, but didn't you see it as a bad sign of impropriety as the son of the vice president? Well, you're just pointing out Don Jr. and this and that, and I'm like, kind of same concept. No, were you upset? That's what I'm asking.
Just to be clear, You think that Donald Trump's child getting a no-bid record-high contract from Donald Trump's Department of Defense is the same as Hunter Biden, who I think made the majority of his Burisma money when Biden wasn't even the vice president anymore? That's the comparison we're going with?
That's not true. He was a vice president.
For the beginning of it, but he worked up to
He
the...
got it because his dad was a vice president.
What do you mean? He's been on boards. He was part of the... It's like UNICEF or some health board. He had been on boards of major companies before he did the Burisma thing.
Because his father had influence.
Because what?
Because of his father's influence.
As a senator?
Yeah.
If you want to say that because his dad is a senator, fine. But even that statement is different than trading on his father's name.
He was trading on his father's name.
Really? Where's the proof of that? Don't say the big guy. I hope you got something more than that. The Republicans investigated this for
But the
Republicans
Republicans
for
put
years.
The Republicans
first guy
put
that
James
informed-
Comer,
What?
the worst Republican in the House. The guy's actually certifiably deaf with hearing aids. That's who we chose to investigate Biden. That's why it fell apart, because we put an idiot to do it.
Oh my God. It's like the argument from 5 minutes ago just reverberated from the back of the thing. It's
What?
all bad lawyers. It's all bad investigators.
Oh,
it's all
stop
bad.
it.
What does that say about the
Sir,
thing?
I was there when we were investigating it, and I saw how bad they were. They had
Because
a bad
there's a reason
chair.
why. Wait, at some point, certainly you must understand all of this incompetence pursuing these things. Perhaps it's not the incompetence. Perhaps the things that are being pursued lend themselves towards incompetent people. Maybe, possibly. Maybe.
Oh, yeah, because there's no incompetence in the Democrat Party, right?
Show me anything. Do you want to compare the Jack Smith indictments to any of the indictments from Bondi? Are we serious right now?
No, Bond, I'm not going to talk about Bondi. That's low hanging fruit. I don't do that.
Okay, that was
That's
our
just
Attorney
mean.
General of the United States of America.
I'm
who's the
very,
top chief,
I'm very aware.
Attorney. Okay, yeah.
just-
I think it says
I don't
something
do
about our
mean- I don't
DOJ
do
that she
mean
was
girl
headed by a person
comments.
that you think it's like punching down to even speak about them. So, but okay. What?
Really?
Yeah, she's a fucking retard. What? What do you want me to say? She came from Florida, okay? So what do you want me to say? Jeez. They breed them there. Just kidding, sorry. I live in Florida now. I can say that, so.
Oh, is that true? Is that true? No, seriously.
What?
Look,
We could try to move on
I
to your
just
point.
get
It's
so
bad.
exhausted because this is the same talking point I'm sorry to the audience, and I'm sorry to people at home, because I think this conversation's been had with other people, other just plug and play, whoever it is, and we have the same conversations on a circulating.
Because the Republicans keep
firing
lying about
squad.
it, yes.
But you guys only complain.
Because you guys won't acknowledge what's happening, and now we're here.
You guys wouldn't acknowledge weekends at Bernie's for 4 years.
Acknowledge what?
Literally, the White House was weekend at Bernie's for 4 years.
What is that? Was that
Like,
a
Biden was
drug-
checked out and AutoPen was running the country. There's a whole portrait on the White House. It must be true. It's hanging in the White House.
Didn't they drop that AutoPen investigation?
Oh,
they
no.
did, didn't they?
No, they
because
did not.
they did.
It's
Because you
still
know why?
ongoing.
It's not. Because they made it up. You know there's no evidence for the AutoPen thing, right? Hold on. Are you even willing to admit that? There's zero evidence that Biden AutoPenned a single thing?
Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh, no, you're serious now. I'm actually shocked. You're saying that with a straight face. Come on, Stephen. You're better than this. You're going to say that
Not
Biden
only
never
was
used
there
the
no
AutoPen?
evidence for it, do you think right now that we are getting the full truth about Trump's health?
I have no reason not to believe so.
Why would Trump brag about getting 3 good MRIs, like, in a row?
Oh, girl,
Do you think he visits the hospital
MRI
for
to
fun?
make sure everything's in check?
Why is it that his doctor? Why is it his
What's wrong with an MRI now? Are we anti-MRIs too?
Why? Well, half the Republicans seem
Jesus
to be these
Christ.
days. They don't believe in
I thought
vaccines
you were
anymore.
the party
so who
of
knows?
healthcare. Like, oh my God, let the guy have MRIs. You people
So they're
are
lying about
awful.
Trump's health.
Jesus.
You know they're lying about Trump's
So,
health.
oh my God, we're
You know they're lying
universal
about
health
Trump's
care.
health.
The president gets 3 MRIs. Why did he get 3 MRIs? Like, are you serious now? Is that your big issue?
They're lying about his health.
He's fine. He's alive. Unlike, look,
Is he? Do you-
questionable about McConnell. If we're going to talk about McConnell, we don't even know if he's alive.
Donald Trump, so what, Nicki Minaj is part of the government now? What do they
No.
say? The Islamic Republic
Shut up.
The Islamic
No.
Republic of
No.
Japan.
Keep Nikki's name out your mouth.
We had Putin instead of Zelensky. Donald Trump is making gaffes every single day,
You're
and nobody has
attacking
anything to
Why
say
are
about
you
any
going
of this.
after Nikki randomly?
Because Donald Trump
That's
brought up her
hateful.
name on accident. He misspoke. That's
No,
what I'm bringing.
She's
yeah.
amazing. That's why.
You're
You
not even
meet
aware.
her, she
Oh, this
graces
is the
your life.
this is the Republican tactic.
Stop.
I didn't
no,
hear about that. I didn't
just
hear about
fuck-
this thing. I
fuck
didn't hear about that.
I have been a barb
I didn't
much
hear
longer
about
than
that.
she became a.
I didn't
whatever
hear
she
about
is
that.
now.
I'm just saying there's more
no.
evidence for Trump being senile than there ever was for
That
Biden.
is so not true.
Really?
True to the dementary. What the hell does that mean?
True to the what?
Well, but I don't know. That's literally what
Sure,
Joe Biden
you brought
said.
up. So you brought up the
Define that word.
that he misspoke.
He misspoke a lot.
Donald Trump misword us. I mean, who do you want? What do you want the
Shut up,
comparison
Biden.
to be between? If Biden was
This
senile,
queen is
if
just so
Biden
exhausting, I
was
swear to God.
senile, I will take Biden senile to whatever Trump is right now because whatever you call this is not working. I have never seen. Here's the thing.
If
I've never seen
Russia
in my life.
incurs 1 inch to Ukraine, they'll be held to pay. It's been 4 years, almost 5.
Oh, yeah? And what was the day zero? I'm going to have a peace deal with Russia. I'm going to have a peace deal with Hamas. I'm going to have no new wars. I'm going to... we want to compare foreign policy records between Biden and Trump? We could do that if you want. It's not on the list, but...
You're talking about cognitive decline. I'm talking about... I'm talking about cognitive decline. You want to pivot. We can pivot.
I'm talking
We can
about
talk
cognitive
foreign
decline. You're
policy.
talking about an
You
old
were-
guy who's
we
getting
were,
slow.
No, we were literally just talking about cognitive decline, and then you pivoted to foreign policy. We can pivot, but let's finish cognitive decline first, and then we can pivot to foreign
Sure.
policy.
Donald
Okay.
Trump had executive orders explained to him when they were handed to him for him to sign. He didn't seem
Every
to have any
every
idea.
single president has that.
Oh,
If
that's
it-
crazy, because
no,
when
no,
I
no.
Googled that, because I was curious if that was true, and Biden seemed to explain his before he went and signed
That
them,
is
which
not
crazy.
true.
It
If
is.
you see the first 21 executive orders that Joe Biden signed the day he was sworn in, every single one of them, it's on video, was
Okay.
handed to him. Mr. President, this one is now the executive order on, and then blah, 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 blah. Okay. And signs.
Every single executive
every
order that Trump was
single
given,
one.
somebody he
Same
looks.
thing with Biden,
and,
and same
it's
thing
not
with
true.
Obama.
The people at home can go and look it up. I've looked it up before. Stream, we watched them where Biden will explain an executive order because I had the same question. Is it normal that some fucking weirdo is explaining to you your own executive order while you're sitting there looking like a lizard with a fucking throat vagina, like trying to figure out what you're
Oh
even
my
supposed to
God.
sign? Like it's not normal. I'm sorry. Nothing about the Trump admin is normal
You
with
can
this
say
with regards to this.
You can say all those mean things. He's still your president.
I will for now.
He's still
for
your-
now.
he's still your
Yeah,
president.
Vance has got his
And he
eyes
was
on
twice.
that. Vance has got his eyes on
And
that.
he was your president twice, baby.
Well, maybe, but a lot of Republicans believe 3
Girl,
times. So
stop.
you
Oh,
know,
nah.
you know, who knows?
We saw that. We saw with Democrats with, and we don't want to do that again.
With
right?
what?
There's a reason we have term limits is thanks to
Oh,
Democrats overstay.
Sure. Or, well, winning elections, right?
Oh, winning elections.
Well,
yeah.
winning elections, right?
Sure, 3 terms.
Wait, can I get you on the record right now? It won't happen because I don't know if he's going to survive the whole term. If Trump were to run again, you would like completely disavow that, right? You'd say this is absolutely not okay.
I've already did that.
Oh, what did what?
I said I don't think there should be more than 2 terms. He's already served his 2
I
terms,
didn't hear
and
that.
I love the
that's
guy.
not what I said you would disavow it. You would say Trump should
I already
not.
said
if
he
he
should
runs a
not
third
run.
term, I
said
don't
he should
support
not.
him.
I said he should not.
If they run a disabled, trans, black, non-binary woman as the Democrat and Trump runs again, I would vote for the disabled, trans, non-binary Democrat in the wheelchair.
I would not vote. I mean, why is the option so?
Oh
I just
my
wouldn't
goodness.
vote.
Okay, close enough, I guess. Have you ever seen anything, if you had to choose an action comparable to a president going on social media and announcing who he wants indicted and announcing the attorney that he wants to indict them, what is the comparable behavior here on the Democrat side?
Joe Biden weaponized his entire Justice Department to go after Trump for 4 years.
Okay, so
I mean,
didn't hear anything specific.
Melania Trump's panty drawer was tossed at Mar-a-Lago. It's a fact. It's in the
Well, what was
search
she hiding
affidavit.
there?
Panties.
Okay, so...
Thongs.
So,
I mean, I
okay,
get
so
it.
just to be clear-
I get it. I get it. It's hard to
No.
comprehend, but that
as someone-
happened.
I read all those indictments, so I'm glad to go through all of them.
No,
if
no,
you want.
not the indictment.
No.
The affidavit of the search warrant.
I'm
It's
glad to
very
go through.
specific.
That's fine. Trump hides shit fucking everywhere, so they should toss whatever the
Oh,
fuck. He had
come
over a
on.
year to turn those documents back. Maybe the president of the United States shouldn't be hoarding top secret.
Joe Biden hoarded secrets in his garage.
What
in
happened when
Rehoboth
Biden?
Beach.
What happened when Biden found them?
He gave them in.
What happened when Trump found his? He's
said-
ordered his employees to hide them from his own attorneys. It's in the indictment. I know. It sucks because like you have to actually read through those indictments. They're not like 2 pages like the stupid SPLC bullshit indictments that the barely literate people in the DOJ right now like to put out. But like, yeah, he was hiding documents all over Mar-a-Lago. We have pictures of them. We have pictures of the documents scattered all over the floor.
There is a highly, and I think it's very messed up to say that there are highly competent individuals in the DOJ. Jay Clayton is a very respected attorney. Todd Blanche is a very respected attorney. So much so they
Todd Blanche.
both of them were confirmed with Democrat votes. So then
Blanche.
I think Blanche is a very competent attorney. Yes.
Whatever he's been reduced to work under Trump is not.
Oh, come on. Just because he works for Trump, now he's bad.
Well, I mean,
If RBG were alive and worked for Trump, you'd say she's bad.
That's the Supreme Court
But
justice.
that's the standard. That's
Hold on.
your standard.
Just to be clear, do you think a Supreme Court justice serves at the pleasure of a? Do you think we?
No.
cycle all
I
night
gave
out?
an example. If she
You
were
gave
alive,
a bad example.
Okay.
The Supreme Court doesn't work for the president of the United States like an officer of the. right?
I didn't use her in her capacity as Supreme Court justice.
Oh, so
I'm
if
just
she
saying
was like
as
the
a
attorney-
person. Yeah, if she was the attorney general.
Then
for
I would
Trump,
also say she's being bad. If she was working for Trump in the second term, yes. God bless her.
That's your standard. It's just work for Trump.
That if
bad.
you work for somebody who's asking you to do basically authoritarian things and you're carrying out that mission,
So Biden. So real quick, you do not think Biden weaponized the Justice
not
Department
even close.
at all?
You're absolutely dead in
Zero.
the water on that. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Here's a simple question.
I know.
Sure.
I know.
This
Gavin
is the
Newsom right
easiest-
now feels different.
Easiest
but
question.
That's fine.
Easiest question in the world. What is one piece of evidence of coordination between Biden and Garland?
Gavin Newsom.
So nothing.
Gavin Newsom. Get him out of the way because he's a threat, and I want to run a second term. Wiretap his staff. Go investigate him. This all started under Biden's administration. Right.
I
the year
said,
before
what
the
is
election.
evidence of?
That's the evidence.
between Biden and Garland,
Biden asking Garland to take out his biggest
as
political
reported by
threat.
whom? This
Come
never
on,
happened.
Steven.
Come on.
Come on.
No, this didn't happen.
Come
we live in an
on.
alternate reality.
I don't live in an
Okay, what
alternate
do we-
reality. I'm actually one of
we
the more
can't deal with the
pragmatic
facts.
people you can talk to.
Ju-
And you
so-
know that for a fact.
Just to be clear, you're delusional, okay?
I'm not.
Biden had multiple, his own son was investigated under his administration. He had a special counsel appointed
Then he
to
said he
investigate
wouldn't pardon
his
him and
own,
pardon him.
Which, after the Republicans basically fabricated two charges that nobody has ever really been charged with before.
Oh, I
One was-
agree. I agree. The gun charges were bullshit. I
Sure.
still
and
agree
the,
to
and
this
the,
day.
And the IRS charge for taxes he'd already
no,
paid
no,
off.
tax-
He'd already paid off.
but
He'd-
tax
after
evasion is
Biden,
tax evasion.
after Hunter had already agreed to an immunity thing that they ended up tossing because they did a huge runaround. By the way, these were indictments that we were supposed to have that were relating to his Burisma affair, which, by the way, that whole thing started because the initial confidential informant lied, and he was arrested and put in prison because he lied to the FBI about it. That's why nothing ever came from Burisma, because all of it was bullshit, literally from the very beginning. From the very beginning of the weirdo that dropped the laptop off at the blind crazy dude's fucking store, to all of the investigations into Hunter Biden
So
that
wait,
continued under Biden's own presidency, that continued under Biden's
well,
own
he had
presidency.
no option.
What do you mean he had no option? I'm sorry, what did Donald
Well, was
Trump...
he going to tell? Was he
He
going
could
to
do what Donald Trump does
Well,
and fire
was-
everybody
was
that
he
doesn't
gonna
agree
tell-
with him, right?
was he gonna
wait,
tell-
couldn't he do what Donald Trump does and fire every single person that doesn't do exactly what he wants, like he did with Comey, right?
Just like he did with the prosecutor in Ukraine. That's right. He fires prosecutors. I
With
forgot
the
about that.
what?
He holds foreign aid hostage.
What do we talk? Yeah, he did do that.
Biden
Donald Trump
did
did
that.
that.
No, Biden did that.
as part of the agreement that Europe and the United
Fire
States
the
had for loan
prosecutor that
guarantees
is
to
investigating
Ukraine.
your son.
The loan guarantees to Ukraine were contingent upon them cleaning up parts of their system, because all of Europe. Why do you think Biden could say that so openly on stage and nobody questioned it at the time? This is Republicans desperately trying to salvage some amount of moral high ground out of fictitious events that never happened the way that you guys think they did. You guys will look at look, Biden is admitting all of it right here.
Oh my God, you're spicy today.
Well, because you're
Holy
lying about
crap.
everything.
No,
you're lying
I'm
about everything.
not.
You are. All of these things are lies.
You just have TDS so bad. You can't.
You
even,
can call it
can't
whatever
find
you
one
want.
Good thing. You can't find one good thing. Okay, bite me. I don't care. You can't find one good thing that this president does.
I
Everything's
do.
bad,
I think-
bad.
I'm
bad.
actually
It's
quite
oh my
happy that
God,
he
you're
lied
like a
so much
broken
about his health.
record.
What?
You're like a broken record. Calm down.
He's a horrible president.
Calm down. Shh. Breathe. Okay, good. He's trying to laugh. He can't do it.
I'm not, because it's not
Yes, you
funny.
are.
It's
You're
fucked up. It's crazy.
It's not fucked
It
up.
is.
You're
It's
just
super
so
fucked
mad.
up.
Oh my
I am mad
God.
because it's
You can't live like this. It's gonna give you wrinkles.
Like, I agree. We can't live like this. It's
Oh my
not
God,
good. It's
not enough
good for
Botox
us.
in the world to fix it. Stop.
We're probably mass producing it now, because every single person that passes by the Trump administration has to fill their fucking face with enough to float into the clouds.
Thank God. Thank God for that. I mean, that is the one positive. Looks maxing.
Is that looks? I thought it was Jigsaw maxing.
Okay,
I feel like I'm in a
that's
fucking
fucked
horror
up.
movie every time I turn the TV on.
That was a very low energy clap. Nobody followed you. Try again. There you go. Come on, guys. Help him out. There you go. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Do you think that Donald
low
Trump...
energy claps don't get the crowd going?
Do you think Donald Trump would allow a special prosecutor to investigate him in his own term?
I'm sorry.
Do you think
I
Donald
was
Trump would allow?
laughing
Do you
at
think
him
right
and then
now?
I'm
do
sorry.
you
I was
think-
laughing
I
at the
know,
low
I
energy
understand.
clap.
I
Look
know.
at her hair. It is. It's amazing.
It is. Do you
Pink,
think that
beautiful.
Do you think
I
that
love
Donald
it.
Trump would allow a special prosecutor under his own term right now
For what?
to investigate him?
Sure, didn't we do this before with Mueller?
What happened with Mueller?
It was a nothing book.
Mueller was only appointed because he fired Comey because he was trying to obstruct his investigation, and he begged Sessions, please, not a special prosecutor. And then Mueller came about because he didn't know at that point that he had to have iron control over every single person that he appointed. That's why Barr even ended up ditching him because of how crazy Trump was. That's why I said this term, because this term he realizes that he needs more jigsaws like Bondi or Blanche and not actual conservatives like Barr. For as much as you might hate him, at least he's
You're gonna lose a lot of support in the liberal housewives market. I'm just saying. Do not do that. That's not going to work. There's a lot of liberals who love the Real Housewives, and you're like making
What is the
attacks like
liberal
that.
house-
I'm just letting you know. Just take it easy. Stop calling everybody jigsaw. That's not nice. Lisa Reed is
They're
gonna fucking
weird.
fight you.
The look is inappropriate.
Just be
It's unbecoming
careful.
of the positions they hold. There are
Okay, I'm
times
just
and
saying.
places and
I
ways
warned
you can
you,
present
and if
yourself.
I see a news article of Lisa Rena coming after you, I will pray for you. I promise.
Okay.
I will. I'll pray for you.
Okay. I'm
Oh,
more
you're
concerned
so
with like
adorable.
Kristi Noem like lying about U.S. citizens being murdered by feds, and
come
then
on. Okay.
I feel like that's kind of more of an issue, but
Yeah, sure.
yeah, it is.
No, I mean,
So
you're okay with Alejandro Mayorkas letting 30 million people or whatever the number is in the country, right?
we don't even know because you know what?
Yeah.
Because that's a fucking lie.
I mean,
right?
no.
You don't know because it's a lie. You have no idea, right?
I was in the house, toured facilities, literally CBP leadership were like, sir, they say it was 5,000, but we processed 15, but we say that the number's 5,000, literally coming from CBP officers.
The Cato Institute of people who study this. I think it's like 4 million or something.
4 million. You think that's not a lot of people that shouldn't be here?
I think it's not 30 million, and if you have to lie that much about it, it makes me wonder if the 4 million matter.
I'm going to make it very clear. 4, 30, 10, 100,000. These are people who literally came in here, and the majority, I'm not saying all of them, but the majority of them, we don't even know who they are. We didn't vet them. We didn't process them accordingly.
Really?
The majority, no.
That's crazy. Millions came in, and the only fucking name I hear is Lincoln Riley over and over and over again. Where are all of the murders and all of the arsons and all of the actual dog eatings? and all-
Jocelyn Nungaray.
You got me. There were 2 names. You remember the second one. Good job. Your claim is bullshit, and you know that. That millions of people all came in here. They're all criminals.
I'm not saying they're all
thieves.
criminals. I didn't say that.
Sure. What
I'm just saying we don't know who they are.
Sure. And you
And
know
that
what?
should be concerning.
Oh, should it be? Then maybe the Republicans should do something about immigration, about border legislation, about anything. Instead, what do we
There's
do?
a great
90
legislation right now being championed in Congress. It's bipartisan, the Dignity Act by Salazar and whatever the
Oh,
Democrat.
that's crazy. The only thing I ever hear Trump talk about is how to rig the next election and get the USPS to try to do whatever.
It's not true.
Really?
You do have
And the SAVE
CBS.
Act and okay.
Oh my God.
I feel like that's what I hear more.
You need to
of.
come hang out. Oh, you know what? You need to touch grass. Come to the Poconos. I promise you.
Yeah?
You will. We will
I'd
disconnect
rather
you.
camp outside Walter Reed and look for a McConnell-sized body bag being shipped out the back right now. Is what I would rather look. I'd be more interested in. I want to be the first one reporting
Can
on
I
it.
come
so
with you? Can I come with you for that one? That might be an interesting excursion.
Find whatever room they hit him and Jordan Peterson in and see what's going on with that. But there has been nothing on the Democrat side. You said all of the Merrick Garland stuff comparable to Donald Trump tweeting out, Lindsey Halligan needs to go after these 3 people. Do you think the Comey indictment is fair? The 86-47 thing? That's indictable behavior.
Yes.
So was it Matt Gaetz and Jack Posobiec who sold the 86-47? I'm right here.
No.
I'm right here.
Oh, okay.
The
I know.
for the
apparently
Republicans
he
that
wants
sold,
to debate me.
For the Republicans that sold the 86-46 shirts or whatever, do you think they should all be indicted too?
No.
I don't even know why I'm asking this. What's the difference in your mind?
James Comey was the former director of the FBI. That's the big difference.
So he has less freedom of speech rights?
No, his words matter more than others. Stop.
His words matter more than other. But Donald Trump, when he tweets things like, I'm going to end a civilization tonight or any of that, those words don't matter. That's all just a meme.
Are we talking about the Iran war now?
Well,
I mean, because you change subjects, you pivot so much. I feel like, are you running for office?
Sorry, let's keep
Oh my God.
well, let's keep in the same topic. So words matter, talking about killing
Can
people and
you?
everything else. For Donald Trump, when he says that 6 members of Congress should be executed for treason, is that responsible speech?
Did he say that they should be executed, or was... Who said that? Who said that? Oh.
All right. I appreciate it. We got to
Okay.
focus here, though. Okay. The audience is going to talk to you soon.
That's
I
fine.
promise.
Yeah,
Okay.
I love this. I love this. They're great. He hates me.
A picture
Ask
of
your question again.
8647, first of all, on its own, doesn't rise to any level of incite to violence or threatening behavior or anything. That's absurd. You should know this, number one. And number two, if any world where we're going to interpret tweets as being threatening or whatever else, the President of the United States saying that we should execute members of Congress for treason has got to be up there. It's hard.
I'm not going silent. I never shut up. It's just like
difficult.
I
understand
have
it's
to
difficult.
comprehend because you will twist everything on its head. It's like so fucking hard with you.
Okay, okay, a picture, seashells, 8647
Bad.
is
Former-
criminal
no,
conduct,
put it in
incitement
con-
to violence? That's what you would charge it for?
Put it in context. A former director of the FBI who served, 8 years, if I'm not mistaken?
Sure,
Coleman?
yeah. Before he was fired by Trump because he was trying to obstruct an investigation into his own, campaign and everything for colluding with Russia, which they did, yeah.
Director
But go
of
ahead.
the FBI serves
Yep.
at the pleasure of the president.
Sure.
They can appoint and fire them. So is
According to the Supreme Court now, for any reason, yeah, correct, yeah.
is there anything wrong with that termination?
Well, if it
He's
was
an
done,
at-will employee of the United States government. The president chose to fire him. Everybody creates innuendos as to it was because of this. He fired him. Do you have proof?
that
Can you materialize proof? Why wasn't he prosecuted for it then?
well, Mueller said why he wasn't. It was
What
because
happened
of
to the Mueller
It
report?
was because,
Why was it a nothing burger?
Because
Why
Mueller
didn't
said,
it go anywhere?
Do you know
Why
that I know
did
the
it go
answer and that's why you don't
nowhere?
want me to
Please
talk?
tell me.
Do you want me to? 'Cause
Oh,
you
yeah,
seem
I'm
to be
sorry.
cutting me
Oh,
off.
I'm sorry. Forgive me.
Mueller didn't
I'm
believe
sorry.
that a sitting president could be indicted and prosecuted by his own Department of Justice. Mueller said repeatedly through his report, if you read it, all 320 whatever pages of it, that there was obstruction, that Donald Trump was firing Comey because he was trying to obstruct his own investigation. Even you know that, because Trump's stated reason for firing Comey was because he felt like he shouldn't have made a public announcement about Hillary's emails, which makes no sense, because why wouldn't he just fire him the day that he came in? So we know that Trump fired Comey because of the investigation. Then Comey's contemporaneous notes say that. It's obvious that that's what happened, and that's what Mueller agreed with his conclusion. And Mueller couldn't recommend charges because every part of it was obstructed. And you can't recommend obstruction to the DOJ when the DOJ is not going to investigate a sitting president because the sitting president's DOJ.
Okay.
What's your next question?
No. After the fact, then.
Do you disagree with anything I
After
just
the
said?
fact, no, I don't disagree.
Okay, thank
I
you.
saw the report.
Okay. Do you
but
agree that he fired Comey to obstruct the investigation?
I don't believe that that's the reason.
Why do you think he fired Comey?
Because he serves at the pleasure of the president. and
Why
he-
do you fire Comey?
Whatever reason Trump put out there, I have no reason to believe otherwise.
You have no theory of mind. You
Because I
can't
have no
begin-
reason to go turn everything
You have
into
no
something.
idea, no concept of why Trump might have done a thing.
Sorry.
You understand that that's ridiculous.
Stop talking to her. Talk to me. Why are you
Because you're
bringing her
appealing
into
to her.
this?
I'm just saying, it's like
I'm gonna
you
leave.
can't even get. I don't know why. I know that Biden was 100%, and the auto pen for sure definitely was a thing, even though there's no proof of it whatsoever. And the Trump White House, who took all their time to hang up these stupid fucking pictures of it, dropped their own investigation into it, just like they dropped their investigation into voter fraud every time they come into office and they found nothing, right? But there's a pattern there. Crazy, huh? I'm just saying that you can't even guess why you think Comey was fired by Trump.
I'm not saying-
but
it's
you
not
seem
about
to
guessing.
know that
I don't
Biden, with no
have-
evidence, was
I
colluding
have
with Garland to stop Newsom from running.
I
it
don't
with-
have to guess. I'm just, honestly speaking, for me, I think you dip way deeper into politics than I do, and that's
Do wh-
surprising.
different like factual politics? Like fact-based?
You dip way deeper because I look at whatever people put out there, and I'm like, whatever. I'll take it at face value. I don't go investigate and turn anything into like
I'm just taking the Mueller report at face value.
Huh?
I'm just taking the Mueller report at face value. You're taking what they say on Fox News
And
at
I
face
just
value. That's the
said,
difference.
okay, hold on.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Mueller report at face value. Why did Biden, when he came in, not do good on the Mueller report? It was still within statute.
What do you mean not do good on the Mueller report?
Why didn't Garland go and say, all right, he's no longer a former president? Why didn't they prosecute him on that? Because it was a nothing burger. Because it was a nothing burger.
Because Democrats, every single time Republicans push us to the brink of oblivion, Democrats decide, well, we need to bring it back to a more reasonable place.
You were once a
that's
Republican.
why.
Stop.
That's why when you say, oh, you know that Biden was controlling the DOJ, you say that, and every liberal shrieks inside because we did want to see an aggressive DOJ, and we didn't. We got
More?
Garland, who slow-walked those indictments, who slow-walked everything for the J6 for like 2 years before we got. Trump had like 9 months with the Department with records, with NARA or whatever, before they finally recommended to the FBI that they should investigate, because Trump was dicking around all day with the classified documents and everything. It took so long for anything to come out that by the time we finally kind of got the ball rolling on things, well, looks like Trump won the next election, and now all of it's gone and dismissed. To say that that was an aggressive DOJ.
You don't think that was an aggressive DOJ?
Absolutely not.
In so many ways, it did unprecedented things.
Because we had an
It was the-
unprecedented monster in the White House. What do you mean? What a
Oh,
stupid
right,
statement.
Biden, yes, he was an unprecedented monster in the White House.
Biden
That's
compared
right.
to Trump?
I mean, you just said it. I didn't say it. You literally just said it. I said it was an aggressive DOJ.
Trump
it did
was in the
unprecedented
White
things,
House.
but then
That
you just
DOJ
said-
was responding to Trump's crimes, correct. And it was unprecedented, that's right. Past presidents had the humility to assume that they couldn't openly commit crimes. That's why Nixon accepted the pardon from Ford. And it's why Ford felt like he had to pardon Nixon. It's because Nixon thought he was going to be convicted of a crime. Because that's usually how people operate. Trump thinks he's above the law, and now the Supreme Court has basically said as much. You could at least acknowledge it.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Really?
I'm sorry. Oh my
Okay.
God, Jesus. Look.
He took the documents at Mar-a-Lago, right? He had those, right? He was showing them to people saying, I could have declassified these, but I didn't. Ha ha ha. Right?
He declassified some of them.
He didn't.
Yes, he did.
Then why did he say, I could have, but I didn't? Let's
Look,
be honest, too.
at
He's
the-
probably too fucking retarded to even know how to declassify anything. So it's not even... And also, some of it, he didn't have the power to
Fair.
declassify.
You don't mean that, right?
I do mean that.
No, you don't.
Of course I do. What do you
No,
mean?
you don't.
He's a fucking idiot.
No, he's not.
Okay.
He's your president still.
That's fine. I can have an idiot president. You think you had a senile one? I can think I have an idiot one.
But I respected the senile one. You
I don't respect the
this
idiot
one.
evil one. I don't have to respect him. What do you mean?
You don't respect the office?
I do. Trump doesn't.
Of course he does.
No,
made
he
it
doesn't.
prettier.
How does Trump respect the office of the presidency? Then why does he have his personal lawyer running around and doing all of his lawsuits and work for it? What do you mean? Look to the audience again. Debate him. You got him.
I'm going to poison you at dinner. I'm going to poison you at dinner, Brian. Look. Well, no, that's a warning. Don't eat. Anyway, so...
What do you think is the most corrupt thing that Trump has done in office with the DOJ?
I've seen nothing that I can turn around and say was corrupt. I can say what I don't like that's happening in the administration. The Epstein case, I don't like it. I don't like how it's being handled. I really don't.
Whose fault is that?
You can blame it on the entire administration. I don't care.
Why not Donald
You
Trump?
can blame it on
Donald Trump?
Bondi,
Okay, cool.
whoever.
Okay, cool.
My point
Trump
is...
was telling people
my-
the FBI needs to censor his name
Listen
out of the
to
Epstein
it.
files,
That is
right?
not true.
Really?
That is
So
not
who,
true.
everybody lied about that?
That's not true.
Why is that not true?
Who said that
you
on the
don't like
record?
it?
Who said that on the record? Was it an anonymous source?
It was reported on by every single major-
Who said it on the record?
I don't remember.
Nobody.
On the
It
record
was an
reported.
anonymous source, as usual.
Oh, okay.
Am I boring you? Is that why you're yawning? She's so bored. I mean, so I'm kind of like, you know, let's move on. Can we talk about
So when those
Democrats
Epstein
now?
files were released,
All right, you know what?
and Trump's name was censored and protected, all of them, was that just on accident, or was it lucky, or? Okay. What does this guy always say? He's in the Epstein files like 20 times more than Jesus' name is in the gospel or whatever. Not that Trump's read that either, but I mean.
All right, can we talk about Democrats a little bit? Because it's like, no, I mean, we're
agree.
going to start. We're
Let's
going to
talk
talk.
about. Let's talk about Democrats.
No.
Let's talk about
Hold on,
Democrats.
time out. I can continue talking about Republicans, but are we going to address?
I want to talk about Democrats.
Okay, cool. Go ahead.
Tulsi Gabbard said that Donald Trump went to war with Iran without consulting the intelligence community. Why? How is it even possible? You guys, because you
Weren't
say
we gonna
Gabbard
talk
was a
about
Democrat all the
Democrats?
time, right? You said Tulsi Gabbard's a Democrat all the time. Don't you guys say that? We can talk
I've
about
never-
RFK Jr. Wait. I'm just curious on this, and then we can talk about the rest of the Democrats.
No,
Do you
they
think-
are not Democrats.
Do you think that
They are
I'm
not
glad somebody
Democrats.
admits that? Thank you.
They are not
Do you
Democrats.
think that we solved?
They were Democrats.
Did
Like
we
you
solve,
were a Republican.
Did we solve? I was a Republican when I was a teenager.
But you
I had
were
an
a
excuse to be an
Republican.
idiot. Okay, that was all right. Did we solve
You're
autism?
spicy today.
Did we solve?
I said that it was going to be a
autism?
spicy,
Did we
sassy
solve-
queen debate, and you
Did we solve-
You actually understood the assignment.
I did.
Okay.
Did
Now.
we solve autism with RFK and Does that happen? Is autism
Oh,
solved? Is
come
that
on. First of all, that's a low ball. Stop.
I'm just saying, you guys make a joke at everything he says. Meanwhile,
Stop.
Fauci gets one statement half wrong about something, and now you guys are watching your kids die of measles, and you're like, I told him so. Like, it's not, how is it even remotely a tenable position to not care about anything
I
anybody in
think-
office does on your side, but on our side, you're critical of every
You're talking
single person.
about vaccines. I'm not going to get into the debate of vaccines.
You're talking about Hunter
I'm-
Biden Burisma, whose entire income at Burisma is a rounding error to any number of Trump's crazy fucking money-making schemes. It's not even close.
Low energy. Oh, no. Oh, it's picking up. Yes! He understood the assignment, Brian. Buy him dinner.
Sorry, we're going to talk about Democrats now.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Fuck you, Destiny.
It's an impossible. Do you acknowledge that this is a hard debate for you? It is harder
It's
for you than
not-
me.
no, it's-
It is because
it's
Trump
not
is
hard.
fucking
Look,
insane,
I can
and it is
sit
the
here-
most corrupt
Dude,
administration
I can
ever.
sit here and tell you with a straight face that
Yeah.
I think he's a great president, and I mean it.
What does that mean to
I
you?
mean it.
What does it
I
mean to be a
think-
great
I
president?
think he's a great president.
Great
Is he
how?
perfect? Is he perfect?
Great
He's
how?
Not perfect.
Great how?
He's not perfect. Nobody's
how?
freaking perfect. I like his policies. I like his foreign. I like his I like his border policy. Do you not like his border policy?
No, I don't.
Oh, so you rather more people coming in?
That's the option. Either an executive order at the border pretending everything is fixed, or unlimited immigration into the country. Those are the two things.
Do you prefer 4 million people coming in unvetted, or do you prefer no people coming in unvetted?
I would probably
That is a
prefer
question.
no people, but you know what I would
Oh,
actually
okay. So
prefer?
you prefer no
You
people?
know what I would
like
actually
that.
like?
Actually, we found common ground.
What if we have a actual immigration bill to deal with some of the people
There
that are here?
is one working its way through Congress.
We had one at the end of Biden's term, and Trump shot it down because he didn't like the fact that Democrats were going to do something about the border. And Ted Cruz and everybody else on the record.
And you
talking about
believe
it.
that?
That's what everybody said. Trump said it publicly. The nice thing is I don't have to guess at your guys' conspiracies because you guys are open about
Trump
them.
said he didn't like it, but that's not the reason it didn't pass. They didn't have the votes to begin with.
They had the votes
They
for
did
it.
not.
They absolutely
They
did.
did not.
They did because Ted Cruz and
It
everybody else had to
passed
come out and
through the
talk
House.
about.
I was there and I
Oh
voted
my
against the
God.
bill myself.
After
it was a
Trump,
bad bill.
it wasn't a bad bill.
It was a bad bill. It gave broad amnesty to almost 10 million people. It was a
It
bad bill.
absolutely did not
Yes,
give
it did.
amnesty. This
Yeah.
was a Republican bill.
No, it was not.
It was. It came
was-
from Lankford in the Senate. I know that's a different place than where you were at, but there are Republicans in the other place too in the Senate. What do you mean?
I forgot about the nursing home. I know it's Senator Langford's bill. I understand that it's easy to
the nursing home.
the Senate.
Oh, I'm thinking of the White House. My bad. Keep going.
Right. Sure.
How old is Trump again?
Sure.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Isn't it crazy
Yeah,
that
because
like
Biden wasn't a fucking nursing home patient.
at least Biden's not a fucking retard?
He is a retard. Biden is a demented retard.
You're
I
making
think
fun
it
of a
makes-
car firing on half the cylinders while your car doesn't have any tires. It can't get off the finish line.
Stop! You're gonna give me wrinkles. They're gonna come through the Botox, you crazy son of a bitch.
Netanyahu needed 5 minutes of slam poetry with Donald Trump to convince him to nuke Iran, okay? And Biden, for all his senility, realized that Netanyahu is full of shit. Who's the retard? What's going on here?
I don't like Netanyahu either, so it's tough.
Well, it must be hard because Trump was his biggest fan. Wait, actually, or he might hate him right now. Or he might be his biggest fan right now. I'm not sure because it changes every 2 fucking minutes, which is a big symptom of senility, by the way. Frequently changing your mind and having no idea what's going on around you.
All right, are we gonna talk about Israel now? Is that it?
We can talk about whatever you want.
I don't know. Like you,
The Democrats.
Are you
the
running
Democrats?
for
We're doing
a-
the Democrats.
You all right?
Democrats.
All right. So let's go back. Can we go back to 2024?
Arguing with a
Can we
Republican
go
about
back to
Trump,
2024
it's like
for a
fighting a
second?
boss battle where every single part is like vulnerable. You can talk about anything. And it's like target here on everything.
Because Joe Biden was so ironclad, his administration was so perfect.
Compared to Donald Trump, he was the fucking Pope.
He was a dumpster
And
fire.
you know what? That maps because you guys even hate the fucking Pope now, so it even works for that analogy. Jesus Christ.
Don't bring Jesus into this.
Okay.
Listen, inflation was a shit show. Immigration was a shit show.
Why was inflation so bad?
Is it Trump's fault too?
No, I'm just curious. Why do you think inflation was bad? Watch this.
COVID.
Was that Biden's fault?
No.
So then why
Was
would
it
you-
Trump's fault?
Not really.
Was it Trump's fault?
No, but I'm not blaming Trump for inflation.
Oh, okay, great. All right, so COVID, nobody could have controlled it, right? But were Biden's policies friendly for reducing inflation?
No, but that wasn't the goal of the policies at the time, right?
It should have been.
When the whole world economy, hold on. Do you ever want to?
It
do you
took-
ever
okay.
want to deficit spend as a government ever?
No. We should not deficit spend.
Ever.
Ever.
Never.
We should balance the budget.
Oh,
at every
like they did in the
opportunity.
Great Depression.
My point is, I mean, the fact, listen to what I'm trying to say, seriously. The fact that we can't get a single administration, and this is my biggest criticism of even President Trump, we cannot get a single administration since Clinton and Newt Gingrich, which is mind-blowing, to balance the budget. It is.
Why is that?
Because everybody likes
Everybody?
Everybody likes porculus spending.
Everybody.
Both sides.
Everybody. Both sides?
Both sides.
What did Obama have to spend through when he came into office?
Iraq,
And
Afghanistan.
the global catastrophic financial market meltdown.
Right.
Okay, that's true. 3 big ones. And then his deficit spending was coming under.
housing
It was
market.
getting better. And then Trump comes in. Why the fuck is he deficit spending before COVID? No fucking reason. And the deficit got worse, worse.
Obama handed Trump
A
trillions.
booming economy. What are you talking about? A
was it
stock market that
booming?
was posting all-time highs, unemployment at record lows, GDP growth that was...
So what Trump inherited was Obama's, all Obama's, and then what Biden inherited was his? Because you guys love parading. Trump could have never saved the country.
Hold on. Wait, you
Biden
just said
is
like, hold on, your dad was your grandfather's son, and I'm supposed to believe that you're
no,
your
no.
dad's son? Yes, what do
No.
you mean? Yes, the president inherits the thing from the president before him. What do you mean?
Great, I agree with that.
Okay.
So can you agree that Biden inherited something on the right tracks from Trump? Operation Warp Speed? I'm just trying to figure out which one is it.
I agree with that, but it's funny that you named the one policy from Trump that every fucking conservative hates. But yeah, Operation Warp Speed was fine. I think that was good.
I
Yeah.
actually love Operation Warp Speed.
Okay, that's
so
fine.
don't put every conservative in the,
Okay.
in the same basket.
So Trump had Operation Warp Speed. Okay, I'll give him that.
So
but that's
the
not what we were
point.
talking about. We were talking about inflation. But I'm saying that Obama comes in and you name 3 fucking once-in-a-lifetime catastrophes that the
And then
Democrat
Trump
has
had
to-
a once-in-a-lifetime catastrophe, and you guys essentially almost blamed him for COVID.
But I'm saying, why was Trump engaged?
Did you blame Trump for COVID?
Why was Trump engaged in so much deficit spending when he came into a booming economy? He passed a huge tax cut. He couldn't do anything about the ACA. They cried about that. He didn't get his infrastructure bill, but he was still spending for no reason. And then his deficit got bigger and bigger until COVID, where
he also capped it. A lot of people like to say he passed a huge tax cut, and it was all about giving tax breaks for the rich. He capped salt taxes.
Oh wow.
It's a
thank
cap.
God.
It's a cap on the rich.
It's more spending.
No, it's not.
It's when you reduce the revenue that you make and you don't adjust your expenses, that
Okay.
means that you're spending more money, right? Yes, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So what did Donald Trump do
Yes.
when he reduced his tax receipts with your state and local tax cap deductions? Okay, right? And then you don't adjust your spending. What happens?
Obviously, inflation.
Okay. Now Biden comes in off of the back of COVID. We get the whole Israel fiasco, and then we get Ukraine, Russia, right? Are any of these Biden's fault?
I'm not saying they're Biden's fault. That's the difference between you and I. I don't blame Ukraine on Biden. I make observations that
Stop.
he said no. Hear
It's
me
like
out.
coming into the
Come
to the
out.
kitchen
Let me
when you've
finish.
ruined everything,
Are
and
you
your
gonna let
brother's
me
there, and he's
talk?
done nothing, and you're like, "Well, I'm not pointing any fingers." No shit, because you fucked it all up. You don't get credit for that. Republicans fuck shit up in
Can I
office.
talk?
So, okay, go ahead.
I'm not in the business of blaming.
I am. That's what I'm here to do tonight. I'm here to blame somebody because the
so
Republicans have fucked
spicy.
shit up over and over again. I know they
you're
don't want to be in
so
the blame
cute.
game because if they were, they would be getting all the blame.
Jesus Christ.
I know he can't help the Republicans now.
You're so bad. No.
Well, maybe you could bring McConnell back. I guess.
I can't even get mad at you for that comment because I kind of agree with you on that one. Huh? Oh no, we have common ground. We have plenty of common
Do
ground.
you remember Doge? How are we going to pretend like Republicans are doing anything for spending? It's not both sides. You said it yourself. The last balanced budget was a Democrat.
With a Republican speaker, it was a bipartisan effort. It was an actually great bipartisan effort. It was Newt Gingrich and Bill Clinton. Are you going to deny that, or is Newt Gingrich not a Republican anymore?
So we give the Speaker of the House credit when it's a good thing.
when
and
he
there's
does
a
his budget, when he
Republican-
does his job. Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
oh,
No.
okay.
I'll give any Speaker of the House when they do their job. Their actual obligation, which is to balance the budget and pass individual spending bills. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I'll give Pelosi that
What was
credit if
Trump
she could do it.
championing? The big, beautiful Botox bill or whatever the fuck it was called? How did that... We solidify... Like, the spending is a fucking disaster, and it's the Republicans that do it. When we have to be honest
it's only
about
the
it.
Republicans.
We have to be honest
It's
about
only
it.
the Republicans.
It's, yes, majority of Republicans right now, yes.
You do understand that we're still spending at Nancy Pelosi levels of spending because we are still reappropriating her CRs, which are inflated by 45% because they were pandemic era spending. We're still spending at the same level of the pandemic era.
Do you know
That's
why-
A fact.
do you
That's
know
That's
why-
not innuendo. I'm just saying. So
Do you think that I
we're
would
still
criticize...
spending at Pelosi spending?
Do you think that I would criticize Bezos for buying a yacht? I wouldn't, because Bezos might have Bezos' level of spending, but he probably also has Bezos' level of income. Pelosi might want to spend at a certain level, but Democrats aren't the ones that are constantly pushing to defund the government. At the very least, Biden tried to pass legislation where the cost of the legislation also was offset by other revenue-raising tools. So like the IRA, the reason why it was called the Inflation Reduction Act, is because it's trying to match spending cuts. Republicans don't
But
even
it failed.
have...
You agree that
What?
it failed.
No, it's...
You don't think the IRA failed at all?
What do you mean failed at all?
It was a bad bill. It didn't do
I
the
don't
job.
think you can call it a bad bill, but what I'm saying is
Oh,
that...
it didn't do its job. That's what I'm saying.
What was the
IRA
job? It was an infrastructure, some in green energy investment or something,
And it was
right?
supposed to invest back in America, buy American, or whatever the name of the slogan was. And,
Okay.
And it was supposed to help with inflation. It didn't help.
No, it doesn't help with inflation.
It was supposed to. It was billed as that. I mean, the way that they sold it to the public.
You were a member of Congress?
I was
Please don't
not at
tell
that
me
time.
that the
At-
limited
at
extent
that
you have
time-
with legislation is the name of the fucking bill.
No.
Was
I
the
think
Patriot Act
you're-
about a fucking
No,
about a
you're
movie
missing-
with a
you're
fucking
You're missing the point. No.
What-
Don't
no,
beat
I'm
that
not
rude.
missing the
No, no,
point.
Don't beat that rude.
sit here and tell me, well, it was called the Inflation Reduction Act, and you know what? Actually, it didn't actually reduce the inflation. Correct, it didn't. It was, the
Okay,
reason why
great.
it was called the Inflation Reduction Act was because they tried to match the spending of the bill
I
and
understand.
offset it.
Oh, I understand
and
that.
yes, it
I
didn't
understand-
reduce inflation,
I
right?
understand the appropriation process
Okay.
that it took. I get all of that.
Sure,
My
okay.
point is, it failed to accomplish most of what it saw out to do.
It was a bill that had spending measures tied to it for investing in...
And it failed.
It failed how?
It failed.
I don't know what that
failed
means. What do you mean
overall.
There was money that was spent for investments into green energy infrastructure in the United States. How is this? What do you mean failed? I know that it worked because Donald Trump has to put his name on all the fucking signs that says paid for with the Biden fucking IRA or the Biden fucking infrastructure bill. So I know it works. Just like I know the ACA works because Donald Trump's up here saying, actually, we kind of like pre-existing conditions and, we just cap Medicaid and blah, blah, blah. And all this other shit that Biden did that Republicans like to pretend is horrible.
Great. I think that's great.
That's fine, but Democrats should probably get some credit for it instead of Trump acting like he's doing novel shit. Well, he is doing novel shit, just not stuff that you want to...
Okay, here's something.
No, wait.
Here's
Where were
something
we?
that nobody likes to acknowledge. Who capped insulin prices?
Biden did
No,
initially.
it wasn't. Trump started it.
In-
It's true.
in
It's
what-
and then Biden finished it, but Trump started it at
And-
the end of his last term. It's true. It's a fact.
Okay.
Is that a good thing?
No, I don't like price controls, actually. I'm more of a libertarian guy when it comes to the capital markets, so...
I fucking hate you. I swear. Why do I do this? Why the fuck did I come? Like, you're awful.
Where were we?
Oh, who said that? Oh, that's actually true, I think.
What? Donald Trump is on track to be responsible for like a third of the debt on his own. That's kind of crazy. At what point do we think maybe Republicans have the spending problem? Maybe?
I think, but dude, you're arguing something with me that I'm out there. Do you even hear what I say? Or I know I don't expect you to. But
I
I'm just
do
saying,
hear what you say. It's infinite excuses. It's infinite
I'm not
pivoting.
excusing.
It's infinite...
I'm literally telling you. I agree. Republicans have a spending issue.
You think it's the same as the Democrats. It's not.
I think they both have awful spending issues.
You just repeated what I said softer. I'm telling you that's not
what
the
I'm
case.
they both have spending issues. If they didn't, but
Would in 2016, would Hillary Clinton have done the Trump tax cuts?
I'm sorry. What?
Would Hillary have done the same tax cuts?
I can't remember Hillary's policies. Or are you saying if she would have? What are you saying?
If Hillary was elected as the
Okay.
president of the United States, would she have been an advocate for the same types of tax cuts that Donald Trump was?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. You're talking about one of the most practical and pragmatic human beings to ever be in politics. She probably would have.
I don't think there's any evidence
But-
for it. I don't think she would have. Do you think that when they solidified the
I
Trump
said
tax
pragmatic.
cuts, do you think when they solidified the Trump tax cuts, do you think that Biden or Harris would have done that in a second term? Would have tried to solidify the Trump tax cuts without matching it with any spending cuts whatsoever?
No.
Okay, so the Republicans spend more. They do, and they don't make any more money. They try to defund our IRS. They're spending crazy money on wars that I don't even know if they know why we're in them. It's
Oh, well, we know why we're in the war with Iran. Is that what you're referencing to? I think.
with Iran. I don't
Do you
know
want
if you
Iran
know.
to have a
I know
nuclear
why
war,
we're
or
there.
why? Please
Because
tell
Trump
me.
is fucking retarded.
Oh my God. Is that really your reason for everything?
When the guy is a retard,
Can you give
kind
can
of,
you
yeah.
give me a substantive answer? Why do you think? Give me something at least a notch more intellectual. Than
A substantive
he's a
answer is
retard.
that Donald Trump doesn't understand the office of the presidency. He doesn't know what it means to govern as a president, and he looks for
he
easy
could win
wins.
it twice, and Biden couldn't.
Winning, well, 3 times according to him, right?
Oh, whatever.
Yeah, well, okay. So he's also been impeached twice too. So just saying, So you have a guy
Sure.
who doesn't understand what he's doing in office. He looks for easy wins when he can find them. He feels like he came high and mighty off the Maduro abduction or whatever, and then he looks to
did a
Iran.
great job with
and
that.
Netanyahu comes by.
Are you mad?
Netanyahu comes
Are
by.
you pro-Maduro?
Netanyahu comes by.
Are you pro-Maduro?
I'm anti-abducting world leaders. I don't
You're
think we should do that.
anti-abducting a war criminal that kills and starves his people.
It's not the job of the United States to be. If he was so fucking bad, why didn't Donald Trump get a UN resolution to do it?
That's funny. The UN has no teeth.
The UN
has
had
no
no
teeth. The UN
problem
is literally a waste
co-signing
of
missions
money.
to Kosovo or letting us bomb the fucking Serbs or letting us go to fucking Libya. What do you mean?
My God, the UN has
We
no
triggered
teeth.
Article 5 for Iraq and Afghanistan, didn't we?
Sure.
Oh, so everybody can get a deal except for Trump. Pretty fucking ironic, huh?
That's not...
The great deal maker, right? Can't get a single fucking friend or ally to help him with anything. The only deal he had, the U.S.-Mexico Canada trade agreement, he's trying to rip up right now, destroy the largest unified market on the planet for, I don't even know why. Why do you think he's trying to rip that deal up? Do you
But the
even know why?
USMCA?
Yeah. Isn't that kind of a big problem? You can't even fucking guess.
I don't
You can't even
know.
guess why he's attacking the largest free market on the planet. You don't even know? Isn't that a problem? No. Ask me a question about Biden and see if I can answer. Ask me a question about something Biden did and see if I can answer a
time
question
out.
about it.
Maybe
Yeah?
because the USMCA
Uh-huh.
actually, he now recognized, I didn't like it. I actually thought it was worse than NAFTA
Oh.
when he put it out. I did. I
So
thought
the
it was
only
worse
big
than
deal
NAFTA.
the deal maker in chief got for us was a bad one?
It's not. Oh, come on.
It's not the only one? Or
Is
what
that-
was
is that
one
really
other
what
deal
you're
that
gonna
he
say?
got?
Are you really going to sit here and say that this president has not accomplished anything positive?
So
With a straight
in
face.
net, no. I'm sure there are some things, maybe. I don't
Can
know.
you point one? Can you give me one comment that's
Hopefully
positive on
he's
Trump?
irredeemably tarnishing the careers of a lot of Republicans right now, I guess.
Oh, okay, no. Now a serious one. Can you give me a policy position that he's had that you actually?
It's not a matter of policy position. It's a matter of the way that he conducts himself as the president.
I don't care about the way he
I
conducts
do.
himself. I want to.
I do. That's
but
the
I'm
problem. It doesn't
asking
matter
you-
if he does one or two good things when it's part of a basket of horrible things.
So he's a horrible human being. But yet, the majority of this country voted for him a second time.
The majority of the country voted for Hillary Clinton over Trump the first time. What do you want me to say?
Oh, what? I'm sorry.
The majority of the country voted for Hillary Clinton. It was 3 million more votes.
Sure, okay, but she didn't win because of the Electoral College. That's not how our elections take place.
Then why are you saying the majority of
Well,
Americans voted for Trump when you're? What does that
What
have
I'm
to do with
saying
anything?
is Trump won the election.
Okay.
A second time.
Okay.
That's because people wanted him back.
Okay. So what? I have to accept?
No,
that he
I'm not
has-
saying-
What is that? I don't understand what the point of that
So
is.
the way that you paint him, it's like he's incompetent and he can't
He
do
is.
anything good.
He
He's
is.
not.
That's true.
He's not.
Then why has he failed to deliver on basically every single thing he came into office talking about?
He has not failed to deliver on every single thing.
We're anything.
I don't know.
What
I'm
happened to
asking too.
Okay, well, we had the president of no new wars, right? President of no new wars.
We're
Seems
in a
like-
war.
Okay,
Yes.
that kind of fucked up, right? We had the
Inflation has not gone down.
100 deals in 100 days. I think so far we have 0. The U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement is on the verge of being torn up. We've made enemies of every prior ally in the world. Five Eyes is in shambles. NATO doesn't know if the United States is even willing to respond anymore. We've got countries in Europe
Well,
that won't even...
well, hold on, but let's put NATO into perspective. Erdogan being, my favorite dictator du jour, are they really an ally?
Turkey?
Yeah. Are they? Do they behave like an ally?
I-
Do they?
what-
Girl, that sounds personal. Do
All right, crowd. This is where the show is, all right? Just chill.
They buy our stuff. We can use bases there.
I just got thrown off. Like somebody said I need plugs. I'm like, what?
Oh.
That's kind of catty. Who said it? Was you in the corner? Oh, you did? Oh, just because you have long hair. Okay, good for you. Boo-hoo. That's fine. I don't care. No, I don't.
Okay, we're not insulting the guest here.
That's
That's
fine.
not what we're
Oh,
doing
no, that's
tonight.
fine.
Nah, no.
I got thick skin. It's okay.
Yeah, it's my show. No.
Ooh, sassy. Anyway, so back to
Trump
what I
has
was
made
saying.
enemies out of all of our allies.
Do you believe Turkey is a good faith?
I think
ally of
Turkey is a
ours.
member of NATO.
They are. That's a fact.
Okay, so
Are they a good ally? Have they done their part as an ally?
have they failed to respond to requests for help when we've requested help from them?
they've blocked us from using bases on their ground to defend our position in the Middle East.
From when?
Recently with Iran, they barred us from using their bases in the Middle East.
After Donald Trump has continuously attacked NATO and undermined
I
it over and over
understand,
and
but
over
they're
again?
still in the membership. The United
I
States
don't
is
even
the
know if the
largest.
United States is in the membership
Of
right
course
now.
it is.
Really? Do you think it's
We
taken
just
for
left the
granted right now
summit.
that if somebody were to attack Poland, that the United States would respond? You know that
I believe
that's
I
great.
believe
Can
we
you
would.
tell me how in the fuck can you mind read Trump here when every European leader disagrees with you, but you couldn't figure out earlier why Donald Trump would do any single policy ever? Why are you so confident the United States would respond to another country asking for help?
The United States would not leave any of its allies if needed. You know that.
No, why would you ever? He abandoned Kurdish allies. He did that in his administration, yes. He abandoned Afghanistan. That was a negotiated retreat and a total surrender to and a capitulation to the Taliban. He did that, right? Didn't do fuck all for Ukraine. He's continually lambasted Zelensky. Who is America helping? Tell me. I want to know. Even Israel's getting fucked right now because now Trump said you can't hit Hezbollah anymore. And then now he's about to lose his fucking mind. So who are these great allies to the United States that Trump is helping? Name one. You just said the U.S. is there for their allies. Who?
The U.S., if needed, and through NATO on Article 5, as you just pointed out, I do believe that we would deploy. I do. For our allies, yes, absolutely.
Okay,
that's
well,
why
no one else
Russia.
in the world.
That's
Do you
why
think it's a
Russia has
problem?
not incurred on Poland.
Do you
That's why
think-
Russia has not done anything to any of our actual allies.
Do you think it's a problem that
Ukraine
nobody
is
else,
not a NATO
nobody else in Europe
member.
feels that way right now?
That's fine.
So how can you mind read Trump on this one issue when everybody else is not sure?
That's
You're
not
just gonna
true.
ignore all
But
of the
that's-
times
that's
Trump has called NATO into
that's
question?
speculation. I mean, there's no reason.
It's speculating based on the things that Donald Trump has said when he's repeatedly over and over said that he doesn't like NATO.
Well, that's not true. He doesn't like the fact that we're the largest subscriber.
The United States, the largest country with the biggest military, with the most to gain, that leads the free world, is also the biggest contributor to their own military? No fucking shit. He's the one who asked for an extra $500 million for the Pentagon. What do you mean?
And he was also the one who made all of our allies up their contributions to NATO.
And it didn't matter because he still wants to undermine it and leave.
Because there's still members who are not contributing what they should.
That's fine.
It's
Then you work
basic
with them on
economics.
it.
I mean, but they have to.
Oh, so now you're giving me reasons why Trump doesn't support NATO? but
No,
before you weren't
I'm
sure if
I'm not telling you that. I'm saying that those are the skepticisms that he's voiced out, and I agree
Why would you
with him.
voice those out publicly?
Pressure campaigns
He
work.
couldn't do it privately. He's that
He's-
shit of a
he's
negotiator.
tried,
the
he's
only
tried,
fucking
he's
thing he can
tried
do is get on.
privately.
Trump doesn't try anything.
he
The only thing he
does.
tries is to remember the
Steve,
5 shapes that he
you've
gets on his
never-
memory cognition test.
Steve, you've never sat in a room with the guy. To
Apparently,
know
neither
how
has
he-
anybody in his intelligence community, as admitted by Tulsi Gabbard before they went to war in Iran. This guy only sits with sycophants.
That's not true.
Really?
It's not.
Who's
true.
advising Trump?
It's not true.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what all the reporting and all the leaks and everything else says.
All the anonymous reporting, yes.
That all
the-
seem to be true and everything
all
seems
the-
to be
well,
upheld.
If it's so true, why don't people go be heroes and put their faces out there?
What do you mean?
Be a hero. If you're going to destroy Trump, give the information and put your name onto it.
I think for the people that have reported on it and the people that have left or the people that have taken a stand against it, their political careers are destroyed. A lot of people don't want to risk it. They should, but
But
what? It
but
doesn't
well,
change
put your
the
name on
veracity of
it.
any. What do you think?
You
was,
sit here, you say what you think. I sit here, I say what I think. Why don't put your name on it?
Okay, go
I
tell
don't
them to.
believe
that doesn't change the. That doesn't change the.
I don't
the
believe
facts
that
of what they're
every
reporting on.
single source that's ever wanted to trash this president doesn't have the guts to go on the record. Why?
I wouldn't agree with
because maybe
I
it's
wouldn't
not
agree-
true.
You understand? There's
or
between-
maybe it's
you do-
because that's what they want people
You
to believe.
understand that there's a difference between any single source and every single source saying the same thing, right?
I understand.
Okay, so when everybody says that Trump is
You
incompetent,
understand
Trump-
coordination, right?
What?
You understand coordination in media, right? You understand coordination and coordinated
It was the
attacks.
media that made Trump
No,
go to
no,
war
I'm
in
not
Iran.
saying,
It was the media.
I'm not saying the media. I'm saying coordination in media where people coordinate
You
to
have
go tell
media
the media.
derangement syndrome. I'm sorry to say,
Oh,
sir.
yeah, yes, I do, probably.
The media reports on these things.
I probably do.
Donald
actually.
Trump follows through and he does the things, and then you're saying, well, I don't believe the leaks that predicted the thing that Donald Trump ended up doing. How am I supposed to engage with that? And then when I ask you, why did Donald Trump say that 6 members of Congress could be executed, you're like, I don't know. Well, it's selective omniscience. I don't know how to deal with that. I don't know if this is
I
like
don't know how
Dune
to deal
3,
with
if this is like a
you.
preview or whatever, when he starts to lose his powers or what. I don't know.
I just
I
don't
know, I'm
know how
supposed
to deal with you. It's you're just so you go
Factually
back
correct
to,
on
no,
everything
you go
and
back
not
to the
vibe-based.
same tired talking points every single
Because
time.
they're all still in play today. What do you mean?
No, they're not.
We got an SPLC indictment so that Republicans wouldn't have to feel bad about fucking Charlottesville. Tulsi Gabbard opened her IC position by talking about how Obama fabricated Russiagate from 2016. We are still talking about forgiving the J6 people and getting Tina Peters out of prison so that she can fly around
It was
with
a Democrat
Mike Lindell
governor
guy
who pardoned her.
under Trump's pressure and threatening to withhold aid from states, which he's doing right now, by the way, to pressure other governors. Kind of crazy.
That's not what he said.
What do you mean?
That's not what the governor said. That's not what Polis said.
Oh, the governor that's being extorted by the president who's threatening to withhold aid didn't tell the public exactly why he's being so nice
Go
to
be
Tina
a
Peters?
crusader.
What?
Go be a crusader. Go tell the truth.
Well, I can just watch the court videos. You can just watch all the video. The facts are all out there.
No, I'm saying why didn't the governor come out and say I'm pardoning her under pressure?
That's not relevant to my claim.
You just made the claim.
I made a truth claim for why he's doing it. Donald Trump is
Why do
threatening
you-
to
how
withhold
do you
stuff.
know that
Donald Trump
that's
has tried
true?
to pardon Tina Peters. I think he forgets the president can't do that sometimes. Tina Peters helped, I think it was Lindell, get into offices to co-opt election stuff that she wasn't allowed to. And then she got arrested for it. She was indicted for it. She went to court for it.
She was an election official. She was allowed to go in the office.
She was not allowed to let other people into the office. Do you see that intentional lie that you just did there? What, assuming I haven't watched the case or read the court files? She was not allowed to let other people in there to make copies of things. Just like Donald Trump wasn't allowed to show classified documents to reporters, right?
Sure, but she was allowed to be in the office.
That's not why she was indicted and convicted. It was for her going into the office.
Yes, it was, because
No.
she did go alone in a couple
No,
of
she
occasions.
didn't.
Yeah, she did.
In what?
She was alone for doing her job. And then they turned it into a big, she brought people into to steal government property.
Well,
which
she
is,
did.
No, she did not.
Oh, well, the jury disagreed, I guess.
I guess. I guess. I mean,
That's crazy, I
I could
guess.
sit here and I'll say it all day long. That's fine. We can debate it back and forth.
So we can't agree with the leaks. We can't agree with the indictments, convictions, the juries. Like, it's not like Tina Peters was saying, I didn't do this thing. She was saying that, like, I needed to do this thing. Sorry, where are we at?
Well, I guess we're at the point where I go, is there questions that each of you feel your opponent hasn't answered for you? I know there's a number of times you felt you were being interrupted and vice versa. So is there any questions that you feel Destiny hasn't answered, or Destiny, do you think there's any questions George hasn't answered? And we'll kind of get towards our last, 10 minutes of the conversation.
Okay. Can you just tell me, how do you feel about, and genuinely, we don't need to go in circles about it. Like, it's simple. Do you agree with this trend now almost forming with 2024 and now with the main Senate race of all of this, people get votes and then they get forced out, or it's not politically convenient anymore, and then we're discarding votes. And that's all I care about right now. I'm talking about votes, right? Because Democrats like talking about every vote matters. Yes, I agree, every vote matters. I agree, every vote should be counted. The predicate and the notion of stop the count is insane to me, right? So do you agree with this position of the Democrat Party now that they're taking the voice away of the people that voted for Joe Biden and then now for Plattner, and giving it to the powers that be of whatever the delegates? I don't even know what the process is.
No,
'cause
I
it's
don't.
Not. You don't agree?
Nope.
So how do you come back from that as a party? That's just kind of, how does a party come back from that?
Whatever the answer is to that question, there's no Republican in this country that has the moral authority to even
It's not
ask
about
it.
moral.
No, it is. It really is.
Okay.
That when you have a president,
But I'm engaging
when
with you in
have
good
a-
faith. I'm engaging with you in
No,
good
you're
faith.
not.
And I'm having I believe
We're having a friendly conversation.
I'm
It's not
having
good
a friendly
faith.
conversation.
It's only
Okay.
friendly because it's not good faith, right? Because if this was a serious conversation, you would be crying right now, right? It's not a good faith conversation.
Why would I cry?
Because all of your points are absolutely fucking nonsense. And if we were to start fact checking every single thing you said, it was just crazy.
But every single one of your points is based on the fact that you hate President Trump.
It's based on I hate President Trump because the things that I'm saying are true.
You hate President Trump, period.
Because of the things that he's done. Yes, that's how hatred usually
he
works.
lives rent free in your head.
Because he's the president of my country and he's destroying the reputation of the United States around the world.
Not true.
It absolutely is true. Ask anybody on the planet. What do you mean?
It's not. I mean, it's true to you. It's not.
It's true
me.
to Europe, right? Do you think Europeans are happier or
Europeans never liked Americans.
You have no answer to that. It's
No,
just
no,
a
no. I'm
stupid
just
and absolutely fucking
It's not
retarded
stupid. I've
pivot.
traveled to
It's
Europe.
absolutely
Europeans have
fucking
always
retarded.
Europeans have
retarded.
always viewed us as arrogant. This or that. That's not changed. You're acting
So
like
they
this
like
is
us
new.
just as much now under Trump as they did under Biden or Obama.
No different.
Okay.
No
you're just wrong.
different.
I can't argue with that. It's a
No
delusion.
different.
It's a delusion.
It's not.
It is a
It's
delusion.
no different.
It's a delusion. It's a
It's-
dangerous. It's
Dave-
Trump derangement syndrome. It is. I'm sorry. Just
You have
you're the one that
TDS.
has it.
Stop. You have TDS. Okay,
I'm
so maybe we have we're both deranged. Let's just go that way.
Well, but the difference is that my hatred is based on a very clear fact
You
pattern
just hate him.
that has been borne out in court case
Trump
convictions,
bad, I get it.
on
It's-
credible
it's tough,
indictments with
tough
tons
world.
of factual records released, on special counsel reports, a
and
lot
that's
that
why
have come from Republicans.
And that's why a court in New York State, of all places, found that it was an egregious miscarriage of justice that Judge Egron did and Letitia James and overturned the entire conviction of the $400-something million. And barring, I'm just saying, like, the convictions. You're talking about convictions and
For the 34 felonies in New York State?
dude, no, I just gave you an example of a court in New York State overturning an entire conviction of a state judge, a Supreme Court state judge, Judge Egron with Letitia James on the bank fraud stuff. They overturned it, said it was not true. They completely.
Holy shit. Are you telling me you have appeals courts? I'm just hearing about this for the first time. What, the higher court can appeal and then return the lower court? Holy shit.
No.
Wait, because it's never happened in any other case? That's crazy.
Of all places, New York,
I would hate
though.
any prosecutor ever
Of
if any
all
case
places,
that they
New York.
got a conviction on was ever overturned. You've convinced me. That's insane. Oh, my goodness.
You're so bad.
That's the exact same as the DOJ trying to throw in an insurance lawyer to file indictments that she doesn't even know how to fucking do for the grand jury process. It's the exact same thing, by the way.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. It's very similar to the Democrat Virginia Attorney General who filed motions all over the place and couldn't get it right either, right? That's the elected.
Couldn't get what right for the...
For his recent indictment in Virginia. Did you miss that? He filed the case to the Supreme Court of the United States instead of the Superior Court of Virginia. I mean, that's your party too. And we all have fuck-ups, I guess, and as far as attorneys goes, right?
Well, for the guys in Virginia, that sounds like a fuck up. For Trump, it's like a clear and consistent pattern over his entire
No, if it's
administration.
Trump, it's a pattern. But if it's our guys, they fucked
I'm sorry,
up.
is it
He
not a
fucked
pattern?
up 3 times.
Is it not a pattern for
So
Trump?
it's a pattern because he fucked up 3 fucking times.
Well, you know what? If that was
On the
my,
same
if that was
goddamn
my
indictment.
Virginia Attorney General, I'd be really mad at him then.
Okay, good. So be
Okay.
mad at him.
Okay, I'll be mad at him.
Good. Okay.
Okay.
All right, very quickly. Before we go, do you have any, I want you to think about if you have any questions. George will ask you one. If you have any questions you feel like haven't been answered. But before you do, we're going to take after this, we're going to take like a 5-minute intermission so you guys can go buy raffle tickets because there are still raffle tickets available and I'm very excited, okay? We have so many prizes. And if I don't have enough people to give prizes to, I'm going to actually, I don't know, not take them home.
I won't take
I
questions
don't live
if
in
they don't
Vegas.
buy
I don't know what I'm
raffles.
going to do with them. So make sure you guys get raffle tickets, okay? We will finish up this discussion and then after the raffle, after we do the draw, we're going to have a Q&A section. So make sure you stay for that, okay? Think about the Q&A. We will be lining up right in this center line to ask either of the guests a question. I'm going to have one of my staff members who's definitely around and available to be holding that mic and vetting the questions. If your question is like personally attacking either of the guests, you're gone, all right? Not interested, okay? But if you would like to ask ideas, you're welcome to do that, okay? So final question. Dusty, if there's anything you feel like George hasn't answered for you, and you guys will have 5 minutes, intermission, get drinks, bathroom, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Also, donate to support us so that you can see more great content like this. More excited. We're almost there. One more. Still weak.
Can you try again, please?
There you go. There you go.
And if you don't buy raffles, I'm not taking questions. Support her.
Thank you. All right. Question.
I'll give you 2 and you can choose which one you want to answer.
Of course,
okay?
yeah, whatever you want.
Okay. For all of the horrible stuff and all of the hacked emails and everything else that Hunter Biden supposedly did, why did we get absolutely no even charges brought relating to anything having to do with Burisma? You could answer that one. Or the second one, what is one fact or assertion from the Mar-a-Lago indictment that you think was incorrect or that you disagree with about Donald Trump stealing classified information?
I'll just go quick on the first one, and then I'll do the second one, and I'll do both. The prosecutor dragged his feet on the Biden, on the Hunter Biden thing. And look, I'm going to take a step back and try to equalize and be normal. I would really like to go back to a place in history where we stop prosecuting everybody's families. And
No, you don't. Don't say that. Answer the second question. What's the second question?
Let me finish. My
No,
point.
because it's bullshit.
It's not bullshit.
It
I
is,
mean
because
it.
you think that Trump and if you think that the Democrats and the Republicans are doing
I don't
equally,
support,
this is not
I'm
a real
gonna,
opinion.
I'm going to say this to you. I don't personally support, for instance, if Trump were to go and indict Biden. I don't support
Do you
it.
think that the Republicans have been measurably worse than the Democrats on this in the past 10 years? The fact that you even have to think about it means it's not a sincere opinion. So what's the answer to the second question? What's the
Democrats
answer to
were the
second
ones who
question?
indicted Trump.
Because he was committing crimes. That's the difference, right?
Not true, but
Okay.
okay. All right. And then on your second question, on
What fact from the Mar-a-Lago indictments, what legal conclusion, whatever, that would have come from those, do you disagree? Do you think it wasn't true?
the unprecedented nature of the whole thing. What document of great value, of absolute vulnerability to the American people and national security did they ever uncover from there? Give me one example.
Sure, there were top secret
One example.
TS separate access program, SAP documents that had to do with our nuclear energy program. The reason why I know that is because when crazy Republicans try to make the argument that Donald Trump could declassify whatever he wanted, these documents are so secretive that there is a congressional process that he has to go through to declassify them. He doesn't even have universal, individual declassification authority on those documents. So these are TS SAP programs. There are TS SCI documents, which are also there, which are at that level of classification. The idea is that if they were leaked and they've seen by enemies, that they could cause great harm to the United States or their allies.
Is there any evidence to prove that national security was threatened by any of the documents he held at Mar-a-Lago?
Doesn't matter. That's not how that works.
No, that's not the question I ask you. Is there any evidence
It
to prove
doesn't
it?
matter.
Of course it matters.
No, it doesn't.
Of course it matters.
It absolutely does not.
Presidents have literally kept documents, whether they were supposed to or not, for years. Nobody's ever made us think about it until Trump did it. And then and then they retroactively went and found documents in Biden, and again, he gave it back right away.
Are you familiar with the term, I'm gonna use a little Latin here, okay? You've heard of the term mens rea?
Of course.
You understand that to convict somebody on classified document stuff, you have to show a prerequisite state of mind
Of course.
with the intent to retain those past the point that they're supposed to be retained. That's why Biden
But even
wasn't
on mens
prosecuted.
rea.
Even though there was a bullshit
So-
special
so-
prosecutor,
so-
that's why Pence wasn't prosecuted for it. That's why Trump was.
Okay.
Because he knew that he had classified documents and he was trying to maintain them, even though he wasn't supposed to in a non-classified area.
So I'll give you a Latin term, pro nunc tunc. Are you familiar with that? In lieu of that. Why is it that you can go and make the case for Trump, but you can't make the case for Pence? You can't make the case for Biden.
Because when they found documents, they went to the classification authority. They went to NARA or the FBI or whoever, and they said, hey, we have classified material. You should come and take it and make sure everything's on the up and up. And Donald Trump said, not or whatever, I need you to go downstairs. I need you to move all those boxes to the other room when my lawyer comes to check and see what's there. Why are you rolling your eyes at me? That is what happened.
I'm not rolling my eyes.
Okay,
It's
that is what
over my
happened.
head.
Right? You understand those are two different things, right?
I understand that, yes.
Okay, so then why are you asking me what's the difference if you understand that?
Very, very clearly, we're not going to agree that there was an heavy-handed approach to recovering those documents.
Didn't NARA give him, they said, hey, do you have classified material? And Trump dragged his feet for over half a year.
But
like
eventually said that they can go get it. Eventually.
And when they
And then
did,
instead of sending them
Nope.
to go get it,
No.
they send the
No.
FBI.
No, that's
And
not
CNN.
true.
Okay.
They sent the FBI after they went to get stuff, and they realized that there was TS-SCI stuff that had been retained. Then they started serving FBI warrants. Donald Trump still didn't cooperate, was telling his employees on the phone to move boxes around and hide shit. That's why the FBI... Do you think that the FBI should not have gone to retrieve that classified material?
Not in the fashion that it
In
did,
what
no.
fashion, then?
Do you realize that they created an absolute disaster zone with Secret Service at the time? I think that there was no coordination.
You mean Trump?
No.
So
FBI.
okay, tell me then,
There was
how
no
should they have gotten the
coordination
documents?
with Trump's Secret
How should
Service
they have
detail
gotten
at
the
the time.
documents?
I think it could have been done better.
How?
I think it could have been done better.
How?
Not with the SWAT raid. That's it. Period.
It was not with
Anything
the
else.
SWAT raid.
It was a SWAT
It was the
style raid.
FBI.
It was an FBI.
It was not a SWAT style raid. As somebody
It
who's been
was.
swatted, I promise you, it was not a SWAT. When the FBI, knock, 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 hello, we need to go and look for all the
Let
bullshit.
me go through your panty drawer.
Donald Trump seems like the
Was
kind of
that-
guy who would misplace things in there. It's a search warrant. They probably have broad discretion to search everywhere. But you know what? When you're hiding shit in the fucking bathroom, yeah, they're probably going to search it a lot of different places, right? You saw the pictures of the Hold on. Did you see the pictures of the documents in the bathroom?
Decommissioned bathroom that was being used as storage. Okay.
So even worse, gross. Ew. Ew. I don't want my classified material smelling like old shit.
come
What the
on.
fuck? That's crazy. Wait, so
All
he's
right.
intentionally hiding stuff. How else,
Decommissioned bathroom. No.
how else should he have gotten it
1 minute.
back?
1 minute left.
How else should the FBI?
I'm gonna let him
if
talk
They
for
asked
the
him
1 minute.
politely
Yeah.
for
He's
not
months.
gonna stop
They
talking.
asked him politely. He didn't return it. Don't you send the FBI? No. Maybe. No. You don't
what?
send the FBI to get it back?
No.
Okay. You just keep asking and waiting, and then nothing will happen. And
No, I think it could have been resolved better.
but better with no actual clear.
No. There should have been. Bless you. There should have been a conclusion to it. I just don't think it was.
And you acknowledge that it was materially different than Biden and Pence, who turned over their stuff immediately. Yes. Oh, cool.
All right.
We're going to end there. Before you guys get up, before you two leave, first of all, thank you both for being here. George,
Oh, no,
Destiny,
thank
give
you.
it up. Yes. You did amazing. Okay, we're going to do a very fun thing, at least for me. It's fun for me. It's maybe not fun for you. I want all of you guys in the crowd to turn on your flashlight. And if you don't know what a flashlight on your phone is, ask a neighbor sitting near you. Yes, like that. Like that. Yeah. There you go. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to take a little video, and I'm going to post it in behind, because this is the first live Take Back America event. So I'm going to get some footage. We're going to have you guys in the background for a hype reel. You two are also going to be in it, so make sure you guys look really excited.
There's a bunch of people.
Yeah, you guys over. I can see you without your.
You. Your flashlight. Oh, it froze. Here, you can borrow mine.
Okay, and you two, you're just going to look up towards me as I flash this around and take a little video, okay? You guys ready? All right, and when
Look
I do
alive.
this, I'm going to turn around, and I want the
alive.
whole crowd to actually be excited this time, okay? And you're on 3, you're going to shout, "Take Back America." Sound good? Okay, just wait. Oh, hold on. Yeah, good practice, thank you, well done. Okay. We're going to do 1, 2, 3. Amazing. Thank you, guys. 5-minute intermission. Go get those raffle tickets. Go get those drinks. Get all that good stuff. And then, all right, guys, welcome back. We're going to do the raffle. So everyone who's on live stream, you're fleeing, I know. Come back in like 5 minutes, okay? We're gonna do the raffle. So we have a bunch of prizes here. What I'm basically gonna do is first come, first serve. So I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the prizes, but basically if I draw your ticket, you have to bring it up, correspond, we'll check your little ticket over here, and then you basically can pick whatever you would like on the table. So first come, first serve. So we have 2 $25 gifts for Winnie and Ethel's Downtown Diner. We have 2 two-person Monster Quest escape room tickets. So 4 people. 4 people's worth of escape rooming. We also have 1 2 people's worth of Once Upon an Escape, and 1 $75 gift certificate to Parlor, Brunch, and Late Night Burger. Those are your guys' options. I know, exciting. Can we get like a little bit of music while I'm doing this? It feels so empty and sad and quiet and lonely. Thank you. Yeah, we want to bust. Not like that. Okay, drum roll, stomp your feet. That'll work. Drum roll like the country, right? The first winning ticket, 444 6773. 444 6773. Is that you? No? We got one more ticket? Okay, we got one more ticket that's going in for the next one. All right, if you don't come in like 2 minutes, I'm throwing your ticket out. 5, 4. All right, you're dead. It's over. Boom, gone. We Mitch McConnell'd you. You're gone. Okay, 44670. Is that anyone's ticket? Man, a lot of people bought tickets and left. I mean, thank you for the donations. Hey, one ticket. 5. I'll read it one more time. 446720. It's like this list of stuff. Let them take a look. I can step on this, right? Yeah. Oh, hopefully. Do you want to take a look? These are the items. What would you like? Oh, I'm gonna check it while you look for what you want. Oh, we're good. What would you like?
a.m.
He's gonna
I
fight in
leave
the
at
morning.
7 a.m.
Pick.
I
All right,
leave at
I
7
don't have
a.m.
time for the theatrics. Pick in like 10 seconds. What do you want?
I would. I love an
do you
escape
want
room, but I'm
20
leaving.
theater tickets? Yeah, for a play in the Beverly Theater, September 1st. Do you want the escape room?
Oh, just do the diner.
Or do you want the diner? Do you want supper?
Just go eat.
All right.
All right, Destiny, come
There
on.
you go. All right, Destiny, pick a ticket. Read it out. Turn your.
Rigged. He already looked at it. It's rigged. It's a stolen prize now.
I'm reading the ticket number 444
It's
6753.
the same series. It's them again. It's them
One
again.
more time.
No? Oh.
It's 444 6753.
6753.
Over here.
Woo!
Woo!
What do you want? The escape room or the 20 tickets? Ah, nice.
That was, you didn't even think about that. You have plans for the tickets.
All right. Final one. Mercedes.
Oh, you dropped one. You dropped one. You
Oh,
dropped
hold
one.
on.
Not fair.
Hold on. Turn your mic on. You can read it. All right, I'll read it. I got it. But that mic needs to get turned on. Did you switch it on? Oh, okay. Go to the sound booth and get that. We gotta get that fixed. Okay. 444 6707. 67. Yeah. Good one. 6707. Yeah! All right. You get the escape room. Thank you to everyone. Can I see your ticket? Just make sure. Yep, perfect. Thank you to everyone. That's the whole raffle. We are gonna get to the audience Q&A section. We're just working on your mic. They're just stickers. All right, guys, it's one. Anyone want a sticker? Each, okay? Anyone want a sticker? Throw them into the crowd. Here, hand them out. Hand them out for people who want stickers. All right, your mic's working? Check. Yeah, it's working. All right, let's turn the music off now. All right, just brief rules. My friend Mercedes, lovely Camp College, is going to be checking this, but please, if you want to ask questions to the guests, you can. Please don't get into people's like personal lives and all that stuff. Ask questions about ideas and substance.
Don't be catty. Come on.
No.
Let him go first. He's all dressed up. He looks good.
Austin, get over there.
That's right. Where do I?
Right there. Hello.
All right. Hi. How are you? This question is for you, in fact.
What's your name?
Austin.
Nice to meet you.
Yes.
Are you from Vegas?
No, from Atlanta, Georgia.
Ooh, I love Atlanta. What part?
I live in Atlanta, but I was born in Stone Mountain. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So,
I love Buckhead City, so. Very
I used to live in Buckhead. It's not.
It's very
not-
nice.
It's not. It's too much. Sorry. Yeah.
Sorry.
Donald Trump, and I'm saying this as somebody that voted for him 3 times. He lied to us about the Epstein files. He lied to us about being a no-war president. He lied to us about keeping inflation low. Are you willing to admit that Donald Trump has backtracked on all of his promises and is now failing the American people as a president?
I don't think he's failing. That's my opinion, right?
No, not an opinion. The facts. I gave you 3 facts.
Gotta let him answer.
So, in the case of Epstein, I do believe it's a flub. I agree. It's a bad look, and it's not clear. It's not been addressed appropriately, and I think the majority of the country thinks that. And I think if you don't think that, then you're not paying attention. On the war in Iran, I have a record of voting for war powers resolutions. If you can see, myself, AOC, Matt Gaetz, I mean, the most uncommon people on earth. I do not support foreign wars. I'm going to have to put a pause there and say I did support a tactical mission to not allow Iran to nuclearize, but I did not support an ongoing war like it is now. So I do believe it's a setback from the standard of promises made, promises kept that he did in his first term. So I agree. And what was the third issue?
he lied to. Well, he made a statement recently saying that he loves inflation when he ran on being having the lowest inflation under any president. So, are you willing to admit that he lied to us about keeping inflation low, and essentially he is failing the American people?
I think he's working towards lowering inflation. He's very aware. I think he's very aware, and I think the task of lowering inflation he probably underestimated. But I think he's working towards lowering it, and I think we still have a little bit of runway in his presidency to see if he can succeed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Austin. Thank you.
Thank you, Austin.
What's up, George?
Hi, Brian.
I'm glad you're here.
I feel like all these questions are going to be for me.
Quick
Steven's like
fact check.
Yeah.
You gave Donald Trump credit for the capping insulin, right? So when Joe Biden got into office, he extended those insulin caps for Plan B and Plan D on most people's health care coverages.
And I
which
clapped
meant-
for it during
okay,
the State
but
of
hold
the
on.
Union, and I got in trouble
Millions of more Americans had access to $35 capped insulin. Guess what Donald Trump did on day one of his presidency?
Tell me.
He signed an executive order going back to his original plan, and millions of Americans did not have access to insulin capped at $35. So it's an absolute disaster. So I don't know how you could give Trump credit for that. But anyway, that wasn't my question. Donald Trump gave you a pardon, right?
A commutation.
And I understood. And he gave over 70 people pardons that had committed billions of dollars in fraud. I'm wondering, even though you were a part of that, will you condemn people that made $300 or $400 million? Some people made hundreds of millions of dollars with fraud, and they don't have to pay back restitution. Yet we hear from Nick Shirley and that bullshit, quite frankly, about all the fraud in Minnesota and all the fraud in California.
Wrap the question, land it. Yeah.
Will you condemn some of those pardons of Donald Trump?
The power of the pardon and clemency is plenary, and it's up to the president. I'm not here to make excuses. It's not about condemning. It's at the pleasure of the presidency, and it's a power that is plenary per the Constitution. It's not my business to condemn, or it's really not up to me.
I'm glad you're here, George. You're a funny guy.
Wait,
Thank
just
you,
to
Brian.
verify on that.
We love you, George.
So if the president came into the White House and said, "I want to release every single child rapist. I'm going to pardon and commute all of them," you'd have nothing. You'd be like, "Oh, that's just what the president gets to do."
It's the power of the president.
Okay, and you'd have
I
nothing
don't
to say
like
about
it.
it. You'd have nothing to say about it.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
And you'd have nothing to say about it. Oh, he can do what he wants.
I just said that.
Okay, I'm just making sure. I don't believe you.
Okay.
But
Next
that's
question.
crazy. But
Hey, okay. George Santos.
What's your name?
Jonathan Cassis.
Okay, hi,
I
Jonathan.
fucking love you. I
Oh,
saw you on
I
Matana
love you
Evans
too.
twice
Okay, wrap it,
now.
wrap it.
Okay,
Question.
okay. Your teeth look so good. Your teeth look so good. They're so white.
Jonathan,
and
you're
I
on
have
thin
a white
ice.
teeth stripping whites or whatever they're called.
You're on thin ice.
And
You're on thinner ice. Wrap it up. Ask
okay,
a question.
I have white teeth stripping things, and they don't seem to work. How do you get your teeth so white?
Veneers.
Veneers. Okay, thank you.
I like him.
Destiny, thank you for helping me along my own political journey and pulling me from the lunacy that is the right now. George, for you, your sentence was commuted by President Trump with him stating, you quote, had the courage and conviction and intelligence to always vote Republican. Doesn't that prove Destiny's point on his debate topic, that the Republicans are abandoning the rule of law in support of fealty to Trump? Isn't that some form of quid pro quo?
What was a quid pro quo? I don't see it.
I
gave him nothing. I was commuted from prison from a sentence that Democrats and Republicans alike said was wild and insane for an election case that was civil and turned federal. Which I'm not here to debate the merits or not, but
yeah. But at the end of the day, when you got your sentence commuted, isn't that also an admission of guilt?
it didn't come with any strings, no. And I've been the most straightforward person saying that. I've made some very shit decisions in my life that landed me in that position. And if I could go backwards and do it differently, I would. But I'm very grateful to the president. And every single day I wake up, I'm grateful that I get to wake up with my family.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm
Hello.
John Scott for
Hi, John.
governor. Look me up.
John Scott for governor where?
Here. I'm
Oh,
running for
here?
governor
Oh,
here
yeah, Sin
as a
City governor. I love
nonpartisan.
that. Yeah, let's go.
Hello. So since our government is captured
You're so
by-
young.
25. Since our government is captured by a bunch of rich people who will never raise the taxes on themselves, I believe that a consumption-based tax system would be the best way to distribute the burden instead of enforcing it on the general population. Any thoughts?
Consumption, as in if you spend
Sales
more, pay more.
tax, GRTs, VATs.
Yeah, but that
capital
also
gains.
hurts. That also hurts everyone, right? If it's consumption based.
Well, who actually uses and
Understand, rich people
spends the most?
It
Rich
won't.
people.
It won't hurt rich people, but it will hurt everyday Americans who have to buy, food, a car to go to work, or.
Well, no, you don't have to put consumption taxes on groceries, which we already don't do.
Depending
right?
on which state.
Yeah, depending on which state.
Yeah. Depends. I don't know what Nevada state laws are, but.
So luxury taxes would
Nevada.
still.
Huh?
It's Nevada.
Okay, whatever. Nevada. Sorry, Nevada.
It's Nevada.
Sorry. Okay. I will always conform to the state and how they like it. Sorry.
I'm a Las Vegas scene.
So I don't agree. What's your take?
What's your thoughts on consumption tax?
So I
think
raising
tax should be
money-
straightforward. Tax people proportionately to their income. I mean, if you're a trillionaire, which I think it's kind of wild that people are able to hoard $8 trillion. I mean, sure, through merit, whatever, and I believe in all of that, but I think it's still kind of crazy that we have a system that allows people to hoard money that
And
they will
lobby.
they will never spend in a lifetime. I think taxation should be proportionate to individuals' income, and it should be at whatever, proportions that are set forward by the tax code. And if people want to change that, I am not against changing it. I just don't think it should be targeted to one person. I actually recently debated this with Rokana on I'm okay with raising the taxes on super ultra high net worth individuals. I just don't think you should just make this a targeted, like the Elon Musk tax. I think that is where you lose the argument. I think it should be proportionate and raise it across adequately so that everybody pays their fair share.
But they lobby loopholes into the government, and then they never
Did
pay
you know
it
that
anyway.
lobby-
This isn't an open debate.
Oh, sorry.
Consumption tax.
I'm actually in
thoughts?
favor of the Elon Musk tax, but just because I hate Elon Musk. So it's fine. I think.
All right, thank you, sir.
We share something in common. Look at that.
Hi, Mr. Santos.
You can call me George.
Oh, hi, George. I'm a big fan.
What's your name?
Luke.
Luke, your shirt is revolting. I'm sorry.
Really? Okay, that's disheartening. My question is, what was your experience being one of the first openly gay Republican congressmen among a plethora of closeted colleagues?
Oh my God. I like you. I was the first, but I wasn't alone. I had a support system of closeted queens in Congress with me. I will never say who they are, but it's Lady Graham. Sorry. Look, it was interesting. It proves a point that, at least I like saying this. I don't think people care at least electorally speaking, people care about who you sleep with anymore. I think we're past that. I think I proved that, and I don't know. I had a great experience. Nobody ever was discriminatory towards me on either side.
All right, thank you.
That's all. Thank you.
You can't answer that question.
About what?
The being the gay elected to Congress as a Republican.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
Hi.
Hello, Mr. George Santos.
Just call me George.
Sorry.
What's your name?
Maverick.
Hi, Maverick.
Hello. So I watched your episode on the Matan podcast.
Everybody loves it.
I love that episode.
Did you see me taking him for mani pedis?
I did.
It's funny.
Yes, that was very funny.
Wild.
So my question was, would you ever consider doing another episode with him?
I think we've done 3 now. I think it's just exhausting at this point. But I did post about him today on X. Go look at my thing. I said Matan in 20 years, but probably not in the near future. No, not because I don't like him, just because it's overkill, too much.
That's fair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, Destiny. Good as always.
Oh, as always. You guys have history?
Have what?
You have history with this kid?
As always.
Oh no, it's just I do well in every single debate I have. So. Yeah.
Super fair.
His head is so big because
yeah.
he's full of himself.
So, George, a question. So I know your position on pardons, and I'm kind of disturbed by your lack of answer to like Destiny's child molester
Of course,
question,
I do not
but-
support
Of course,
pardoning
of course.
pedophiles.
Right, but I think there's
Okay.
like something we draw from that. But regardless, in September of 2024, the current border czar, Tom Homan, he accepted a $50,000 cash bribe from like during an FBI sting operation. It's all in video, right? And the Trump DOJ closed that investigation a year later in September of 2025. So he closed an active investigation where there was substantial evidence for like some wrongdoing, right? So could you not draw from that? Would you not draw from that, as Destiny or I or any sane person would, that he's either number one unfit to be president, or number two, not upholding the law and order that he claims to be championing in some way?
Look, there's a lot of questions like that get thrown at me. I'm not pivoting, but I'm just going to give you an example of how every side does this, and this is because we have a system that is to protect its own, regardless of who's in power.
Right, but does that make it acceptable? Like, does it make
I'm not. It's not a question of acceptable. I don't know.
Absolutely,
I honestly, and I'm going to say this, I was dealing with my own personal issues in 2024, so I am not even aware of the Tom Homan thing. Not because I'm oblivious or willfully ignoring it. I was literally dealing with the fight of my life. Let's just call it that way, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not aware, so I don't want to comment on it because I don't know it. So I'll owe you this. You're more than welcome to DM me on X, and I'll give you a better answer later. But yeah, that would be the appropriate way to say it.
Yep, thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. So this
Hi.
is for George.
What's your name?
Jim.
Jim, nice to meet you.
So my question is, with Plattner in Maine, you guys didn't really get to it, but what should the Democrats do if they find out a candidate is like a serial liar? Sorry, I'm from Jersey. But serial liar, criminal, all these things. What should they do before they get in office?
I'm going to say this, in a lot of these allegations that have been levied against Mr. Plattner were before the primary.
Not true.
Well,
yes, it's true.
The big rape one was
There was
not.
a rape one before, and it was discredited because the woman was a Republican operative. And now this one is not a Republican operative, and she happens to be a liberal. Now they're taking credence into it.
When you say discredited, I don't think that it made it into the reporting.
They discredited her in the New York Times article because they literally willfully denied to talk about the entirety of.
Correct. So they didn't report it. But I'm saying
They reported it, but they discredited her on the reporting by saying, we cannot independently verify this, although she had vast documentation, offered corroborating witnesses.
What is the
and
point
they,
of even
they
this?
chose,
What
the
question
point-
is,
the question
the
is,
voters
is
didn't have the same access to the information to where now
the
there's
voters
like
the voters had access to his Discord comments, to his porter potty, whatever nonsense that he said, which I don't even think that's impeachable or something. So I mean, we're three-dimensional human beings. We're all fucked in one way or another. That's my belief, okay? I'm fucked. I've fucked up many times in my life. I think Plattner is fucked up, and he's figuring out this path of his. I wish him well, right? Because it's not an easy journey to go through. He might have criminal charges. I don't know. What bothers me is that people voted for him with a lot of things out there, and we know there were a lot of things out there. The sitting governor of Maine was in that race and was pushed out by, the operatives, the Democrat operatives in Maine, and she did get the second, if I'm not mistaken, she's the second most vote getter in that primary, even though she suspended. No, she wasn't.
I don't know if she was on the ballot.
I know she was on the ballot. What I'm trying to say is, if we were to play fair here, I think they should go to the second most votes. That's my take.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Come on all the way up.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Hello, George.
How are you? What's your name?
My name's Aubrey.
Aubrey, nice.
Nice.
Oh, that's what's on your shirt. Oh, okay. I like that.
It has to do with my question. First, I want to say, hi, Kyla.
Hi.
Hi, Stephen.
Hi.
I just want to say I appreciate you so much for standing so tall on liberal principles at this time in our country. Anyway, so my question, like I said, I'm a streamer. I do music. I don't do politics. But my question is just for Destiny. I don't know if you don't deal with it anymore. I mean, because you've been doing it for, you've been in the game for a minute. But like, back when you had videos that maybe you would post that didn't perform as well, how did you not get like super disenchanted with it, or how did you not like tie your personal self-worth to like the numbers on your channels?
I don't know. You have a pretty good idea of like what performs well and for what reason, and what doesn't perform well for what reason. And then, I mean, if I understand why a video doesn't perform as well, I mean, not everybody's going to like some of the stuff I have to talk about. I don't know. You just can't take it personally. I think one of the big issues with, honestly, with everything today, because everybody wants to be a type of influencer, even if you're running for Congress or whatever, is that when you're trying to be a streamer or YouTuber or whatever else, like you really do feel like your personality is on trial and that it's tied directly into whether you succeed or not. But the reality is like it sucks and it's weird, and I guess, we watch movies about main characters and everybody feels like they want to have that, but like just because you don't like succeed in that realm doesn't make you like a bad or a worse person. It just means that you don't have the personality style that engenders that type of viewership. And I know that, yeah, for a lot of people, it just feels like, oh, I'm just a bad person. but I mean, like you're not a bad person. I'm not saying you, but like in general, like if you don't make it, that's just not the style of stuff that people, I guess, want to watch. Like there's plenty of other things to do on the planet, and there's plenty of other things that great people do, and yeah.
Okay, perfect. Hey, thank you so much.
Can I throw something at you?
Yeah, please do.
Don't focus in numbers. Just do your thing. It's going to hit. A lot of us get caught up in numbers. That's just my take, because a lot of people start determining their self-worth and you know what you're doing based on numbers. They're just numbers. Eventually,
Aren't you the one who tried to make all the excuses for Trump because he got the most numbers in the election? He won the.
No, dude.
Okay, guys.
no.
Sorry, I'm bad. Sorry.
Let me say this to you.
I think we have to cut it.
Don't
My bad.
stop. Eventually, it hits, and numbers are just numbers. It doesn't matter. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
You bet. They were trying to cut you off like that. Can you
I
imagine?
know, right?
Oh my God.
Conspiracy. No, as for George, what is like one of you would say was most charitable kind of like Biden policy that you think that would be like something good, like something that you think, and also, what's your favorite season of RuPaul's Drag Race? Come on.
My favorite season, I think it's season 6. Bianca Del Rio won, and that's my favorite drag queen of all time.
Good answer.
So,
Good
yeah.
answer. All right.
I mean, I love an insult comic as much as the next guy.
No, she's
right?
beautiful. She's beautiful.
We got 5 minutes. Go
Beautiful
quick.
is not.
Go quick.
I wouldn't use that, but
look,
I will say this about Biden. I think Biden had certain things that had to do with giving back to the people that I think were something I appreciate. Like I said, insulin earlier, I remember standing up in the State of the Union and clapping for that, and people were like, why are you clapping? Because I had, by mistake, forgotten to stand up and clap for veterans because I was on a text message. Oh yeah, he doesn't clap for veterans, but he claps for insulin.
Classic mistake.
I was just like, oh, whoops. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay, insulin. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hi.
Hey, George, this question is for you. Sorry, I'm a little nervous.
Don't be nervous.
So I heard you champion Trump's immigration policies, and I wanted to ask your opinion on how ICE has been operating.
I don't like it.
Like
I don't like
all
it.
the killings?
I don't like it. I don't like anybody killing. I don't like death. I hate when people die for no reason. I hate when people die because people are the emotions are too high. We need to bring the emotion level here. They're here right now. I don't like it. I like their mission. I hate how it's being executed right now.
Thank you. I appreciate your answer.
Thank you.
No, sassy pants.
Oh, well, thank you. So I have a question. What is your opinion on the president profiting from the presidency?
In which regard? Give me an example.
Should the president ever profit from the presidency?
I mean,
Ever.
there's an argument to be made. He was elected a billionaire and continues to become a billionaire. Obama was not elected a billionaire, neither was Joe Biden, and they both left multimillionaires from the White House. And that is an issue that's been, it's true. Obama was elected, he had a house in Illinois that was worth $600,000, and then he left and bought a mansion in Georgetown and then one in Martha's Vineyard.
Okay.
He was president for 8 years, making $400,000 a year.
I recall someone like George Floyd they indicted him for profiting from his peanut farms at the time.
That wasn't George Ford.
Or Ford.
No,
Sorry, I forgot what
it
his
wasn't.
name is. Who
no,
was it then?
The peanut farmer was Jimmy Carter.
Carter, sorry.
And he didn't get indicted for profiting.
Yes, he did. I'm
Did I
pretty
miss
sure
a
he did.
Carter indictment? No, he didn't.
Peanut farms. This was a long time ago.
Didn't he just have to divest from it before they would let him, or whatever? He had to divest from it because people didn't want him to.
He
have
had to
control
divest
over
from it, but Jimmy Carter was a very humble man. I mean,
Yes, he was.
He did not become rich off the presidency.
Yeah, no, but he was scrutinized, was he not?
He had to divest from his peanut farm.
Yeah, they scrutinized him. So my point is, do you think Trump is profiting from his presidency?
No different than Obama and Joe Biden did.
Did Obama ever have a
All right.
cryptocurrency? Come
yeah,
on, bro.
you ask that question, then we're done. Just sorry, we have like 2 minutes left.
FMJ 716 GSN.
Aloha.
Hello.
Destiny, it's really cool to see someone who reminds me of just a lot of the ways I see myself as as an individual. It's cool to see someone who's weird in the same way that I am, who puts
Thanks,
it
I
out
think.
as much as you do, just like kicking ass as much as you do. So thank you for being a very grounding individual. Like I said earlier, you make me feel very sane. It rocks, and it's rare to come by. George, as a former congressman, where would you say your precise expertise lies in, on like just in that level? Where would you say you are objectively?
My passion as a congressman that
Well-
I focused was immigration.
As like an expert in terms of like dishing out like raw facts and
I understand the
stuff like
immigration.
that.
I understand the immigration process. I understand the abuses of the immigration process, our vulnerabilities. I've outlined that in legislation I try to pass, which was just making us safer, right? I don't come from a hateful point of view because I'm a son of immigrants who migrated here. So I don't have a hateful approach at immigration. I have a responsible one, and that's all. And that's where I personally dedicated a lot of my efforts when I was in the House.
Gotcha. Rock and roll. I believe you when you say that. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks, all three of you.
And I love your hair. It's actually really nice.
Well, thank you very much, and sorry for all
You're
the
fine.
stuttering.
Stop,
I've had a
stop,
couple
you're fine,
drinks.
Thank you. All right. Sorry,
Bye.
these last two have to be like
Quick.
lickety, like so fast.
So this one's actually just for George. So you mentioned in the debate that you felt that Republicans do not have a spending problem. However,
No, I said they have a spending problem.
okay, but you said that both parties have a spending
They do.
problem, but not both parties have spent $9 million a month on luxury seafood to spend up the military budget before the end of the fiscal quarter. So can you really say it's a both party issue when one is so horribly egregious?
Actually, it has been common practice to give our servicemen and women some morale. They chose to do it in seafood dinners, which is fine.
$9
Whatever.
million is pretty standard though?
We have a very large military, and unfortunately, the way government contracts are bidded or sometimes not bidded on, which I agree is
Incredibly
a problem.
rare. Only Trump does that right now.
But the
It's
point I'm
corrupt,
trying
Rick.
to say is, for morale purposes, there's been spending in other cases, and I understand this is now the topic du jour. I don't see a problem with it. I know it's spending. If we lived one day in a veteran's shoes, we would understand that it's not that much of a sacrifice to do what we can for them. That's just my take.
Okay.
Oh my God.
All right. Last question.
Sure, I'm fast.
Real quick.
I don't think any of us are going to change any others' minds, but I'm aware of who you are and what you believe. But I'm interested to know, even from you, Kyla, since you've been moderating, how is it that each of you process new information? And is there any significant change that you've made in your mind over the last 5 years? And how did you come about making that change?
I look for counterfactuals. I change my mind on things like all the time. I don't know. I've updated my abortion position like to some degree. Changing your mind doesn't mean 180ing. It means like 5% over time.
My opinions have evolved through time. I used to be a lot more, for instance, hardline on abortion. I'm a lot less hardline on it now, because I've seen an experience that was close to me that kind of softened me on it, and I think my personal experiences change it. So I do evolve on my opinions, and specifically in the last 24 months, I've had a lot of sobering moments where I'm like, okay, I think this is extreme. I think this is not cool. I think we should do better here. I think, yeah, I don't like this. So it's touch and go, right? It's life. We're complicated humans.
I mean, it really depends on the position you're talking about. There's a very boring answer here, unfortunately, but I think that to evolve an opinion on a topic, you just have to be willing to read some stuff. So if you want to know, why legal scholars hate Alito so much, you just have to read what he writes. And you have to be willing to read the opinion. You have to be willing to go to some of the court cases and see what they're citing. And if you're willing to engage with the underlying subject matter, I think you can expand your mind infinitely. A lot of what happens in the media today is kind of like it's a horror movie called The Human Centipede, and it's basically just that in a circle where it's just the same dumb information passes around over and over and over again. But if you're willing to take even 5 minutes to read an article to understand what's being talked about, or to read a study and even to go through all the methodology and everything else, you expand the stuff that you know about a lot. Unfortunately, you can't really engage much with the current media environment because nobody does this, and then yeah. Sorry, my bad.
You're good. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone.
Donations. Donations. Hi, guys. I'm going to hit you one more time like a pastor who's looking for them plate donations, except instead of a plate, it's a QR code that's magically going to appear up here. And woo, there it is. That's crazy. Even if you donate $5, if you love the event, it helps. I'm going to be the bad guy asking for the donation. So
Especially on the
these
super
events.
chats. All super chats will be going to pay for this event as well. So even if you're just watching online and you enjoyed it, literally $5, just have one less coffee, and it literally pays for all of this to happen. Because I think
Anything
there is like
helps.
2,000 to 4,000 of you live right now. So if every one of you donated like $1, that pays for small portion.
I'm gonna say
That's
this.
how we put on these events.
They
okay?
put on great events, and I'm coming from the opposite side of the political spectrum. Support them. This is engaging. It's entertaining, and supporting them does not hurt anybody. So, just one cup of
Just
coffee.
$5.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for coming out. We really appreciate you. You can follow Take Back America anywhere on any platform to see upcoming events. Have a great night. Thank you so much. And thank you if you stuck around. Throw the music on.
Thank you.